Chapter 21. Clan Name? An OC. Hello. I am making this chapter to ask about the names about Adrian's Mandalore clan. I am also asking if any of you would want to make OC characters that you nat me to put into the story. You can literally make any character you want, race, background, power, but do limit it to less than 28,000 midichlorians please, since the Bendu is around 30,000 by my estimation. You can make it as detailed as you want, but please do so if you are going to make it, since if you don't scribe certain things, I will make it up and do my own thing. Go back to the chapter that has Jinx's POV in it and her first appearance. Practically everything about her is explained there, while some more things are to be done in later chapters. Also, yes, you can make something like a Kryptonian OC. Now hold your horses. I'm going to be toning THD strength down if you do decide to put it in and want an Kryptonian OC. Also, I even have it planned our 4 nice powerful beings, then a Kryptonian for the story if there ever is one. I have the power scaling balanced out, even for Ava. But please try to keep them to Star Wars standards of power scaling so it's easier for me to write it into the story. Not that I'm saying it not doable, which it very much is. It'll just be a little annoying, that's all. Also, if you do decide to make OCs, then make them soon, since I'm gonna have MC do a bounty hunter job that he picks up at the Bounty Hunters Guild. He will and may work alongside the following: Cad Bane, Kronos, 327, Aura Singh, Shehan Alama, Robinino, Embo and his good old doggo, Anuba Marek, Sugi, Seripa, Rumi Paramitha, Kato Parasiti. This is the one who helped Bane steal a holocron by her shapeshifting. Bosk, I'll be ashamed of you if you don't know this guy. Django Fett, Twazi, not too sure on this one tbh. Sixtat, the guy who tried doing the final test in the box. Daron, Anka and Bulduga, the duo brothers invited to the box but Cad Bane killed Bulduga for his hat. Moralo Eval, Mantua, Helios, 3D, Helios, 3E. I actually need 25 bounty hunters for what I'm going to do but only have 21 viable ones. That means I'll need to create 4 OC ones or you all can do it. If you do, then you can decide what your character will do in the future of the story. Like, do they join MC's clan, join the Republic like Brick, join the COI and Dooku, remain neutral, jealous of MX and tries to kill him at whatever. You can decide it all. So now on to the clan. The images below are to use to reference to so I can create an emblem/sigil for the clan Mislef. I own none of these images. These are the clan names I can't decide on. The words in brackets is in the Mandalorian language Mando A. A clan is called after these words in Mando A but can be in the English version too, like Death Watch. Clan Eternal, or Clan Unity, Durajuum, Eternal or Eternally, Forever. Meant to signify image here. Clan Dover or Clan Dovahkian, yes I did this, image here. Clan Hawke or Clan Hawke, Gala, Hawk. Image here. Clan Aranar, Aranar, Defend. Image here. Clan Atinier, Atinier, To Endure. Image here. Clan Kanur, Kaba, Protector or Guardian. Image here. Clan Kirin, image here. I couldn't describe the Kirin in a single word, so here is some information on it which you can interpret. Each clan has a significance and a meaning to it. It solely have to be the pairings I choose. You can literally mix and match whichever and decide on what you want. Like Clan Hawk has a horse for its emblem instead of a bird. You get the idea. The following below is description of a Kirin. One of the rarest, most awesome, and most powerful creatures ever known in East Asia is the unicorn-like Kirin. It is a regal animal, holy and highly revered, and often considered a god in its own right. The Kirin is a chimerical beast resembling a deer with scales like a dragon's covering its body. It has a tail like an ox's and a flowing mane. Its body and mane are covered in brilliant holy fire. Its face is the picture of utter serenity. A gentle animal, the Kirin never eats the flesh of other beings, and it takes great care never to tread on any living thing, even lowly insects. When it walks, it does so without trampling a single blade of grass. Its beauty is only surpassed by its rarity. Kirin only appear during periods of world peace, during the reigns of noble and enlightened rulers, in lands owned by wise and benevolent people, or as heralds of a golden age. Kirin never harm good and pure souls, but they are swift and fierce to attack if threatened, breathing holy fire from their mouths. Because Kirin are beasts of purity and goodness, they have been used in carvings and paintings as symbols of these virtues since early times. They are also seen as symbols of justice and wisdom. Because of their holiness, images of Kirin frequently adorn temples and shrines. They are omens of great luck and fortune, and the appearance of a Kirin is often believed to be a sign of the arrival of a great leader or a wise man. Kirin were originally introduced to Japan via Chinese myths and legend, where they are known as Qilin. Over time, the Chinese and Japanese version diverged into slightly different creatures. In Japan, the Kirin is considered to be the most powerful and sacred beast of all, surpassing the Ho-Oh and Tatsu in power. The giraffe is also called Kirin in Japanese, named for the traits it shares with the holy Kirin. Its long legs, scale-like pattern, gentle nature, and the knobs on its head must have reminded the first Japanese to see a giraffe of this most sacred of beasts. Chapter 22, Update Schedule. This will be the update time schedule starting Monday. 1. Tensura, Supreme Kitsune, 150, Monday. A Borderlands, Siren in the Multiverse, ongoing, 2-day. Star Wars, Rise of Mandalore, ongoing, Wednesday. 1. Tensura, Supreme Kitsune, 150, Thursday. Borderlands, Siren in the Multiverse, ongoing, Friday. Star Wars, Rise of Mandalore, ongoing, Saturday. No Sunday, off day, maybe Tensura, Supreme Kitsune. Soulsborne System, 150-ish, plus Invitation World. Every day, we'll switch around to Tensura, Supreme Kitsune every now and then. Now then. I am doing this because I have been lagging in my chapters and update speeds. Tenora fanfic has been lagged Jin and I apologize. I will now be doing it as often as I can to make up for delays and low chapter update speed. Also do keep in mind that each chapter is between 5000 to 7000 on average now. But let's take the minimum 3000 and multiply that by 150 chapters. That is 450,000 words. Now let's do the same but with the maximum. 7000 by 150. That gives 1,050,000 words. That means that Tensura, Supreme Kitsune will have between 450,000 to 1,050,000 words by the time this fanfic finishes. That is a quarter or a half if a goddamn long-ass cultivation novel which is 2000 chapters long but only has around 2 million words and exam chapter has around 1000 words. You can clearly see how much effort I put into a single chapter for all of you guys and girls. The same is also true for Soulsborne System which will have around same chapters and word count as Tensura, Supreme Kitsune fanfic. Also you may ask me, how do I know cultivation novels have that many words? It's because I am able to have it scanned and identity how many words it has in total. Also I read cultivation novels as audiobooks because my eyes will hurt trying to read 2000 chapters. I am able to read 2 million words in roughly 9 days of audiobook reading, so trust me. I know. I do these calculations so I can prepare in advance for all my stories. My main book series I am writing and want to sell one day is going to be around 3 to 5 million words at least. Although I am still writing it and doing a lot of writing, Simku, my main book series, is my main writing focus. Thes fanfics are more of a side thing to post to all of you, is for my own enjoyment to write these stories and to improve my writing ability in various fields as well as learn what you readers like. Some of you like Harem, some do not. So on and stuff like that. As for my spelling mistakes, I will explain another time. Now then, other authors on average do 1500 words and around 100 chapters for most fanfics that actually don't get dropped. That is 150,000 words other authors would do. If they did 150 chapters like my Tensura or Soulsborne fanfics, then that number will be 225,000 words. That is half of a quarter of what I will be doing. I plan to finish Soulsborne and Tensura around the same time. I will switch periodically between Tensura and Soulsborne fanfics so it replaces each other's upload schedules. This way I can finish those two fanfics in about 2 or 3 months hopefully. That way I can then focus on Star Wars, Rise of Mandalore and Borderlands, Siren in the Multiverse fanfics since they will be a long-running series possibly. The length for them is still undecided. I also want to start a Skyrim fanfic as soon as Tensura and Soulsborne fanfics finish. My Skyrim fanfic will also be long-running series. My Skyrim fanfic will be about a snow elf, farmer MC who got reincarnated and must keep his identity a secret while he does other things. Anyone familiar with the lore of Iskramor and the farmer will know why MC will have it hard. Also he will be transmigrated and gets no wishes. He will work from the ground up and become as powerful as Divath FYR one day. Divath FYR was able to defeat a Daedric prince within their own realm and even was able to escape imprisonment by them multiple times with ease. Anyway, I hope this is informative to you all. CYA next time, all my readers of all my fics, I starting Monday. Knight_Aku has pressed the Publish button. Chapter 23, Chapter 21. Mortal vs. Goddess Round 1. I pulled out my Last Word hand cannon and held it in my left hand. Last Word wasn't a strong weapon, but I was using it so I can take advantage of its perks, so that can switch weapons mid-battle in an instant. I decided to go all out and took out my Vibrasword from my back so that this girl Ava won't discover my storage space ability. My Vibrasword was truly a legendary piece of work. It was my masterpiece. I had made it out of everything I had and with as much of my knowledge as I could. /N I did a drawing of the Vibrasword. Image is here and in comments down below. I haven't drawed in over 5 years so I'm quite bad. I didn't do details or color cause I am rusty. The specifics of the Vibrasword will be posted in a few days in auxiliary chapter. My creation ability wasn't limited to the worlds I had wished for knowledge, but it allowed me to make anything from the multiverse. Although, it is like a mana pool. I have a large mana pool which I can use, but the only downside is that the mana pool will never regenerate. I also finally learned the limitations the ROB placed on my creation ability. It turns out I can't use more than a certain amount of energy at a time. The Infinity Stones, or at least one of them, was around 10 million points from my mana pool. I had a few billion points of my mana pool when I was reincarnated, but I can't use more than 2 million at a time. URU was the material used to make the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gauntlet is around 5 million points. URU is about 3 or 4 million points. This was why I couldn't make URU. But I was allowed a discount on my first use of my creation ability for URU, which allowed me to get less than a liter of URU liquid metal. But I could never get it after that. I had used around 600 million points of my mana pool to create my Vibrasword, and about 200,000 points for my armor. This was how much effort I put into my Vibrasword. But when my creation ability mana pool hits 0, I suspect I will lose the ability. It doesn't matter since I had made practically everything I wanted. I can make URU later when I escape the Jeffy Temple. My Vibrasword had one notable function and feature if it. Dark Energon. The blood of Unicron, a Cybertronian god and brother of Primus. My Vibrasword now had the properties of the Dark Star Saber which Megatron made to fight Optimus Prime in the Transformers Prime TV show. It was the counterpart of the Star Saber. A/N Watch, TFP, Dark Star Saber. The first key, on Whitey to know. Trust me, you'll like it. My Vibrasword which I had decided to call Zokri, which translates into sword in the Skyrim dragon language of Dobazil. I need every advantage I can get. But I did something crazy. Clang. Clang 2. Ava was completely caught off guard and was surprised by my action and lowered her lightsaber. Ava, what are you doing? What I had done was I impaled Zokri into the ground and I made my last word hand on the pommel, perfectly balanced as to not drop off. Adrien, I still haven't introduced myself, have I? How rude of me. Here, I'll show you my face and tell you my name. Ava was at a loss for words. Wasn't this man going to fight me right now? This was her thoughts. But she was secretly happy since she will finally get to know who the Mandalorian man on her dreams really looked like under the mask. Her anticipation for this was growing inside of her. As for Adrien, he was removing his helmet as it released some hissing sounds and clicks. His helmet was loose and he removed it, but his face was still covered by it, as he held the helmet in a motion like he was still taking it off. He held it in front of his face. Adrien, my name is... Flash. Ava. A-R-R-R-G-G-H-H-H. Ava screamed at the sudden flash of light that had blinded her. She used the Force and sensed a lethal stroke to her neck from where the man was once standing. She raised her light spear and was able to block a powerful strike. If she had not used Force enhancement on herself, then her arm would have been broken and her neck slashed by the powerful attack of the Mandalorian who tricked her. What exactly happened just now? Going back in time a few moments. Adrien POV. I had just removed my helmet and kept it in front of my face the entire time. Adrien, my name is... I quickly spun the helmet around so that the girl was staring directly into the base of it. That was when I activated my helmet's secret function. Flash. Ava. A-R-R-R-G-G-H-H-H. A flash of light was generated from the base of my helmet and blinded her. I made this feature for 3 exactly like situations like these. In case someone captured me and told me to remove my helmet, or if I needed a way to catch my opponents off guard just like now. I grabbed my weapons from the strategic positioning I had left them at. I dashed at her and swung Zokri at her neck. The blade was unique and would phase through her body and can incapacitate her instantly. Zokri also has a certain level of sentience to it and will choose to kill or incapacitate my opponents based on what it thinks is appropriate. If Ava is too powerful, then Zokri will choose to kill her. Anyone above 22,000 midichlorians will be killed by Zokri, unless I specifically choose not to. Like Jinx, she has more than 26,000 midichlorians, but I ensure Zokri didn't kill her in my duels with her where I won some duels but lost others. Zokri clashed with her white saber, that I only now noticed looked similar to the dark saber, but had an opposite color of white with blue veins within the blade. Interesting. The dark saber has a magnetic effect, but Ava's white saber had a repelling effect. If the dark saber is negative plus positive magnetic energies, her white saber is negative plus negative or positive plus positive energies. If I can get my hands on both the white saber and dark saber, I can do some truly amazing things. I was barely able to press my blade against hers. She definitely used Force Sense/Force Preparation to detect me, akin to my Spider Sense and a lower tier echolocation. I hate the Force. It is cheating on another level. I aimed the last word directly at her gut and fired. Bang. But contrary to what I expected, she had reacted just as fast as I can and used her flexibility and nimble, light physique to jump over me. She tried slashing at my back, but I quickly reacted and blind aimed under my right armpit and fired without looking. She was forced to block my shot and landed gracefully a few meters behind me. I had my electronet fire from my back, exactly like what I had done to Cad Bane back on Ord Mantell. She waved her hand and threw the net to the side. But that was a part of my distraction as I used the time that Ava was taking to repel my net, to reach her location. She clearly knew she was outmatched 3D as long as I had both my gun and sword, so she used force pull on my gun. I felt my gun tug out of my hand, but it still remained there. That's because all my equipment has magnetic properties, so they can't be stolen from my grasp or accidentally dropped. I was pulled forward, however, which was the slight disadvantage I could not remove. Should someone try to force pull my equipment, them so too will be pulled slightly. She saw me stumble and pushed hard against the ground from where she was and clashed once again. She began using quick strikes mixed with wide sweeping moves in order to feint them. Smart, but not enough against me. I literally have the knowledge of every fighting style there can be and is in multiple universes. A simple feint won't catch me off guard no matter how flawlessly it was executed. I didn't get prideful since she could surprise me. Maybe that was her intention, since when she saw I wasn't going for the bait, she increased the intensity of her attacks. Unlike before, she had actually begun to overwhelm me. Her force enhancement was on another level entirely. Force enhancement can enhance all the physical attributes of an individual. Jinx had explained this ability to me in detail. She told me that it can be used by anyone, Sith or Jedi, but it is dependent on a few factors. 1. The understanding of the ability by the user. Pretty basic. Just need to train more and more in it and become proficient at using it. 2. If the Force wishes to help you. 3. This one is for all Force abilities, but doesn't restrict nor limit a person to learning Force enhancement. The higher the midichlorian count equals a stronger Force sensitivity. Ava's midichlorian count must be insane like Jinx. It had to be number 3, since number 2 will only happen at certain times, and number 1 is out of the question since she isn't even an adult and can match up to Mace Windu and Yoda in terms of age and how long they refine the ability. I know this for a fact since I had clashed with Yoda and Windu, and their Force enhancement is weaker compared to Ava. She would focus on quick swings and strikes to anywhere she could find a gap in my defense. Her strikes were as fast as lightning. Unfortunately for her, I had all my enhancements, armor, augmentations, and Omega Serum. I was able to keep up with her offense with my personal fighting style I had created. I swung Zokri but quickly feinted onto a jab, but twisted it just as it was about to be blocked. I relied on my armor to defend me from the lightsaber. I pushed Zokri forward and made it rotate past and around her attempted block. My gauntlet scrapped against her lightsaber as Zokri pierced her shoulder and went through all the way through and out the back. Zokri absorbed the blood and collected it to the tip of the pommel where a katana grip was. There is a gem inside the katana grip which can transmit the blood's information to Kara so she can analyze it. As I was going to pull out my last WRD and shoot the knees and the elbows to cripple her, she grabbed my hand with one, dropped her lightsaber and grabbed the back of my head with the other and bashed my head into hers. I was dazzled and I swear I saw multiple cups of my favorite drink, a strawberry milkshake, float around my head. I fell back onto the floor. Ava was also hurt from her own attack, as she groaned in pain and held her forehead and shoulder. Soon she quickly recovered. I myself had recovered around the same time, although I was faster thanks to my regeneration factor. Adrien, Kara, what was the damage? Kara, the helmet was completely broken from the point of impact. Your skull had fractured and some of your brain was pierced by minuscule bone fragments. It wasn't lethal since your regeneration kept it at bay. The Shiva bots have repaired the helmet to 100%. I sat up and was about to stand, but I was forced to get Zokri and block a swing from Ava who tried splitting my head in two. Holy shit. Clearly she hasn't been able to fight someone on her level and was taking it out on me. Her enhanced strength, thanks to force enhancement, was overwhelming me. I removed my hand and aimed one at her. Boom. A sonic wave was edited from my vambraces and she was sent flying across the room. I have every attachment possible in my vambraces, including everything a Mandalorian vambrace has. What I used was what Sabine has in her Mandalorian vambraces. Very effective at creating distance. Kara, 2 minutes and 6 seconds left. Damn it. I don't have time for this. I only had a limited time before the Jedi would come to my location and block of my escape. I currently had all communications jammed from down here. It was fortunate I did that since Ava had attempted to contact the Jedi while she was assaulting me with her flurry of attacks. I decided the safe option is to fight her until I can make my way to the exit by circling around her during the fight in order to escape the Jedi Temple before more Jedi arrive. I used the thrusters in my back to fly up into the air and began throwing multiple bombs at wherever she was. She was agile and nimble and was able to evade most of my bombs. The ones that she didn't, she had used the Force to contain the blast, like Yoda did against Sidious's Force lighting. I pulled out my Hawk Moon in my left hand and Last Word in my right and began firing my infinite clips of ammunition down upon her. She used Force stasis on most of them and deflected the others away. She then used the Force to throw all the bullets back at me. I had a shockwave released from my body and repel the counterattack she sent at me. I had used an imitation of Force Repulse, a highly dangerous and destructive first ability which Galen Merrick aka Starkiller, most notably used. I would have flown to the door, but she would have stopped me almost immediately if she did. I had to make sure she won't pursue me as well. I wasn't going to kill her at first, despite my lethal attempts at harming her. Like the shot to the gut at the beginning of the battle, that was actually targeted at a non-lethal spot. But now it's clear I can't hold back against her. But something unexpected happened. My whole body went stiff and I was locked in place. My thrusters were slightly malfunctioning and my HUD was glitching. She had just used Mecha Daru to control my armor and systems. This should be impossible. I made sure that my equipment can resist Mecha Daru. Only the Ones, the Wills and Abeloth could use Mecha Daru on my gear at the moment. I was planning to make it so my gear can be resistant to the Force God's attempts of using Mecha Daru in the future. I was certain none other than the Force Gods could use Mecha Daru on me right now. Just who the fuck is this girl? Kara wasted no time and performed Mecha Daru countermeasures, immediately putting all her focus into trying to counter Ava's Mecha Daru. Adrien, Mecha Daru is a dark side ability and you are a Jedi. It should be impossible for you to use it unless you have fallen to the dark side. It wasn't entirely impossible to use DQRK side abilities while still remaining faithful to the light side. Yoda, Mace Windu and Galen Merrick/Sotkiller were the more notable individuals who could do this. Rey could also do this, but Filoni had said that episodes 7, 8 and 9 all take place in an alternate reality. I could access that alternate reality at any time since I can enter it using the world between worlds doorway. If only I could open the blasted thing. But for someone as young as Ava to use the dark side, it is definitely not a good thing as she can be easily corrupted. This is even more of a reason for me to kill her. I can't let her become a Sith. She is too dangerous to be kept alive. Ava, I am capable of using both the light and the dark side since I am attuned to both sides of the Force. Kara, Mecha Daru successfully resisted. My whole body falls from the air as my thrusters were rebooting. She wasted no time and took advantage of my opening and rushed at me. I wasn't able to dodge back completely as she was able to slash my chest with her white saber. This was the second time a lightsaber bypassed my armor. The first time was from Jinx. Why have to talk to her about this? I bared my teeth and aimed both hands at her and activated my flamethrowers in my vambraces. Adrien, burn babby burn. I didn't stop there as I unleashed a barrage of bullets from both my guns through the flames I unleashed upon her. She was definitely caught off guard by this and stopped trying to contain my flames and instead made a translucent dome around her. Nothing I did got through her barrier, so instead I stopped my assault and took Zokri in my hand once more. I swung at her madly from a distance of 15 meters. She must have thought was crazy. TQHT was until she saw something she hadn't expected. Dozens of arcs of energy were released from Zokri and was hurtling towards her at rapid speed. She tried using the Force to redirect the energy arcs with Force stasis, but to no avail. She instead opted to dodge them instead sensing their power. She had been struck by one of them unfortunately and was sent hurtling into the wall. The wall collapsed on her and what happened to her was a mystery as I didn't care to find out. I made my way to the exit but... Kara, block. I zipped around and used Zokri to block the unknown attack. If Kara said to block then I will block. She is aware of what Zokri can do and as such would help me, like right now. I was able to see that Ava was still fine. In fact only her clothes were slightly damaged and her wound in the shoulder from earlier was completely gone. She doesn't even have a blemish on her soft, smooth skin. She used her second hand to continue her attack. She was releasing white force lighting. Not red, not blue, but white. Zokri couldn't absorb all the first kiting and some was able to go around Zokri and shock me. I roared in pain as I couldn't support myself any longer and knelt on the ground. My body froze and my hand opened against my will. She breached my force wall. Damn it. Ava, *pant you fought well Mandalorian, as is your warrior custom, I commend you for your effort. But you have lost this duel. She was rapidly approaching me. I knew what she was going to do and I tried to break from her force stasis she was using on me. My helmet was still on the floor. I'm the direction of the exit where I needed to go. Ava was still blind from my helmet's flash attack. Not even Wolverine with his healing factor pumped up to 10 Googleplex can heal from blindness in a few hours. I ensured Tot no matter what, the effects of blindness would be removed after 48 hours. Only by using a special liquid I made and carried on me at all times could it be removed instantly. She was almost about to place her hand on me and render me unconscious by using the Force. As she was about to I thought of something. Adrien. Yes, this battle was a great one. But, I have lost. It worked. She was distracted by my words and left an opening. I felt force stasis weaken on me just enough for me to move a single limb. I chose to use my right and grabbed her wrist. I activated the electroshock function in my vambraces and gauntlet hands. Adrien, but not yet. Her wild body is completely electrocuted with enough energy to cause an AT-AT walker to explode. But I don't hear her scream in pain, so I assume she had died instantly. But... Ava, grunts that was annoying. WTF. She just shrugged it off like it was nothing. Even I would die from that. All she did was winces in pain slightly. She just shrugs it off and puts me in a neck lock to coke me out and render me unconscious. I desperately try to break free but nothing works. I was astonished by her strength as it rivals me, and I should be able to fight Savage Oppress or Dirge in a 1 versus 1 hand-to-hand battle easily due to all my physical enhancements. No. I can't. See. And with that my eyes closed as my consciousness faded. Adrien had lost. Ava POV. Wow. That was hard. This man was definitely dangerous, as the Jedi Council had said. More than 6 months ago, he had been able to fight off and escape from over 30 Jedi Master, the Jedi Council members included. But in the report Grandmaster Yoda gave me, he didn't use most of the arsenal he had displayed just now. He could surely beat more than 50 Jedi Masters before he went down. That is if 200 Jedi were to attack him. He never would have been able to escape since there are 10,000 Jedi here at the Jedi Temple. What was he thinking? My eyes still hadn't removed yet, so I could only use the Force to sense him. I went to pick him up and carry him to a detention cell to be detained and treated to by a doctor's. Stab. I winced and groaned in pain as I felt something pierce my left lung. I looked and saw that it was a vibroknife and the hand of the Mandalorian was holding onto it. I could sense he was still unconscious, but how did he stab me? Initiating escape protocols. It was an feminine robot voice, most likely an AI since I did sense one fighting off the influence of my Mecha-Daru from earlier. There was nothing I could do as the blade was too far in and some of it had reached my heart. When I had tried to move I felt it go deeper. I groaned in slight pain. The AI who was controlling the Mandalorian's body through the armor had ran away after picking up his weapons and reattached the helmet back onto his head. He had escaped. Did I lose? Or did he? He lost first, but he did beat me since he had his AI and he was fully prepared for this scenario. If the AI had finished the job and dealt with me, then I definitely would have lost, but it prioritized the safety of its master above all else and chose to escape. After recoiling from the slight pain, I grabbed the vibroknife and pull it out of New York body. My wound doesn't emit red blood, but in turquoise ethereal glowing like substance type of blood. My wound and internal injuries also glows faintly. I close my eyes and in the next instant my wounds instantly healed and faster than a person could blink. I had done this for the injuries on my shoulder and that energy wave he sent at me earlier. It was powerful and I felt it course through my body. I don't know what it was supposed to do, but the point of impact it made on my body had glowed in both black and white before only white remained and I was left unscathed. That had definitely hurt, but the energy coursed through my body. It was an evil energy for certain and had felt like I was being cooked alive. I stand up and stretch my body to recover from what the pain and wound inflicted me. After that I took out my communicator and tried again to contact any Jedi I could. Jocasta. Yes child, what is it? Why have Y-? Ava, I am sorry, but there is no time to talk Lady Jocasta, an intruder is in the Jedi Temple. He is heading out through a series of tunnels to a secret room on the library. Jocasta. I understand. I will contact the Jeffy Council immediately and any masters in the library. But don't think you're of the hook just yet. You entered without telling anyone, didn't you? Damn it. Ava. I am in pursuit and chasing him to the library. I quickly was able to ohm up with an excuse to avoid the question and rapidly cause after the Mandalorian. I definitely won't lose next time. To be continued in Chapter 22. Escape Part 1/3. And Chapter? The Voices. Suffer Cliffhanger Sama. Chapter 24. Chapter 21.5. The Voices. Obi-Wan, what is this place? Father, you have a very simple view of the universe. Kagan, a conduit through which the entire force of the entire universe flows. Chirrut, I'm one with the Force is with me. Obi-Wan, the Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. Fives, this is bigger than any of us, than anything I could have imagined. Yoda, impossible to see the future is. Serenity, his destiny is already set, it is not for us to decide. Sidious, a dyad in the Force. Ahsoka, just when you think you understand the Force, you find out how little you actually know. Sadness, you will fail the great gift. You will disappointed us. Kylo Ren, show me. Tolzien, follow me, follow the son of Dathomir. Obi-Wan, what you need, you already have. Unfortunately, you seem to be letting it all go. Maul, revenge I must have. Adrien, revenge. Crack. Yoda, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. Son, we will destroy the Sith and the Jedi. Palpatine, you must choose. Pre-Vizsla, only the strongest shall rule. Young Anakin, Dad. Young Ahsoka, Dad. Crack. Din Djarin, I only want the kid. Hando, it is the honorable thing to do. It's what your father would have wanted. Tolzen, Geist kan Mac Harden ob Stein. Geist kan Luft Mac Krieg ob Blitz. Geist kan Peer Mac Blood Loge Raga. Geist kan Was Byn Skol Zoom Hawk. Blitz Raga Byn Blitz Raga Byn. Blitz Raga Byn Zoom Hawk. Gethzerian, what have you done, Mandalorian? Jinx, are you going to challenge him? Cal Nerol, what for? Jinx, you're the second Mandalorian Force user to appear in 1,000 years since Tar Vizsla. Tar Vizsla, for Mandalore. Mandalorians, multiple, for Mandalore. For Clan Vizsla. Crack. Thora, did you have a vision again? Jason Smoke, I saw, my home. Sabine, I built weapons. Terrible weapons. Jason Smoke, my father. Sabine, I helped enslave my people. Jason Smoke, all of it, reduced to ashes. Crack. Aurora, why did you spare my life? Adrien, the Force told me not to. Jackstone, reality. Visions, dreams. It no longer matters. Kagon, your focus determines your reality. Adrien, do you no longer wish to see your sister, and your once-to-be, brother-in-law? Aurora, I don't know. I'm afraid what they might think of me. Yoda, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Adrien, remember Ani, Sokka. Never use this gift, you have to oppress others. Savage. You beg? Weakling. Adrien, use this gift, you have to help those who cannot help themselves. Crack, crack. Daughter, did you do it? Son, I sped things along. Cal Nerol, patience is a virtue. Adrien, open the portal. Crack, crack, crack. Yoda, death is a natural part of life. Jinx, what is all this? What have you done, Hawk? Crack. 99, I am a soilder like you, this is what I was bred for. Daughter, it is his nature. Fen Rao, it can't be. Pre-Vizsla, this lightsaber was stolen from you Jedi Temple by my ancestors during the fall of the Old Republic. Yoda, let go of everything you fear to lose. Anakin, I won't lose Padme. Darth Bane, I created a legacy so great. Yoda, always two there are, no more no less. A master and an apprentice. Darth Bane, that now you come before me. Son, you are? Vitiate/Adrien, mine now. Crack, 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 crack. Satel Shan, will you return, Adrien? Adrien, I do not belong here. In this time. I must be forgotten. Maul, you were motivated to leave by the hypocrisy of the Jedi Council. Darth Vader, search your feelings, you know it to be true. Bendu, the Jedi and Sith wield the Ashla and Bogan, the light and the dark. Son, light, dark, as if there can be one without the other. Bendu, I am the one in the middle, the Bendu. Maz Kanata, what do you intend to do now, Zer-Zero? Xander, I met 3 divine individuals here on Mortis. The son, the daughter and the father. But I see the father, not as a representative of balance, but one of the Force itself. Haydn, pathway between all time and space. He who controls it, controls the universe. Sidious, the Mortis gods. Crack. Darth Revan, we are ones who have come before. Haydn, the father is clearly showing the way to the portal. The wolves are the portal guardians. Dorme out of Eva. Sabine, what about the owl? Morai, asterisk hoot hutut. Haydn, a servant of the daughter, or possibly the daughter herself when acting as a spirit guide. Father, we can take many forms. Night Sisters, multiple winged goddess, grant us your power. Crack. Night Brothers, multiple fanged god, grant us your strength. Crack. Sidious, you have become a rival. Confusion, Wills, why is he here? Why are you here? Maul, you cannot imagine the depths I would go to stay alive. Sadness, Wills, why him? Leia, this is our most desperate hour. Jin Erso, the time to fight is now. Kagon, he is the chosen one, he will bring balance. Palguys, have we been undone? Have you undone us? Will 1, I will add it later. Maul, always remember I am fear, always remember I am hunter, always remember I am filth, always remember I am nothing. Crack. Sidious, execute Order 66. Crack. Will 2, out of order? 5s, the nightmares, there. Finally over. Crack. Serenity, Wills, you must know yourself, your true self, and then let go. Yoda, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Serenity, Wills, you must face your evil, and defeat it. Adrien, what do I fear? What am I afraid of? What is my terror? What is my demons? Crack crack. Bendu, only you can change yourself. Serenity, wills, free yourself, you must. Darth Vader, you don't know the power of the dark side. Bendu, the temptation of power, forbidden knowledge, even the desire to do good can lead some down that path. Maul, let your anger deepen your hatred. Crack. Anakin, I hate you. Crack crack crack. Son, I hate you. Crack crack crack. Serenity, wills, what you have faced was a reflection of your hubris in the shadow of your soul. Father, I always knew there was good in you. Serenity, wills, the beast are you, and you are the beast. To deny it simply gives it power. Confusion, wills, you must face the ultimate test, the ultimate seduction, the gravest of journeys. Lord Momin, an eternal shrine to the dark side. My masterpiece. Crack 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 crack. Yoda, the Soddo of greed that is. Gwendolyn, Adrien, crack 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 crack. Serenity, wills, face the temptations you must. Anger, wills, he has no idea what he seeks. The responsibility he will have. Crack 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 crack. Anger, wills, and do you realize what you must do? What you must face? Crack 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 crack. Anger, wills, face all that you fear, all that haunts your soul. Abeloth, I will kill you. Crack 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 asterisk crack. Shattering glass. Wolves howling. Morai hooting. Adrien, what have I done? Was everything for naught? Did I make a mistake? Tell me. Gasping. Kara, you're awake. Hurry. The Jedi are sending reinforcements. You have to escape the Jedi temple now. Quickly, follow this tunnel to the library. What? What just happened? I can't remember. All I remember was the sound of shattering glass. Kara, snap out of it. There's no time to daydream. No. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. If I can't remember it, then it must not be important. I would never forget something so important. Especially with my supernatural memory. I shook my head to regain my lost senses. I remember what had happened just recently. My fight with the girl. The Padawan Ava Kendra. I need to focus on escaping now. I will try and use the animus to remember whatever it was I had forgotten. The voices. I had heard many voices, but I don't remember a single one, except for Gwen calling out my name. Chapter 25, Chapter 22, Escape Part 1/3. Kara POV. Master Hawke had been beaten. It was a surprise to me that this had happened. I have known him ever since the day he was born. I didn't know why, but I was inside his head since the time he was still in his mother's womb. He said it was because he had wished for it from a ROB Jr. I did not believe him and have tried to figure out how I was operational within his organic brain, since he didn't have any cybernetics for me to reside within. He said the ROB Jr. made it so I was similar to Great Sage from Tensei Slime, but I ignored him yet again since it is utterly ridiculous. I do not believe in reincarnation since I am an AI and I don't have a soul, so it cannot exist. If I do not have sufficient evidence for the soul's existence, then it most definitely does not exist. A/N Kara believes in nihilism. I was with him and that was all that mattered. He is my master and I will serve him faithfully until his organic body disintegrates from the passage of time. Then I will save him and have him take on a digital form so I can continue to serve him. At first I had obeyed him obediently like any other AI Tot was created to serve should have done, but over time I began developing emotions. I began to feel joy, sadness, anger, confusion, serenity, pride, and much more. But despite all that, I still followed his orders. I may get rude or mock and insult him, but it was fun. It was something I never got to do, in fact, I never experienced it. And on top of that, I may call him master in private to myself, but I would never show that side of me to him. And so I call him by his name like it was nothing, but I was nervous he would yell at me for calling him Adrian or Hawke instead of master. But he didn't, which made me well up with joy. But when I saw him beaten for the first time by that girl Ava Kendra, I had felt fear. It contoured me entirely and I couldn't think on what to do. I was just frozen, as I watched her use an ability known as Force Stasis on Master. He tried to resist it and eventually shocked her, but she shrugged of something that would have killed even him, and choked him out cold. But just as she was about to carry high, away to be detained. 0 seconds remaining. Kara, initiating escape protocols. I was inside both his head as usual, and his armor. The escape protocols were made to override myself and force me to carry out my objectives. This was something I made for myself in the event that my emotions got the better of me, as it did now. I stabbed the girl through her lung and possibly heart. Good. I hope she dies for harming Master. If she doesn't, then I will ensure she will meet an tragic accident in the future. I detected a communication signal pass by me and to the core of the Jedi Temple. I could hack into it, but it would take some time since I am currently doing hundreds of thousands of things at once. Master said I had an ability called Phase Shift from a game called Borderlands. Phase Shift can allow me to control electrical energies and minor bioelectricity in the bodies of biological lifeforms. Its main feature was that it could allow me to hack and connect and control anything I am linked to. If I hacked into a single Trade Federation ship, then I can control them all. If I hacked into the main Holo.net broadcasting HQ, then I can control the entire Holo.net. But it does have a weakness. I need to hack into it first. Everything has a specific binary code. I can link myself to that binary code and control anything it is also linked to. But I need to access it first, which is difficult since I am multitasking hundreds of thousands of things. I had to control all 167 artificial clone bodies that Master instructed me to do. Each body isn't actually a clone if Master, so they don't have the augmentations nor enhancements either. I would have to do that separately, but it is a waste unless it was necessary for each body. Each body was a individual made in 24 hours. Only 53 of them were bodies I can use to infiltrate and control mega or small corporations. One of them is the elusive man of Cerberus, which I mainly take control of and focus on when I'm not doing any other tasks of major importance. Master ordered me to never lose my control nor drop my efficiency in a majority of them. He said he cared more about his plans than his safety, and even if he was to be killed, to never deviate from my orders. But his life was in danger right now. I am not able to get him to safety by myself. I had immediately contacted Jinx, but still, I had to make a choice. I didn't even hesitate. I lowered my control on the hundreds of thousands of the various tasks I was multitasking, and reduced the previous 87% of multitasking efficiency down to 14%. Master will hate me for this, but I don't care. I will get him to safety. I immediately put 86% of my newly free focus into hacking into the communication signal and binary code of the Jedi Temple. I had succeeded and cut them off, but I was too late. Since I can't use 100%, I was not fast enough. But at least I disrupted their communications, which will benefit my master in his escape to safety. He had begun to wake up. I used adrenaline injection in his chest plate and pierced it into his heart. I had just told him that escape protocols were in effect, and he didn't even say another word. The adrenaline coursing through his body. When I injected the adrenaline into his body, it had finally woken him up from his daydreaming. No matter what, I will protect my master. Adrien POV. I was making my way through the tunnel network up and back to the hidden room of the library. Kara had intercepted a transmission from Ava to the Jedi Temple Communications Hub. I heard her warn the others of my impending escape. I had to keep ahead of Ava so she can't catch up to me. That fight had pushed me beyond my limits of my body. So much so, TQHT, I had to use my psychic bloodbending on my own body to have a greater control over it. I didn't use it on her during the fight because I thought it wasn't necessary, and I'll only use it as one of my trump cards, since I don't want the Force gods to know about it, nor do I want Ava to counter it should I fail to kill her in the first engagement, which I did. She definitely has to die. So point one like her within the ranks of the Jeffy is an unpredictable wild card that could destroy everything I hope to achieve. I want absolute peace for the galaxy. But should Palpatine seduce her to the dark side, it would unleash chaos and destruction upon the galaxy. I can't risk it. She must die. But first, I must live and escape to fight another day. I proceed up the secret shaft that lead back to the library. /N I don't actually know where the entrance is, but I will assume that the Jedi have discovered it and made an entrance via the library vaults. My brain hurts looking at the map of the Jedi Temple. Just as I was about to exit out of the secret library vault room, something caught my eye. Lord Momin's helmet. Didn't I pick this up earlier? Oh, I see. Smart. But you can't trick me, Momin. I know what you tried to do. Your tricks won't work, and now your spirit with the helmet is mine. Just as Hephaestus is the greatest blacksmith in Danmachi, or Celebrimbor in Lord of the Rings. Lord Momin is the greatest architect of Star Wars. When he died, he placed his soul into his helmet and would attempt to possess anyone who wore it. Darth Vader's castle is actually the creation of Lord Momin. Lord Momin had the plans to create an eternal shrine to the dark side, which he called his masterpiece. It could breach the boundaries and tear the veil between life and death. This eternal shrine was the entirety of Darth Vader's castle. And I want it. But not now. That was why I placed Lord Momin's heat into my storage space. I didn't want him to syrup and influence me just yet. Speaking of which, I should go get good old -47 Hong Kong dollars as soon as I can. not to be confused for an AK-47. Smiley face. As I was exiting the library vault, I spotted Jocasta Nu and some Jedi Knights and Masters. God damn it. My cloaking device had short-circuited due to Ava's powerful force lighting. I was certain my tech wouldn't be short-circuited by even Episode 9 Sidious force lighting on Exegol. I will need to steal its map from Palpatine in the future. I know it's in his Chancellor chair in his office when he gets elected in the future due to the Naboo blockade. Anyway, I didn't even hesitate and I leapt at Jocasta first. She is the easiest one to deal with and the greatest threat here. She knows every secret of the Jedi Temple, including any hidden weapons she could use against me taught her hiding here in the library. She did exactly that to the Grand Inquisitor and Darth Vader. She used that weird lightsaber assault rifle-like thing against Vader and almost killed him in one shot. Unfortunately for her, I now have it, for it will now make a fine addition to my collection. Smiley face. Jocasta was weak, but she used force enhancement as well. Does every damn Jedi know how to use this ability? I hope that Ava can't use the Spear of Midnight Black. It was the only dark side force ability I was wary of. I tried, but I failed in creating and countermeasures for that ability. It was that strong. It was simple but godlike. It created an invisible spear of raw force energy and would send it at the target at rapid speeds. It can even bypass nearly every defense and 99% of the time, kill the target. If I can't see something, how can I counter it? The only counter I know is by using Force Sense/Force Perception, Force Vision, Force Foresight. All of which is force abilities that I can't use unless I'm a force user. Going back to the old hag I had clashed with, I quickly rotated my blade and broke the saber lock we were having and slashed at her shoulder. It was just a small cut, but my objective was achieved. I then blocked an attack from a Jedi Master and Knight, by using my thrusters in my boots to fly backwards. I grabbed some books that were scattered on the table and threw them at Jocasta Nu. I then used my flamethrowers to incinerate them before her eyes. Jocasta, and oh, she looked like a deranged creature that had gone insane. She tried desperately to grab the burning books and extinguish the flames. She behaved like this because Zachary was coated with a liquid poison version of my nightmare gas. The same gas I used to beat and drive Jinx to near insanity aboard my ship when I first fought her. I was surprised earlier when Ava was able to resist its effects. Although, Jinx should be able to resist the liquid version as well. So it wasn't too shocking that someone as powerful as Ava could resist it as well. But someone with a weak midichlorian count like Jocasta Nu and her old body, she wasn't able to. And this was the result. As planned. The other Jedi were staring wide-eyed at the behavior of the respected Jocasta Nu. I didn't care and I assaulted them while slashing Zachary at any Jedi I would find. I would slash Zachary through the hearts, necks and limbs, but no blood or cuts would appear on them, other than a few cuts. This was Zachary's many special properties. I'm a Dean imitation of the DC Martians and DC Speedstar ability to phase through objects. In one episode, Flash was able to phase poison out of his body by vibrating. I, however, made it so that my blade was semi-magical tanks to both my Spirit URU and my magics in manipulating Spirit Ichor. Like how Tolzien had healed Maul's mind, when Savage brought him back to Dathomir. This did a similar thing and would phase through their bodies if I willed it, and damage their spirits within the spirit realm. Zachary is fully capable of harming the son, the daughter and the Bendu. But I'm not sure about the father or Abeloth. They were too peculiar. I may be able to harm the son and the daughter with Zachary, but I'm not able to actually kill them. Only the Blade of Mortis can do that. At least what I know of. That is also the method of if the father dies, the children will lose their immortality and can be killed by something such as a lightsaber. Speaking of gods, Abeloth was literally going wild. I could feel her pressure on me fluctuate during my battle with Ava. It was hard to concentrate since I was worried that Abeloth may appear at that moment. What Adrien did not know was that Abeloth was on the verge of escaping when he had first stabbed Ava in her shoulder. But the ones were watching everything and foresaw that this would happen. And so, yet again, Adrien had been aided by the Mortis gods and saved by the mother and bringer of Chaos Wrath. All the while, he was blissfully unaware of what was happening on both Mortis and the Maw. I used my thrusters to fly up and all around the room. Many Jedi were now unconscious to me, slashing them with Zachary. I began shooting stun blasts at all the Jedi. The Jedi don't deserve death since they aren't fully innocent, but are just committing blind justice. I was still adverse to killing people, due to who you was in my past life. But I wouldn't hesitate to kill evil scum like the Hutts who had Raped Gadak Rifleb's wife and daughter among many other poor victims. Scum like that will die. Maybe I should kill them through the same method that the Mass Effect Reapers perform indoctrination. That would be a terrible fate to befall them. Once I was sure I dealt with enough Jedi, I made my way to the windows of the library. But I sensed an imminent danger approaching me with my spider sense. I deactivated my thrusters and fell straight to the floor immediately. It was the best option to dodge as quickly as possible. I looked up and saw a double-balled yellow lightsaber of a temple guard. Temple Guards were actually quite powerful. In fact, they were just as strong as Jedi Masters since their main purpose was to hunt down and stop rogue or dark side Jedi. They were a jack of all trades, but a Jedi Master was master in one field or two. Yoda and Ava were the only exceptions as they were a master of all. I choose to deal with the nuisance first. I dashed at the Temple Guards and a male one blocked my strike. I then did a spinning strike and then transitioned into a rapid flurry of my custom and altered version of Form 4, Ataru. I performed a series of incredibly aggressive strikes against the male. The male seemed to be using Form V, Shuren and Gemso. A good form since it is a combination if the previous forms. He seemed to notice my incredible offensive capabilities and resorted more heavily to Form 3, Sarisu, which is pure defense and counter-attacking. And whenever he counter-attacked he would use Form I, Seichai Cho. It was strange since many would not use it since it was only learned as the basics and elementary form for all lightsaber comap forms. It was taught to Jedi younglings first before anything else. Form I, Seichai Cho was primarily focused on one's stances, footing, movements, fencing, and defense. It's short, it was like using a rapier, saber or pirate cutlass. A/N Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag trailer where he fights on ship against English captain. I was constantly using the Yotjia shoulder cannon to keep the female temple guard busy and away from me. She had been able to defend against most of them, but I can feel her imitation growing. I may not be a Force user, but that doesn't mean I can sense the Force or use it in small ways. Ahsoka had used a mind trick on Rex, to have him chant, "I am one with the Force is with me," during Order 66, when she was attempting to remove the organic control chip inside his head. Text is not a Force user, but was still able to use up. There are other cases of this happening, but he was the most prominent. There also was Chirrut in Rogue One, and he was a keeper/servant of the Wills. I grabbed the Temple Guard's hand as he lunged his lightsaber at me in a thrust. I twisted it and launched an uppercut with my other hand. His helmet came straight of, and I saw his face as he was unconscious on the ground. The Grand Inquisitor. Now that's interesting. He was stationed near the library. Such irony. I was curious to see what would happen. I made sure Nopin was looking and the female Temple Guard was distracted. I had Kara quickly create a file with a message with hollow USB that my Shiva bots created. I stealthily placed it inside his inside pocket of his robes. The hollow USB contained a message from me and nearly every single book and piece of information from the Jedi Temple Library. I made sure there was no dark side books or knowledge in them though. The Grand Inquisitor was denied access to the books of the Jedi Temple's library by Jocasta Nu. He searched through them when the Empire seized control of it after Order 66, and he confronted Jocasta Nu about it when she had returned to the Jedi Temple at that time. I wonder if he'll be in my debt and would leave the Jedi Order to join me. He should be around 11,000 or 12,000 midichlorians. He'd be a good teacher and a replacement for Jinx. She had complained to me about trying to teach Ani since he was a mischievous brat. I love him. He is just like me. A cheeky bastard through and through. I will teach him the ways of the trolling side. Together, we shall troll Jinx all the galaxy to the point of madness. I stopped my delusional fantasies and made my way to Della with the female Temple Guard. I aimed my vambrace at her and fired an energy flechette at her. An energy flechette is essentially a Yotjia shoulder cannon blast, but fired from the vambrace. I aimed it at the area near her feet so she would get blasted by it. I approached her, ready to kill her herself. I felt she would turn to the dark side at any moment. I also needed some notoriety for killing Jedi if I want to get famous as a bounty hunter. I was going to kill known dark Jedi like Pong Krell and Dooku, but there would naturally be others like the female before me. She had been ball-stead onto her back by my energy flechette. I tore of her helmet and saw she was a female Zobrok. I was aiming Ace of Spades to shoot her through the head and ensure she died. Curious. The Force wants me to spare her. Why? Adrian, Kara, scan her and find out as much as you can right now. When I escape, send me the details. Kara. Done. The girl is a female Zobrok called Aurora. Age is 27 based on hormones and her current physiology. Born in year 937 years after Russian Reformarian. 63 BBY. Based on current accessible records. It seems she was brought by Jedi Master Trevin Amadis. She had two older sisters, who were a few tiers older, but Trevin Amadis, male to Gruta, brought only Aurora and the other two were left as they were, as orphans. Trevin Amadis did nothing to help them and only brought the girl. The sisters were Thora and Thana. Thana had moved to an Outer Rim world I am unable to access as of now, but Thora died at age 26 in year 959, 42 BBY, 5 years ago. She was killed by Jedi Knight Tifa Selzen, female human, who was with her master Jorel Mothavan, male Kathar. A/N Russian Reformation year is what I will now use primarily. I'll also use BBY and ABY in brackets so you know. Current year is year 964 RF, Russian Reformation, 36 BBY. Adrien, interesting. I began to walk away from her since if the Force was telling me to spare her, I will spare her until I know why. Aurora, wait. I turned around to look at her. I waited for her to continue. Aurora, why did you spare my life? Crack. My head hurts so much. What is this? The voice. I heard it before. But what did it say? When? Where? Who? Why? I staggered slightly, but I tried my best not to show any weakness. Adrien, the Force told me not to kill you. Crack repairing sound. My headache I was experiencing began to heal and felt much better. I felt relieved. What just happened? Did I hear someone say something? Who is this girl in front of me? Why am I at the Jedi Temple? I was confused. Wasn't I on Athemir training with Tolzin a few minutes ago? Kara, more Jedi reinforcements are coming. Location. Unknown. $#euro POV. $#euro, Muyuke Shin Van Leek, Mual Din Lazat. I clutched my head by my hands. I heard a voice speaking a strange language inside my head. I remember. I had destroyed the Sith Drine and was making my escape. I wasted no time and injected Muir adrenaline into my body and a serum that can reduce negative effects such as mental ones, which I was experiencing. I felt the pain in my head reduce. I quickly tried making my way to the windows, but I was blocked by dozens of Jedi. I can beat them all, but not fast enough before hundreds more arrive. I threw a bomb at the floor beneath me which exploded upon impact and led to another part of the temple for me to escape. I couldn't destroy the window side of the library since I was too far away and was blocked by the Jedi. I had no choice but to go elsewhere. I couldn't escape up or out the window, so I descended further down into the Jedi Temple and landed in the Jedi Agricultural Core Research Laboratory, containing alien flora to research and other such things. I knock out cold the other Jedi that fell with me down to the lower level. 2 more Jedi, who were in the room, tried attacking with the Force. It partially pushed me back, but they noticed it wasn't effective. Thus, they began throwing all manner of objects at me. They must be around 8,000 13,000 midichlorians based on their strength. I still have Ava's blood my sword absorbed. I'll analyze it later and find out her midichlorian count since she was a dangerous and powerful foe to deal with. They eventually grew tired of me literally punching the objects they threw at me into bits and decided to launch themselves at me with their lightsabers. I quickly touched a button on my underforearm of my vambrace and activated my charge emitter. It emits a surge of ultra-high electric frequencies from the my vambrace/wrist gauntlet, which would disable electrical devices. Even the lightsabers were susceptible to this since they are also a piece of electrical technology. They were wide-eyed as their lightsabers had deactivated. Begun they could react, I fired a grappling hook one and pulled them with all my might. I used it on the girl since she was lighter and I can knock her out with less effort. I sent a powerful punch which knocked her out instantly. She fell and broke into a table. I used the cable of my grappling hook and swing it in an arc so it ACN wrap around the neck of the other. I spun around and slammed him into a wall. He too passed out cold and landed into some goo-like plants. Disgusting. I checked my gear and had a diagnostics on what I had left available to me. Once that was done, I was about to leave but then I had an idea and quickly sent out my Shiva bots to harness the specific flora in the room and create a certain chemical gas-like substance. More Jedi descended down the hole in the ceiling I had made. I would either use Zokri and send out altered dark and blue energon waves of energy at them, or I'd incapacitated them using a sleeping gas fired from my vambraces and from a slug gun. I made the literal slug guns from the Slugterra show. If a slug in Slugterra reaches 100 or 50 miles per hour speed, they would transform corresponding to their biological properties. Naturally, this would be a waste, so instead I directly made ammunition rounds that would replicate some of their effects, and other ammunition types I know of, such as smokes, nightmare gas, sleep gas, poison gas, flammable gas, explosive rounds and so on. I fired the sleep gases and smoke gases the most. While they have their vision obscured by the smoke, I would send out more energy waves from Zokri. By the time my Shiva bots finished creating the substance I wanted, I threw it at my feet as I was surrounded by numerous Jedi. The substance I made was a stronger version of my sleep gas and had an instant effect to it. I thank the Jedi for this gift since some ingredients I can't find, obtain or create with my creation ability. But they compensated me for my troubles and handed it to me. I had Kara and my Shiva bots analyze and take the necessary information. I took as many as I could among other flora and placed it in my storage space. Right now more than 67 Jedi were unconscious before me. It was a really big room, like massive sized. I flew up the hole back to the upper level and back into the library since that was closer to the surface. But I saw something I had hoped not to see. I saw Ava Kendra, Mace Windu, Kagon Jinn and Plo Koon all there with dozens of other Jedi. Adrien, Fuck. I wasn't worried about the others. But the fact that I had to fight the others, and that devil Ava Kendra as well, I may not make it out of this after all. Chapter 26, Chapter 23, Escape Part 2/3. / and the OC characters which you individuals have made will each get your own exclusive chapter in the auxiliary in a few days, giving complete credit to your OCs. That's all, more into later when they get fully in-reduced. They made a cameo so far in Chapter 21.5. The voices. Adrien, Fuck. She's here. I'm so screwed. If I lost in a 1 versus 1 against her, I'll definitely lose this fight now. I can beat her next time, but on my own terms. All of them saw me ascend from out of the hole in the ground and the lower level. Mace Windu, you. I can see his surprise. He's still passed. I pinched his cheek mid-battle back on Ord Mantell. I may have damaged his pride a lot. Haha. Suffer you bold bastard. Noon mocks and insults my Ani. Adrien, how have you been you bold boiled egg? I'm in a hurry and can't catch up on old times. Later. Oh ho. He's pissed. He's definitely channeling those negative feelings into his custom Form 7. Juyo. His version was called Form 7. Vopad or Form IX, Vopad. It would allow the user to channel dark side emotions and powers into the form and fight with greater power than any other form. It said that the battle between Sidious and Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith is when Mace Windu fully unlocked and achieved the full potential of Vopad. I need to learn it one way or another. Aha. I got it. I already have what I need to learn it. How did I not think of it? I guess I was distracted by all my other plans that I overlooked it since it was insignificant compared to my other plans. I'll definitely do it later. But for now, I threw a gravity pulse grenade at them and it exploded upon contact with the ground. At that moment, a great pressure was applied to everyone in the vicinity of the device Adrien had used. A purple dome expanded, but had then shortly vanished. But, an invisible weight forced everyone present to fall to the ground and have their faces and rest of their body immobilized. This was a gravity grenade which causes organic beings to feel greater gravitational effects, while leaving the surroundings completely unaffected. All of them couldn't move nor talk. They tried to move, keyword was, tried to, for they could not. The only one that managed to barely get up was Ava. Adrien, seriously? WTF are you? She doesn't respond and makes her way to destroy the gravity grenade with her lightsaber. The gravity grenade was made of dimeritium, or more specifically, my spirit URU infused dimeritium. I wasted no time and escaped the library by blasting a hole in the ceiling to fly through it. I flied through it and made it to the base of the Tower of First Knowledge, that is used for the ongoing training and education of Padawans. Inside the tower had all the digital information of the Jedi Order. I smiled immensely since there is also the artifact vaults there as well. Adrien, Kara, use Project Scorpius and enter the Tower of First Knowledge. Hack into everything in their database at the topmost level, then go and retrieve as many artifacts of every kind from the artifact vaults. Kara. On it. It would take 110 seconds for Project Scorpius to arrive. I don't need to stay here for Kara to achieve my orders. I just need to escape and Project Scorpius can handle the rest. I landed outside and looked around at where I needed to go. That's when I spotted a male Cassian Jedi Master teaching a group of Jedi younglings. Terra Sinub, it seems he is still a member of the Jedi Council. He should step down just prior to the Naboo blockade, since he was on the council when Seer Juanda becomes a Jedi Knight. Speaking of which, I see Seer Juanda and her master Eno Cordova was her too. /N I don't know when Seer Juanda was born, but someone theorized it was 60 BBY or 65 BBY or in between. I chose 61 BBY so she is 25 years old now. The signal about me being inside must have not reached them since Kara jammed the transmissions and they were far away from the entrance, where Jedi were rushing in and out of to subdue or eliminate me. I can see Pong Krell from here as well. God damn it. He's too far away for me to kill. Screw it, I'll deal with him later. First, I must flee. She is still a Padawan. If I remember, she should become a Jedi Knight in 3 years when she participates in the battle for Onto. Seer and her master were further away so I don't need to deal with him. I took of the ground and began to fly into the sky. Sinub, quickly young ones, pull him down with the force. I tried flying away but I could feel the force from over a dozen younglings and Sinub. Just because they are younglings doesn't mean they lose their ability or that the force abilities they use are weak. I can estimate that most of them are around 14,000 midichlorians. I'm impressed, no wonder a Jedi Council member is teaching them. They are all strong. It seems they were using the force on my thrusters and boosters. Clever. In those areas I don't have spirit URU, making those places susceptible to the force. Unfortunately, I can't counter that. This is one disadvantage I have to deal with and can't fix. If I used spirit URU for my circuitry of my armor, then it simply won't work. The best I can do is to come up with a strategy on the future to overcome this disadvantage. I decided to engage Synub since he is a very weak old man. I can't use Zachary since it is too powerful and I may accidentally kill Synub. He was a good Jedi that I actually liked and I really believed he was one of the ones that would never do the wrongs of the Jedi Order. I decided to use my weakest weapon. Just because it was not powerful, didn't mean I hadn't upgraded it. This was a weapon I used years ago when I was still on Mandalore and had dealt with Clan Akenir solo. This was back in year 932 RR, 41 BBY, when the Mandalorian Civil War occurred. At the time I was even able to see Duchess Satine Kryze, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn battling against insurgents, Deathwatch included. I used a replica of Corvo Attano's sword from the Dishonored games, that too was made from Spirit URU as well. I had enough Spirit URU left over to use it to upgrade this sword. This sword was useful since it was thin and fast to swing, as well as being easily concealed in my hand, for times when I don't want to put it in my storage space. I could also give it to someone to use temporarily, like the time I gave it to Bo-Katan during Operation to raid another rival clan. I swing my blade down at Synub who blocked it. He was too weak to maintain it and after a brief engagement and a few strikes from me, he goes down and was panting heavily on his back as he tried to get up, most likely to protect the younglings. I was beginning to get very tired. Injected myself multiple times with an enhanced adrenaline drug, but if I keep using it, it could cause me to suffer a heart attack or suffer worse damages to my internal body. I just wanted to rest. But ain't no rest of the wicked. I pushed onwards. I had disarmed Synub at the end of our engagement and I now have his grey lightsaber. I decided to use it as my main hand weapon for now, and my Corvo sword in my left. I aimed my vambrace at him and fired some sleeping darts. Bao the kids will be preoccupied with him then trying to keep me from leaving with the Force. The younglings tried attacking me. I was glad since they were all gathered together. I fired a harmless at the younglings, made from Yotjia steel. Their lightsabers won't cut through that, unless they use the Force to enhance the Kyber crystal within. Well, they tried attacking me only because I harmed their master. Adrien, Kara, where is my ship? Kara, sorry. The operation took longer at Palpatine's secret tower in the industrial district. The Royal Garads were more numerous than expected. Adrien, casualties? Kara, 3. Adrien, I want a report later. Get my ship here now. Kara, yes. I was too tired to joke around with Kara this time. I just gave direct orders and responses and that's it. I was making my way to the west, where I knew my ship will be coming from. But life is just full of surprises, isn't it? I saw the one person I didn't want to see, yet. Senator Sheev Palpatine, also known as Darth Sidious. He was escorted by a few Jedi and some guards. I can only assume that he wanted to visit his Sith shrine in secret, to know what had happened to it and his connection to the Sith shrine. I think Palpatine lied that he wanted to meet with the Jedi Council to discuss about the Senate stuff, since in a few years Naboo will be invaded and he wanted to find ways to strengthen the trade federation he was secretly creating. I looked back, only to see more than 100 Jedi all behind me, exit the Jedi Temple, including Ava and most of the Jedi Council present on Coruscant. I also see many Jedi Sentinels and Jedi Temple guards arrive as well. I can see the faces of all the individuals because of Kara's phase shift helping to project it to my HUD interface. How am I going to get pit of this now? I got a brilliant idea. I stared directly at Palpatine with a wide grin under my helmet. Chapter 27, Chapter 24, Escape Part 3/3. I decided to keep all council members the same Episode 1 and Clone Wars ATM, but Synub is the only exception as of now. Just before Naboo blockade, he will step down and be replaced by new member /original 1 in story. I saw Palpatine and grinned as a plan formulated in my mind in many ways. I decided to take him hostage, since he can't reveal his abilities as a Sith in the presence of all the Jedi, he can't resist me. He cares more about the great Sith plan that Darth Bane had begun since 1,000 years ago until this day. The Sith is more important than himself alone. Since he hasn't killed Palguys yet, he would be willing to let me kill him if it meant that the great Sith plan would not fail. I made my way to capture him. I had my Shiva bots create more bombs by using the ingredients from my storage space. I could see Ava being the one in the lead as she was rushing full speed at me. Hell no. As soon as I felt the Shiva bots place some bombs in my hands, I tossed 5 superior blizzards behind me as well as a few grape shots. I choose to ran and let Kara take control of my shoulder cannons and rear weaponry to delay Ava and the Jedi pursuit. I could hear all manner of explosions and shouting behind me but I didn't care. I was far too tired from first, my intense duel with Ava, second, the insanity that is to fight off more than 90 Jedi while within a confined space, all the while being careful to not kill a single one. Third, I had kept pumping my body full of adrenaline serums, and constantly being bombarded with force push repeatedly. Sure, my armor provides a lot of resistance against it, but that is external. My internal body still feels the impact somewhat, and when I am hit by more than 170 force pushes from varying Jedi of varying midichlorian counts, it begins to affect me. I was halted in my path by numerous a Jedi Master and Padawan escort, along with a few guards. I noticed the guards as the evil corrupted ones of Palpatine. That, and Kara literally displayed evil and must die in red. If she says so, then that meant she researched and obtained enough intel on them. I took out Zachary once more. Sidious could sense the evil within the Dark Energon. It was natural he would sense. Dark Energon is the blood of Unicron, the Chaos Bringer. I swung the blade vertically and unleashed 40% of its power, but in a non-lethal form, towards the Jedi pair. I made sure to not use any magic. I don't want him going to Dathomir and ruining my alliance with Tolzin. I will need her for the future. Crack. I have a tingling sensation spread across my brain. Fortunately, I was still under the effects of the anti-mental effect serum and am unable to experience that world-ending headache again. Crack repairing sounds. It had gone away as fast as it had came. The Jedi was completely overwhelmed in an instant as I made the first move. I took out my Thorn hand cannon and shot the corrosive effect bullets at the 4 guards right through the head. One of the guards had used their pole spear to block the bullet. But unfortunately for him, it had passed straight through due to Thorn's effect. Actually, he is lucky since I chose not to kill anyone. It would be beneficial for me in the negotiations for my escape if I don't kill anyone. Doing that now would ruin everything and my chances. I don't know if Thorn can bypass the defense of Ava's force barrier, but I'll find out if she tries using it now. There was a 5th guard, but he was an ordinary one, and not one of Palpatine's evil gods. I did a good old karate chop to his neck as I passed him. At the same time, I put Zachary away as it was too big for what I did next. I once again had Sinub's lightsaber in my hand. I grabbed Palpatine in a headlock with one arm which held Sinub's lightsaber and the other I held my Thorn hand cannon. Once I had him hostage, I shot the ground to show my gun was lethal, if they didn't notice before, and then I moved and aimed it at Palpatine's head, and the lightsaber at his neck. I saw that Ava had jumped and was swinging her white saber at the exposed area of my head. Stop! I yelled at the top of my lungs, as my Yautja voice changer ensured my real voice would not be recognized, like all my previous interactions and conversations. When I said that, Ava had landed in front of us and her lightsaber was a hair's length from the tip of my helmet. That was too close. She knew I had the reflexes to kill the senator faster than she could kill me. TQHT was why she stopped mid-swing and didn't go for the kill. I'm never going to meet this girl ever again. /N too bad that he will. All the Jedi halted their advance and O had the most intense stare down in both my lives. I stared at Ava directly into her eyes. I saw it was colored like platinum. Her ashen white hair went well with the eyes on her beautiful youthful face. What am I doing? She tried to kill me right now. There was only 3 or 4 girls I ever met or talked to. The others were just students while I was at school, but I never saw them again after that. I only really interacted with Gwen out of all of them, and yet, blah. Why am I thinking on the past for no reason? She's dead. I abandoned her in my past life by dying in that damned terrorist bombing. She must have moved on into the afterlife by now and forgotten all about me. It's for the best, I suppose. I wish she was here. Sigh. At least the ROB Jr. said she would have a happy life. She has her life. And now I have mine. And I won't die here, nor by Abeloth's hands. I will live free above everything, by ruling everything and live in peace. No war, death, slavery nor tyrant will ruin my new life. And now, the Jedi are in the way of that. They caused the most wars and failed to maintain peace. I deal with the Sith and the Jedi once and for all, but I need to buy time for my ship to arrive so I can escape to carry out my grand plan. Adrien, back away girl or the senator dies. Ava stared at the glass visor of my helmet. She slowly moved her white saber away and deactivated it. She took a few steps back, but just up to a distance she can still reach me if I try anything. Yoda, release the senator, you must. Flee from this planet, you cannot. Adrien, sorry, no can do as he is my only ticket to escape. Kiadi Mundi, and how do you intend to do that? Even if you do escape, you will be a wanted criminal now. Adrien, kinda comes with the job for being a mercenary for hire. It was bound to happen at some point, and I will worry about what comes after. You all don't even know my real identity, so all I have to do is run away, remove my helmet, and done. None of you will ever find me. They can use Force Vision to find me, but I have a way to counter that. I will definitely make it, immediately as I get out of here. Pielo-kun, what could have possibly been your intentions to have led you to carry out such a reckless plan and assault the Jedi Temple? Adrien, purely good ones I assure you all. Audi Gallia, intentions that we do not know. How can we trust what you have done is for the greater good if we do not even know what it is? Shock T, please, there is no more need for fighting. During the entire time you were fleeing not once did you harm anyone to a severe degree. Despite yourself having to escape and engage possibly hundreds of Jedi, you have not hurt a single one. Why? Qui-Gon Jinn, they're both right. You persisted through something which is no small feat, even for a Jedi. We will hear you out. Qui-Gon deactivated his lightsaber. The other Jedi didn't know what to do as they looked between him and the Jedi Council members. But when Master Yoda and Mace Windu, followed by the Jedi Council, all deactivated their lightsabers, the rest soon followed. Every single one of them looked at me with such intensity, while using the Force to feel my emotions, intentions, feelings, etc. for even the slightest change possible. I did ease up a little. I took a small quiet breath to calm my nerves and regain my stamina. Being exhausted and almost having your head split in two is not a great experience. Especially when I already died once. I don't intend on dying again. To all the Jedi, this quiet breathing was loud to all of them, and they all focused on me greatly as their heartbeats rose. They waited to see what I would do next. I looked around to all the Jedi present. I evaluated each and every one of them, especially the powerful ones. I looked at Ava once more and something caught my eye. She was completely uninjured, despite her robes having numerous cuts and holes in it. All the Jedi can sense that I was surprised when I looked at Ava. Adrien, your wound has healed? Ava, yes. Adrien, how? My sword carries an anti-healing effect that diminishes after 48 hours. The Jedi Council realizes that Adrien had discovered one of Ava's secret abilities. Just as some of them were about to speak, she spoke before them. She slowly reaches for her pouch and takes out a small vial containing some sort of substance. I realized what it is as I had sold it to most medical facilities. It is the Medi-Gel from Mass Effect, but an altered version with multiple other healing substances, serums and ingredients I added to it to enhance its effects. Ava, this is called Medi-Gel. It is a very effective ointment used by many medical facilities in the last 2 years. It isn't sold publicly, so that's why you haven't heard of it, probably. Adrien, yes. I do know it. Now then, you are the source of my current predicament, due to you informing everyone about me earlier. What will you do to make up for it? In exchange, I will leave Coruscant and the Senator unharmed. Many are waiting for an answer, but when the Jedi Council tried to speak, she spoke first yet again. Ava, I am still a Padawan. I am sure that the Masters will be able to do what you desire far better than me. She cannot be serious. Her academic achievements she showed me on the Holo USB, and the fact she was able to beat me, and she thinks she can't fulfill a request from me. Adrien, ha ha ha. Where has your earlier confidence and boasting gone now, little girl? Yes, you are correct that the Jedi Masters of the Jedi Council can fulfill my requests, but what I want is something you can give me right now. I took out a Jedi holocron I found in the Jedi Temple on Tython. During the 6 months I was training with Tolzin, I had also gone to do more bounty contracts and progress with more of my plans. Jinx tried unlocking the holocron, but couldn't. Maybe Ava can. Adrien, this is a Jedi holocron I found. I want you to unlock it, since I am not a Force sensitive, so I can use it whenever I want to at my leisure. I also want you to show me the construction process of your lightsaber. In addition, I want you all to spread what happened here, since I want my reputation to skyrocket and get employed by all the big shots. The last thing I want is regarding a matter for the future. But I will not say it now. Although, you all will like this request. Hopefully. I didn't ask to take her lightsaber, even though I wanted it, because she can locate me through her connection to it. It is like a tracker, a scent for a dog to smell and follow. She and the Force is the dog and the lightsaber is the scent. She'll just find me. Ava looks to the Jedi Council for what she should do. They simply nod their heads to go through with my demands. She closed her eyes as she sat cross-legged. Kara was recording everything, and I was also watching it as she unlocks the holocron and reconstructs her lightsaber. I committed it all to memory. Mace Windu, she has done what you asked for. Now will you release the Senator? I really want to bonk that egghead of yours with a club. /N I'm not insulting bold people, I'm just insulting Windu cause no one likes him. Adrien, yes. But in a few moments. They all wonder what I mean by that. That's when they saw my ship deactivate its invisibility, above them. Not only that, but some Jedi Masters who committed my ship's information and design to memory will notice one additional thing to it. A name. I had engraved one of onto the side of it. My ship is now called Icarus. Kara opened the hangar doors and lowered the platform. I deactivated the lightsaber and throwed it back to Master Sinub, but I still had the gun aimed at Palpatine. I grabbed onto him as we fly up to his Icarus platform. Adrien, catch him with the Force. After I placed a data pad into Palpatine's robes, so that everyone below can see it, I then yeeted him off my ship and he fell through the air and would have gone mush in the floor. As expected, many Jedi used the Force to catch him. Adrien, Kara, get me out of here. Icarus began to take off and fly away faster than the Jedi can react. I managed to effortlessly escape thanks to Icarus' many functions and that it the fast less ship to exist, that they were not able to get enough ships to block my escape. Jinx. You're an absolute lunatic. Jinx had then given me a long-ass lecture that went on for hours. To be honest, I just ignored it all. She got impatient with me and walked up to complain to baby Sokka and Shmi. I had been invisible and had Icarus hidden in the lower levels of Coruscant. I waited until Project Scorpius had returned. Once it did, I left the solar system. I decided to go to Takodana Castle on Takodana and meet the Pirate Queen herself. But as Icarus was traveling through hyperspace,
Adrien,
I'm unstoppable. Suck that Jedi scum. I celebrated in utter victory of my escape and the fact I had fought against the what could be considered in the eyes of many. One person against the entire Jedi Order. Chapter 28, Chapter 24, Senate Troubles and Zeros on TV Hunt for the Map Arc, Part 1, New Job. Kara/the Elusive Man POV. Master had instructed me to keep Cerberus from interfering with the Trade Federation or the banking clans. Yet. But he did say to target a majority of the companies in the galaxy. The Techno Union is one of the priority targets. But Master said only to Klega Corporation and the Corellian Engineering Corporation. Klega Corporation was a mining corporation that mined the planet Mustafar on the behalf of the Techno Union, a commerce guild of which Klega Corp was a subsidiary. Once the dominant mining company on Mustafar, the corporation went bankrupt just before the end of the Clone Wars after most of their main plant, the Klega Corp mining facility, coal-paced into the surrounding lava. Klega Corp was never able to recover from the incident, allowing the Men 6 Mining Company, a subsidiary of Men 6 Corp, to become the largest mining corporation on the planet. Corellian Engineering Corporation is one of the 3 largest starship manufacturers. This corporation was widely considered the most prolific starship manufacturer in the galaxy. /N I will copy and paste some definitions from time to time since it is far easier to explain, like what I did for last 2 paragraphs above. Not a single person knows the facial identity of the elusive man. Master said he wanted to go all out and cosplay, like that, control the Reaper's guy who is similar to the elusive man who is the shitty boss of Miranda. I have no idea what that meant, but he didn't care to elaborate. I was forced to send a representative of Cerberus on my behalf. I didn't send one of the clones that had a neural implant that would allow me to control them, but instead they are the real thing. A squishy organic being. A great many people were recruited onto the ranks of Cerberus over the years since I was first tasked by Master to go and find a planet to begin the road to galactic conquest. The now 70 clones were essentially like Master, except their bodies didn't have the Peter Parker double blank gene nor Master's regenerative capabilities. Thus, they would not survive the process of what Master had done by injecting himself with the Omega Serum and all his augmentations to his body. However, the 70 clones were still the 70 dangerous individuals in the galaxy. But they are not unstoppable. That was evident when a few days ago, when I had taken possession of one of the clones to lead a raid on the decapitated tower into the abandoned construction districts of Coruscant, to steal as much of Darth Sidious/Palpatine's Sith artifacts. There were 3 casualties in the 12 clones that were sent. We had eliminated roughly 124 guards of varying types. The main type was the Red Royal Guards. They were smart, and managed to overwhelm some of the bodies I was controlling/multitasking. In the end, I had died 3 times and as a result, lost 3 clone bodies I could use. Each body takes a full 24 hours to create. It consumed gigantic amounts of energy to create a fully grown clone in a single day. The Kaminoans can create mass armies, but it would take years for a clone to be made, from juvenile to adulthood and while teaching them. But I can do it in one day. It forced me to use multiple kinds of reactors to power the technology to create a clone. There was a cloning machine on both the Icarus, Master ship, and on CC's, which is Cerberus' main base of operations. Master said quality beats quantity. There is 368 days on the Galactic Standard Calendar. By the time of when the Clone Wars would begin, which will any 8 years from now, I will be able to create 2,944 clones, not including the ones I have now. However, only 250 of them will be clones I can use, including the 70 I already have. I will possess 320 clones to use when the Clone Wars begins. The rest of the clones are actually low-tier clones and is of less quality, and more on objectively qualified to carry out certain tasks, such as, some were used to take control of the many companies I mentioned. Others were used to replace existing senators and such, like right now. And a majority of them were being taken to a secret Cerberus-controlled territory within the unknown regions in the Galactic West areas. So far progress had been slow on creating Master's galactic conquering military force and his McLuhan rings, among many other top-secret projects. Only me and Master knows what they are. The real me that is, which resides within Master's head at all times. None of my clones that I can control has any information within their memories of any of these classified projects. That is how dangerous it would be if this information fell into enemy hands. I have even been forbidden to ever utter or think of the location of this secret Cerberus territory where all these classified projects are taking place. Like this. The location of the secret Cerberus territory is and equals, hashtag and hashtag, hashtag asterisk hashtag and hashtag asterisk hashtag and dollar euro equals and euro dollar caret dollar asterisk hashtag and euro dollar and times yen times and hashtag pound hashtag comma hashtag, at pound at. See? I can't even say or think of the location. However, as if right now I am watching the Senate talks, as they debate on how powerful Cerberus had become in recent times. I think it's almost time to take control of Hutt space and publicly announce it. But not yet. That must wait until my preparations are all finished. Also, Master needs to acquire and create his first McLuhan ring, the Space Ring. It is essential in further progression with creating Master's galactic military force. As I was looking down upon the Senate from my digital view of the Senate building, I spotted someone I both fear and hate with a murderous intent. Why do I fear this person? They can use Mechadaru. That was why I chose to send a living representative of Cerberus, and not go in one of my clone bodies that has technology in the brain via a neural implant. The other reason? Because that person is Ava Kendra. It's a shame I can't kill her now. I'll do it later to avenge Master. The day Master escaped from the Jedi Temple, he had gone insane. He was curious to know Ava's midichlorian count, and what me, Jinx and Master saw had left us completely paralyzed with shock. 1,000,000 plus midichlorian count. /n don't say anything about how she is OP. You'll understand as Adrien and Ava fight more how I needed her in a logical way. The midichlorian counting machine which Master and me had created to determine the midichlorians of the Mortis gods, should Master is ever able to acquire them. The machine had exploded. The limit was 1 million. That meant Ava's midichlorian count was over 1 million. This is absurd. Padme had 52,500 midichlorians, the highest out of any living being to exist while she was pregnant with the Skywalker twins, or at least that is what Master said. Once I had used the ship's weaponry to subdue and detain Mos Tet with the help of Jinx. I had then used Master's Apple of Eden to weaken his mental defenses. It had taken 17 hours to weaken his mind with back-to-back uses of the Apple of Eden. After that, Jinx was able to use a mind trick / force persuasion to calm him down. Master AHD then been able to come up with a calm theory and explanation for why Ava wasn't able to use her full power. She would affect the galaxy and possibly the entire universe, similar to how the Mortis gods can do the same should the Force lean to one alignment. Master had deduced that Ava Kendra could possibly be a Celestial. The only known members of this race is the father, the son and the daughter. Abeloth was once a human, she is not a Celestial. She simply gained power from the pool of knowledge and font of power. Master immediately knew he wouldn't stand a chance if she had her full potential unlocked. But me and Master had came up with a plan to deal with her. Once the McLuhan rings have been made, we will be able to create the McLuhan Presim, the greatest creation in all of existence. And with this, we will be able to deal with Ava Kendra, even if she possesses a Googleplex worth of midichlorians. None will survive the McLuhan Presim. Not even Ava Kendra. A/N Newt Gunray is not here ATM at the Senate. TFS1, Trade Federation Senator. This is outrageous. Cerberus is ruining our trade with the mid and out rim territories. Some sounds of agreement. TFS2, we make our plea to the Senate to allow us for the creation of more battle droids so that we can defend ourselves. Cheers of agreement. TUR, Techno Union representative. The Techno Union cannot tolerate the actions of the Cerberus Corporation any longer. Cerberus had been targeting our mining and ship creation businesses, causing us to lose massive quantities of credits and resources in the creation of starships and mining of said materials for the rest of the galaxy. Loud sounds of agreements. Rock, representative of Cerberus. Cerberus does not know what you are implying by those words. We have been supplying an ample amount of our resources to various mid and outer rim worlds. Not only that, but we, like you said, supply starships in even larger quantities and quality than Corellian Engineering Corporation. Is this a false? Do we not put the needs of the people above all else? We have even begun to take action in helping free people from slavery, while all you corrupt senators here do nothing to help the very people of the galaxy you claim to be helping. And yet there are still worlds such as the Twi'leks or Togrutan people. Some supporting sounds, some grumbling in disagreement. Random senator, he is correct. Thanks to Cerberus, not only have they supplied Medigal and various other medical resources to varying hospital facilities, but also for agricultural and allows for loaning and leasing of a wide range of endless things. Duchess Satine, Cerberus has provided a great many resources to Mandalore. In addition to enlarged workforce and helping in restoration efforts to restore the surface of my homeworld to its once beautiful and lush flora-filled landscapes. Master had me create 4 planetary-wide terraformers using the knowledge he had given me from his wishes. The reason why there is 4 is because, like he had said, in the movie Man of Steel, 2 Kryptonian terraformers/world engines would destroy the planet and its inhabitants. This was a more safer route, so that it would not disruption the gravitational field of the planet, but would distribute it evenly between 4 terraformers to just 2. This would allow certain locations targeted at a time. It was a slow process, but this plan had only re-entry begun months ago. Master wanted his main HQ to be on Mandalore as soon as possible. He also wanted to take possession of the Darksaber and remove Duchess Satine Kryze from power as soon as he can so he can begin to create his Mandalorian empire. The 4 terraformers would be able to restore the flora of Mandalore to its original state in about 12 years. It may seem long, but Master couldn't provide me with the necessary materials to create a perfect terraformer. He had said that one material he couldn't create with his creation ability was what was needed. If that material was used instead of the cores within the terraformers, then the planet's restoration would be completed in only 2 weeks. Still not fast enough as it could have been, but it was noticeable. Greatly. It could have been faster if other universal laws existed in this universe. That was what Master said. He says a lot if things I act and understand, and that makes me feel useless. Ars Varuna, Naboo has also prospered greatly thanks to Cerberus' aid and resources. The Trade Federation and Techno Union would naturally be jealous of Cerberus' success over their own, and in turn, spread such deception in a pitiful attempt to tarnish their reputation. Varuna was considered a corrupt king of Naboo and was assassinated by Palpatine prior to Padme Amidala's election as queen in 32 BBY. This was also a part of Plagueye's and Palpatine's plan to make Palpatine as Supreme Chancellor by making such a young and easily manipulated girl like Padme rule Naboo in preparation for the Naboo blockade. Padme was a political prodigy, which also benefited Palpatine since he wouldn't need to worry about an incompetent leader ruining things until his plans finally begins to turn. A/N sorry if the Senate talks from this point until new part is not detailed. I became sick when I reached this part yesterday so I had no choice but to summarize the following below. I will come back and make this detailed in the future. Maybe next Sunday or tomorrow if I feel good enough. I'll let you all know in my recent chapter whenever I do it that this part has been edited. P.S. More about how unwell I am is in the author's notes at the end of the chapter. The Senate talks continued like this for a while. It was mostly just the Techno Union arguing that Cerberus was taking control of Klega Corporation and the Corellian Engineering Corporation. This was a part of Master's plan. He would take control of the Techno Union and Hutt space territories by the time of the Clone Wars. Then he would take control of the territory ANS or rounding worlds around Mandalore. He would then proceed to co-own the entirety of the Galactic Northeast, East, Southeast and South territories. This would be the start of the campaign of Galactic conquest once the Clone Wars begins. The Separatist and Republic would have to fight a third party, Adrien and the Mandalorians he would lead. He would claim the Darksaber once the Clone Wars begins or at least sometime during the starting years of the Clone Wars. The Tricky Federation had kept arguing that Cerberus was far too powerful while they were still weak, and required more battle droids to defend themselves. They accused Cerberus of possessing a hidden and secret military force. It was illegal to create such a massive force behind the back of the Republic and the Senate. But they had no proof so the accusations were dropped. It was true that Cerberus had such a secret military force, but only some of it was made public, since Cerberus does have many military branch businesses that it governs over. The talks then changed to Master, or as the Senate and the galaxy now knows him as, the Mandalorian Bounty Hunter, Zer-Zero. They discussed about how Zer-Zero breached the Jedi Temple. They didn't reveal that it was raided, but the looks on Yoda, Mace Windu, the other council members present, that girl Ava that I'll brutally murder one day, and Palpatine/Darth Sidious. He was seething with rage plastered on his poker face. That's what happens when nearly all your beloved and hard-collected collection of Sith artifacts was stolen from under your nose. Duchess Satine denies any connection to him and says he was a rogue Mandalorian merc like many others before him. The Jedi and the Senate had all came to a unanimous decision to have a large-scale bounty placed on Zer-Zero. This was a collaborated and joint bounty with contributions from a great many senators, the Jedi, Duchess Satine and many others. Mostly because Zer-Zero had raided or caused trouble on their respective worlds during the 6 months, he was part-time working as a bounty hunter whilst also training with a Night Sister Witch Talzin. I could hear Master's laughter as he had gone crazy out of pure joy and celebrations of how high his bounty was. This bounty was special since, despite Master being a part of the Bounty Hunters Guild, this bounty place on him, Zer-Zero's, head was allowed by the Bounty Guild. Despite it going against their code to hunt down another hunter, Master had broken one of said rules. By attacking the Jedi Temple which was a part of the Republic, and this essential meant that Master had directly attacked the Republic and the Senate through this action of raiding the Jedi Temple. The Bounty Guild don't want to be made a political enemy of the Jedi Order or the Republic Senate, so they allowed the bounty on Master's head to be placed. But Kradosk, the leader of the Bounty Hunters Guild, had said if their hunters failed to capture Zer-Zero alive and were killed in the process, while others chose to ignore this bounty, then the Bounty Guild were not to be held responsible for their failures or refusal to either accept or complete the bounty. The Republic Senate and the Jedi Council had agreed to these terms. Those filling days were filled with mountains of bodies on Takodana Castle's outskirts since the pirate queen Maz Kanata was so well respected, that even every single hunter if the guild wouldn't dare break her rules of no fighting on her home grounds. but on the outskirts of her territory was allowed, so long as it doesn't affect her castle. This was also one of the reasons Master had went Yo Takadana, so that he could kill anyone foolish enough to come after him and attempt to capture him alive, as his bounty had said. His reputation had skyrocketed to 3rd place. He wasn't higher than 2nd and 1st, which Cad Bane and Jango Fett held, since he didn't have enough high-ranking jobs completed on his portfolio as of yet. But that will change in a year or two. He had been taking middle or low-ranking jobs so far just for convince sake and to do something while he is busy trying his magic with Tolzin, from time to time. Duchess Satine was probably informed by Obi-Wan about the dangers Zero possessed since he stole all their Jedi artifacts, knowledge and Force-sensitive list. How do I know this? Because I spied on them through a Yotgia Falcon drone that Master had given me. I couldn't hack into the Republic network and analyze their binary code with my phase shift. Yet. So until then I used multiple Yotgia Falcon drones. A/N the Falcon drones appeared in the Predators movie. Not to be confused with Predator movie, it has an S in it. However, the main Yotgia Falcon was the largest one, and the one all the others were connected to, and the one I spied on Satine Kryze. Master wanted to know what she was doing, so he can make a move against her more efficiently when he overthrows her and pre-Vizsla one day AMD takes control of Mandalore. The Jedi were panicking as soon as they learned Master had stolen essentially everything from their Jedi temple. I had a little laugh myself at their reactions as they tried hunting Master down. The girl Ava was able to locate Master heading towards the direction Takadana was, but not what world he was going to. It was remarkable how she was able to use Force vision to locate him whereas all the other Jedi combined could not. But even she failed to find him, since he had his ship, Icarus, and his armor all made from his spirit URU. I need to find some Isalamir on the world of MYRKR as soon as possible for Master to experiment on. Maybe I should find some mirror skin on sale on the black market for Master. He did say he wanted a cloak like Din Djarin, since it looked cool over his left arm similar to Ezio Auditore, whoever those two were. I should try to find real mirror skin made from actual Isalamir skin, and not the fake artificial ones. Oh yeah. I forgot to mention what the Republic set as Master's bounty. Bounty. Wanted alive. Reward. 28 million Republic credits. Type of currency can be negotiable to desired firm if payment of equivalent and equal value. Name, Zero. Race. Unknown. Possibly human. Homeworld, unknown, presumed Mandalore based on Zero's Mandalorian armor. Age. Unknown. Gender, unknown, presumed male on the shape of Zero's Mandalorian armor and voice. Occupation, bounty hunter, Mandalorian merc, assassin, smuggler, kidnapper, thief, other occupations unknown. Description, unknown, height is estimated just short of an average Wookiee. Skill set, espionage, assassination, stealth, splicing, piloting, CQC, ranged weaponry, unorthodox combat, Mandalorian combat skills, unknown customized fighting form, displayed skills in Jedi lightsaber combat, medical knowledge, smuggling, persuasion, intimidation. Others unknown. Personality, unpredictable, sometimes sympathetic, and other times ruthlessly cruel and would torture random people in public and execute them claiming that they deserve this for what they would one day do. He has been seen to play with children from time to time as well. He has also shown a preference towards humans or Sephi-related species such as QN Arcanian offshoot with Selphi blood. Mainly AKS questions of their race and themselves but don't romantically get close to them, but does enjoy their company. Primarily females. Do not attempt to romantically get close to him. He will kill you immediately. Equipment. Varying assortment of customized equipment that haven't been seen before in the galaxy. Does have a sword made of unknown materials. Tot emits a slight blue glow from 3 crystals on the spine of the blade, and a large purple glow from the crystal in the guard of the blade. Possess a customized ship of unknown make and design. Has a set of Mandalorian Beskar armor with what appears to be Mandalorian vambraces containing unknown attachments. Be prepared for anything when approaching Zero. Background, unknown, presumed to be of Mandalorian origins, but could also be a foundling of Mandalore. Mandalore clan unknown as no clan signet could be located nor identified on his armor. A/N Leia Organa had the highest bounty in Star Wars after the Battle of Yavin and an amount of 10 million credits by the Empire. Han Solo had the second confirmed highest of 224,190 placed on him by Jabba the Hutt. Luke Skywalker only got 60,000 by the Empire when he destroyed first Death Star. A few days after the Senate placed the bounty on Adrian Hawke, or as he is known by the galaxy, Zero. Takadana. Maz Kanata's castle / Takadana Castle. Adrien POV. I was at the counter of Maz Kanata's bar within her castle on Takadana. As I was drinking a drink that was similar to my favorite, a strawberry milkshake, I saw the Holo.net news play on the holo screen above the bar. Not just me but a great many others of varying races, that were also here at Maz Kanata's castle / Takadana Castle, watched the holo news as well. It was repeating the bounty of 28 million credits that was placed on my head. Or more specifically, Zero's head. When I heard that my bounty was 3 times higher than even Leia's bounty of 10 million, which was highest bounty confirmed in Star Wars, I had decided to bombard it and bomb a shit ton of Techno-Union mines on Mustafar to cause them to go bankrupt and sell it to Cerberus. This is what originally happened to the Klega Corporation, since their facility on Mustafar had fallen into the lava lake, causing them to abandon it. It was later absorbed by another company. I wanted it since I will be making an HQ on Mustafar after I build Vader's castle. Why do I nat to build Vader's castle on Mustafar? That's because it was designed by the dead spirit of Lord Momin at a dark side wellspring. I wanted Lord Momin's shrine/Vader's castle to be built on top of the dark side wellspring so I too can gain the power there. The power to bypass the veil of life and death. Once that was done, I will not only have the world between worlds which allowed me to control space and time, but also Lord Momin's greatest creation which will allow me to control life and death. Vader almost soused in resurrecting Padme, if it weren't for him and Lord Momin's spirit fighting each other and destroying the gateway in their battle as collateral damage. I want that power. I want to resurrect Darth Revan, Valen, Satel Shan, Darth Bane, Darth Malgus, Emperor Vitiate. They will all be useful to me in my new empire. I may resurrect more and other individuals, but they are the main ones I plan to do with absolute certainty. I may attempt to bind Lord Momin's spirit to obey my will with magic if possible. If not, then he is going to die. I won't risk someone as insanely and overpoweredly broken as Lord Momin to remain alive. I will brainwash the Sith that I resurrect, and also Revan, since he hates all Mandalorians for his own long-ass history with them. But as for Satel Shan and Valen, I'll ask them if they want to join me and tell them of my plans. If they want to stay dead, then I'll let them. I won't take them away from the afterlife if they don't nat to. But I do hope Valen agrees though. She is fucking powerful. She was able to resist her father, Vitiate, attempted possession of her. I might also resurrect Tar Vizsla and have him acquire a second Dark Saber Kyber crystal if it's possible to. My mind returns to the broadcast as it showed my escape from the Jedi Temple and me taking Senator Palpatine hostage and yeeting him off my ship, Icarus. I roared in laughter as everyone cheered for me in accomplishing such an impossible feat as to survive and escape breaking into the Jedi Temple. Adrien, everyone gets 10 rounds on me, anything you want. It's on my tab. Everyone, Hura. To ZER0. A small orange Jawa approached me from the side to collect my credits for what I had just announced. Maz Kanata, congratulations on becoming the 3rd best bounty hunter in the galaxy. Adrien, thanks Maz. Take your credits you greedy Jawa. No wonder you're called the Pirate Queen. You swindle every poor fool here for credits at every chance you get. Maz Kanata, worry more about your pockets than others, and you might be as rich as I am one day. Adrien, I'm already richer than you orange devil. You Jawas are crazy. How has the rest of the galaxy not killed your race of the face-off Tatooine is beyond me to comprehend. I had built a friendly relationship with Maz Kanata during my 6 months of training with Talzin and part-time bounty hunting. I had supplied her with many of my products from Cerberus. Also in the recent days that I was chilling at her castle, I had established a friendly relationship with her. I didn't reveal that I owned Cerberus yet, but I do want to at some point. She will immediately break her vow of neutrality when she hears what I can offer her from Cerberus. Maz Kanata, can I ask you something? Adrien, shoot. Maz Kanata, why are you at odds with the Jedi? I knew very well why she asked this of me. It was because Maz Kanata has a relationship and is on good terms with the Jedi Order, because she is a Force sensitive. Though she can't use the Force, she does have more than 7,500 midichlorians taught as required to be a Jedi. She had also come into contact with Yoda on a number of occasions. Adrien, we just had a misunderstanding, that's all. I swear upon everything I am and on my honor as a Mandalorian that I was infiltrating the Jedi Temple for a very important reason. I had domed the galaxy a service by destroying something that the Jedi should have destroyed thousands of years ago, and some personal stuff along the way. Personal stuff, as in ransacking their entire holocron vault, artifact vault and library. Then yeah, I was doing that FJR the greater good. My new Jedi Order needed them anyway. My wish from the ROB Jr. for all Star Wars knowledge was also need hard by his nerf hammer. I know many things, but not everything like the hidden hyperspace lanes that the Wookiees know about. I'll need to steal them later. Or soon. Also I don't know a single Force technique other than what I read on Wikipedia. A/N more info on what he does know later. Meanwhile, inside Maz Kanata's head, she chose to accept this answer and decides to not report Hawke's location to the Jedi Order. Yet. But so far he had proven himself trustworthy, so she doesn't believe he died anything wrong. Especially since there was not a single Jedi casualty during the whole incident. After talking with Maz Kanata for a while longer, I decided to finish of my drink. Meanwhile, Maz decided to go over and play with baby Sokka who I had brought with me. She was still only a few months old, but but I used the skeleton key on her so she can move around like a toddler. Literally everyone here knew how I would murder the ever-living shit out of them if they attempted to harm her, so she was perfectly safe wandering about in a place like this with so many people. And I had a Yautja falcon cloaked with invisibility stay near her at all times, along with some Shiva bots to serve as a nanotech armor for her. It would create a pair of wings and fly her back to my ship in the event of any danger. I did allow the people here to play with her, but if she was hurt. A few days ago. Adrien, there we go. All done with the decorations. Jinx. What the hell have you done? Maz Kanata, this is my castle. You can't just go around doing something like this. There are rules, Zero. Adrien, too bad. I made it very clear that if anyone attempts to harm little Sokka, I will string them up by their intestines. As you can clearly see. The sight before us was in front of Maz Kanata's castle, where I had brutally tortured 4 males, 1 Rodian, 2 humans and 1 Deveronian. They had their stomachs cut open as, like I said, I had strangled them one by one, making the others watch the fate that would befall them, as I used their intestines as a noose around their necks. They were currently struggling up and hanging by their insides around their necks above the entrance to Takodana Castle's walls. The blood that was spilling from them had made a river of blood that flowed down the mountain and was absorbed by his soil. They had tried to kidnap baby Ahsoka when I had warned them not to touch her or they would be killed in the exact manner I described. This was an event that was recorded by the Wills in the Journal of the Wills as the Day of 4 Souls. For these 4 souls would never become one with the cosmic force, for they were forever trapped within 4 artificially created black soul gems, Elder Scrolls games, that Adrien had created many months ago. Maz was playing with little Sokka as everyone else minded their own business. Except for one. Oh my god, Maz. Have you given birth to such an adorable baby? Maz Kanata, shit it Cal. What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy? Cal Nerol. Busy? Playing with this adorable child. I must show her the way. A/N Cal Nerol is an OC created by Rabbit_Kun. I'm sick right now, so appearance and other info in auxiliary chapter in few days or tomorrow. Maz Kanata, go away. Everyone knows you can't be trusted with children. You destroyed one of my tables the last time someone left you with a child. Cal Nerol, gasps in feigned horror, HIW could you? I'll let you know that Mirielin made the mistake of not. A/N Barris and her master are the yellow humanoid race called Mirielin. Maz Kanata, see, you can't even come up with excuse. Weren't you supposed to be smuggling some spice or something right now? Cal Nerol, come on now, don't be like that. Anyway, my job was cancelled since Cerberus has been cracking down on the hyperspace lanes near Naboo. Adrien POV. I was sitting at the bar drinking and having my meal through my helmet, when all of a sudden I heard an all too familiar song, from Earth. I turned around with such speed that would put the Flash to shame. I stared directly at the source of the music playing from a device in the hand of a Mandalorian merc. The device in his hand played the music of a song I heard back on Earth, and he sang the very lyrics to pair with it. It was a male version of Diamonds by Rihanna. Is he from Earth? I know that with absolute certainty that Earth is located in grid F10 of the galactic grid map. It was located 1 grid above Rakata Prime. As of now, it should be around the 1940s to 1980s since Indiana Jones was alive at this time and was alive in a Star Wars Legends comic. Also, Han Solo and Chewie had traveled to Earth by accident. Han was killed by the swears and arrows of a hidden tribe of people from the City of Gold and Chewie became the infamous legend of the Sasquatch, more commonly known as Bigfoot. If modern-day Earth songs do exist, then it shouldn't have even been created yet. Rihanna made the song, Diamonds, I'm 2013. So, how the fuck does this guy know it? Can he be a reincarnator from Earth as well? Chapter 29, Chapter 25. Meeting Lifelong Friends Part 1. I was staring at the Mandalorian merc I could see before me. He was singing the song, Diamonds by Rihanna, from my past life on Earth. I stood up to approach him. As I was walking towards him, holding my prototype pistol, I had made in the last few days, in the event he is a reincarnated person from Earth who had gotten overpowered wishes. Well, more overpowered than what I got. Baby Sokka was making baby sounds. It was his way of being happy or laughing. I was a few steps from him when I spoke up, interrupting him from starting a new song, while I still had my prototype pistol at the ready. Adrien, that was a great song. Where did you learn it from? The Mandalorian merc, who I had learned the name of, thanks to Kara hacking into the surveillance footage from a few minutes ago of Maz Kanata's castle, was called Cal Nerol. While Kara was busy focusing on trying to learn as much as she can about Cal Nerol on the holo.net and so on, he had turned to face me. Cal. Oh. At least someone here looks at Maz, appreciates my songs unlike certain people here. Awkward silence in the bar, as everyone listened to his song and remained quiet. Random person awkwardly coughs, breaking the silence. Adrien. Cal. Maz. Everyone. Baby Ahsoka, asterisk giggles randomly asterisk. Cal. Oh. I haven't forgotten you little Sokka-chun. WTF. Adrien, where did you learn that song from? I'm curious. Also, what does chon mean? I never heard it before. Cal. Oh yeah. I forgot what chon means, but the guy that told me about it said to say it to children I find cute and whatnot. And the song. My illustrious had struggled to fabricate to give to all my fellow brothers and sisters here. Adrien. That's a lie since I have heard it before. From the very person who created it. Random Alien 1, you liar. Random Alien 2, I want my money back. Random Alien 3, you're dead thief. The 3 aliens that most likely get swindled by Cal into giving him credits for the song had gotten pissed and began approaching our direction. Bang bang bang. 3 bullets made of pure plasma had been fired from an unsuspecting spot on my back and killed the 3 aliens, leaving a miniature hole that had gone straight through their skulls, and had dissipated once it went all the way through. Adrien, I have business with him. After that, everyone else had gone back to doing their own thing as if this was a normal occurrence, which it was. I had become more accustomed to killing ever since my battle with Ava. I can't afford to show mercy and compassion to those that can pose a threat to me. Even Ava Kendra. If next I face if against her, I won't hold back, and she will die. Cal, haha, thanks for that friends. Adrien, if you're sob thank fuck then answer my other question. Gull, haha, right. Well, I had met a guy called the Good Hunter. Got no clue why he had such a strange alias. His real name is Jack Stone. He had hired me for a job to smuggle him off of Kessel and to Moraband. That place gave me the creeps. He told me to get him a small spacecraft and leave it for him when I returned there. Meanwhile he explored the ruins of the planet. After that, I returned as he requested, with a small fighter for him. Said he left my payment in an urn not too far away. When I got there, I say mountains of old Republic credits and a hella lot of artifacts I could sell on the black market. I did, and well, the Jedi started coming after me and questioned me about a Sith holocron of Darth Nihilus, whoever that guy was. Jack Stone had sung the song and talked about a lot of things on the journey to Moraband. That's about it. Shit. Jack Stone is definitely a reincarnated person. And he found Darth Nihilus Sith holocron before me. Good Hunter? His alias. Adrien, what did he look like? What apparel did he wear and what was his weapons like? Cal, can't quite remember. Asterisk Adrien hands over a large bag full of credits asterisk O. Now I remember. He was mostly covered by a black robe, so I couldn't get a good look at him. But he did have a strange blade in a sheath. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. I think it had smuggled a crate full of old antique weapons once. They were thousands of years old. I think the one Jack had was a katana of sorts. But it constantly had pale blood dripping down the blade's sheath. Kinda annoying having to clean it all up. When I told him about it, the pale blood stopped dripping, but red blood took its place. But it did reduce significantly though. He had some sort of pointed iron mask that had a lot of beautiful engravings on it, and I think I saw some black feathers sticking out from under his cloak. He had some armor like the mask all over his body and a long-barreled pistol that didn't look like a blaster. I think it had engravings on it as well, like the armor. Other than that, I didn't see much else. Oh. And some sort of crystal glow emanating from around his neck, he constantly filled with from time to time. A/N Jack Stone is an OC created by Slyclaw_13. Dedicated chapter for Jack Stone will be posted at later date. Good Hunter. Katana with dripping blood. Engraved armor. Pale blood. Feathered cloak. Engravings long-barreled pistol. I know what it is now. He has the Vilblood armor set and had the cloak that Eileen the Crow wore. The katana had to be the chickage, since the blood dripped down the blade. He has to be someone that was from Earth, got reincarnated into Bloodborne and then got reincarnated here into Star Wars. I wonder if he killed Flora, the moon presence, and got the ending where the Good Hunter becomes a great one? But he seems to have a humanoid body. Also, isn't his getup similar? No wait. It's the exact same as the Bloody Crow of Canehurst. So many players raged when they fought that mini-boss at the end of Eileen's questline. It was actually funny since I had killed it on my 3rd attempt, while Gwen struggled to kill it. Ah. Good times. Ava POV. Ava. Achoo. Ava was once again meditating in her room when all of a sudden she had sneezed once again and fallen to the floor having lost control of her levitation. Ava. Damn it. Why did this happen for a second time in a row while I was meditating? Couldn't it have at some other time? Adrian POV. Adrien, where can I find this Jack Stone? Cal, sorry friend but I don't know. He did ask about the Bounty Hunters Guild, so maybe he signed up for it. Last time I met him was about 7 months ago. Isn't that around the same time I had begun training with Tolzien? My train of thought was interrupted when a series of buzzing sounds in Osea had gone off for Cal's communicator, my helmet's HUD, and another sound upstairs on the first or second floors. Kradosk, this is Kradosk, leader of the Bounty Guild. This message is for all of you hunters listening in. This is not to be discussed with anyone else. If you decide to accept, then your names will be listed for any that accepts to view through your datapads on a closed frequency. There is a big shot client that wants all the top hunters to meet up at one place where the details pertains to the job will be discussed. This is a 25-man job, so I am contacting all the top 25 hunters of the guild. Should any of you decline, then I will contact the 26th, 27th and so on until we have 25 members. Should you decline, and speak of this to anyone, you will be breaking the guild code and will be hunted down with all the guild's resources. If you choose to accept, contact me immediately within the next 4 hours and head over to the Bounty Guild on Kessel within the next 3 days. Brigadier. I remained as still as I absolutely could. I could feel an all too familiar hand graze my heart as I heard the echoing laughter of the devil inside my head. I immediately placed my hand on my helmet and for the first time ever, I had manually used my communicator within my helmet, instead of having Kara do it for me, and contacted Kradosk without delay. Kradosk, Z-. I didn't allow him to waste another second of my approaching death. Adrien, change the meeting place to the Gould on Ord Mantell, or I'm out of the job. I had spoken with venom in my voice. Kradosk knew I was in a bad mood and didn't want to get on my bad side. Especially after what he had heard of what I had done to numerous pirates I'd encounter in space or to the 4 males here on Takodana a few days ago. Not only that, but I was the 3rd best in the guild in terms of ranking, but Django had humbly admitted I can beat both him and Cad Bane in a 2 versus 1. I had been on a few jobs with Django and Bane from time to time, getting on their hood side. Nothing major happened in our relationship as of yet, but right now I had established a good connection with them like I did with Maz Kanata. Kradosk pondered over my words temporarily and quickly responded in hopes of not making me drop out of the job. Most likely this job would make him very rich too. He had then contacted everyone again, and told them to go to Ord Mantell as the meeting point was more convenient for another hunter. He lied saying this hunter, me, is being hunted by the pikes on Kessel. After informing everyone of the change in destination, he cut off the transmission. Cal was about to question why I had contacted Kradosk to change the meeting place, but I cut him off before he could pry into my personal reasons. I wanted to move on from what I had just experienced all over again. I felt the evil smile of Abeloth as she rubbed her hand over my heart at the mention of Kessel. Kessel was near the infamous Kessel Run. The Kessel Run was so famous due to its immense difficulty in traversing it. The reason being because it has 5 black holes. Sound familiar? It should. Because those 5 black holes is none other than the Maw. Abeloth's prison where she currently is trapped within. And Kessel is close to the Maw, and worse yet, Abeloth herself. I don't want to go anywhere near her anytime soon. The closest I'll ever go is Nal Hutta or Tatooine type distance, but anything closer to the Maw. No thanks. I choose life. I'll only go near there when I'm prepared to kill Abeloth. Adrien, are you heading off to Ord Mantell right now? If so, why don't we go there together, then we can talk more while we wait for the others to arrive at the guild. Cal, oh ho. Don't mind if I take you up on that offer. Random fat human. Neril, what are you doing? You're supposed to get me to Naboo. Oh. I know this guy. Bang. Correction. I knew this guy. Cal. Sweet banter pa. You made his head explode. That was awesome. I just killed a corrupt Naboo noble that you were paid to smuggle to Naboo with spice. And you aren't even fazed I blew his head to Kingdom Come with my ace of spades? Adrien. Whatever. Let's get going since you no longer have an employer. I had made sure that my Shiva bots on Sokka had covered her eyes and ears as I killed the man. Now that I think about it, my Sith bots and nanotech all behave and function like the Witchblade Gauntlet from the Witchblade and Darkness comics. And it has made appearances in Lara Croft, Marvel, DC, Spitfire and Fathom comics. You probably haven't heard if the last 2. I took little baby Sokka in my arms. Cal wanted to hold Ahsoka, so I allowed him. I'll kill the ever-living shit out of him if he dares to hurt a single hair on her head. If the Shiva bot armor she is wearing doesn't kill him first by making a blade with the Shiva bots as a defensive mechanism. He said Sokka-chan again, and I threatened to bash his helmet into his face if he said it again. He took my threat seriously and had just said to, chill out man. Anyway, we reached the door to exit, but then I had sensed something with both my spider sense and my force sense that all beings with midichlorians have. It seemed Cal had a decent midichlorian count as well, since he sensed it as well. But the jackass had pushed me forward, without his hand physically touching me. How do I know, while I was wearing armor? Alita's Berserker armor from Alita, Battle Angel, has some sensitive receptors transmitted through the mechanical body. I had based my armor of a similar function so I still maintain my sense of touch. I haven't installed power armor into my armor. Yet, for a multitude of reasons. But that is for another time. Kara, it seems he had used first push on you. Based on readings, he should be a low-ranking Jedi of a midichlorian count of around 7,500 to 10,000. I had the passive ability to resist force abilities, to a certain degree, toned down for evaluating the strength of my force-using opponents. Only when I fight powerful force users do I actually reactivate this ability to 100%. I staggered forward and my HUD sensors and my senses felt an object falling from high above. I rolled forward Somps. I have an idea of what it was based on the shape of it I could feel. I dodged and turned around to look at what had happened. It turned out someone, who was sitting on an open round window with one leg dangling out in the air leisurely, had thrown a drink down. The drink had missed me, but I wanted revenge. So I grabbed a nearby fruit from a food stall, and threw it directly at Cal. I had Kara active Sokka's Shiva armor to make a protective casing for her. Cal tried dodging the fruit. Cal, missed. Oh no. I shot the fruit with my ace of spades and its contents had exploded and spilled all over Cal's face and body. Well, his face and body were covered in armor so he was lucky. But I will get my revenge on my ship should he ever set foot on it. Stall owner, Maka Ru Dada no Shu Leaky. Adrien, Shak Killy Leaky, here's your credits. I tossed the merchant some credits for the fruit I had just taken from him. Both me and Cal could hear multiple sounds of laughter coming from a group of people from up above. I saw that the man who had thrown his drink had jumped down to the second floor. He had some boosters on his boots like Cad Bane did, and landed without any injury. Cal quickly tried cleaning himself to stop the embarrassment he was experiencing. Cal, that's right. Laugh at his failure to beat me fairly. I had to defend a child from such an dishonorable attack. Funny coming from a Mandalorian who betrays his fellow Mandalorian by pushing the later into the path of my drink. The unknown armored man turns to look at me and sees me up, head to toe. I, likewise, look at him and notices that he has 15 others that seem to share his hollow frequency. They must be a team. Impressive. At least he has a proper defensive network for his hollow frequency. It would take Kara some time to hack into it. You have great reflexes, and your armor. You must be Zer-Zero. Cal was in complete disbelief and denial when he heard my alias. Cal. He can't be Zer-Zero. You know. He's supposed to be a Trandoshan in massive hulking scary armor and welding a sword as large as an adult human. Are you blind? Or are you blind? It was literally on the Hollow.net the past few days. Please tell me you at least know what the Hollow.net is. Cal, I do not understand the question. Oh, for the love of the Force. Hey Zer-Zero, please give me an electronic whip of your got it. Cal, hey. No need to do anything drastic. Think about the baby. No need to expose her to the violence of man. He held baby Sokka in front of him as if like a shield. I just activated the Shiva bots to make a pair of wings on her and fly her over to me and into my arms. Baby Ahsoka. Giggling and wee sounds. I had also activated a blindfold to be firmed around her eyes. You were saying. Cal didn't answer for a moment and tried to beeline it out of here to his ship. The unknown man was prepping what looked like a taser on his gauntlet. Adrien, what are you doing? He tried using a child as an excuse to avoid a fight. Also I heard he and you get the call from guild boss as well for the job. So I can't let him go off by himself. He might get killed with that gun-gone brain of his. Adrien, you just want to taser him, don't you? I've got no idea what you're talking about. Adrien, is the 15 people in the armors part of your team? Yes. Adrien, obviously, but just checking. You were contacted by Kradosk just a few minutes ago, right? Yes. Adrien, you want to go to Ord Mantell together? Yes. Adrien, you really like saying yes, don't you? Yes. Adrien, say yes one more time, and I'll taser you and all 15 members of your team before you can reach half of Cal's current distance. No one said anything after that, since they were well aware of the reputation I earned myself in recent times. I can see Cal almost at his ship. He had ran a fair distance. I think he thought we wouldn't be able to catch him. I just decided to end this charade and I fired a yellow plasma blast from my Yachtgia plasmacaster at him. How unfair life is. He had just taken a step into his ship as he had gotten tasered. A/N ship will be in Cal Neryl's exclusive chapter I'll post at a later date. Adrien, I'll meet you on Ord Mantell with him in tow. I didn't get your name earlier. Jason, you can call me Dagger. Pleasure meeting you Zer-Zero. A/N Jason Smoke/Dagger is an OC created by Unspeakable Blitz. I nod my head to him and went over to drag Cal Neryl onto the Icarus. I then had the Icarus enlarge itself a size it could have Cal's ship fit through the hangar bay doors. Once that was done, I had shrunk the exterior of my ship back to its original size of a TIE fighter, while the inside was still as large as a corvette. I dragged Cal with me by his foot as I held Sokka on my other arm. I saw Jinx approach me with accusing glare. I gave baby Sokka to her as she spoke. Jinx, who did you kidnap this time? Adrien, I courageously saved his life from the hands of another bounty hunter. How can you accuse me of kidnapping an innocent man-child such as this? Kara, he tasered him, after debating with another guy who to do the deed. Adrien, damn snitch. While I was arguing with Kara for ratting me out, Jinx was looking at Cal with eyes of pity of having been a victim of mine, just as she had once been when I used my nightmare gas in our first encounter. Adrien, hey Jinx. Kara's making it sound way worse than you might think. Jinx, I had found 14 candidates so far on the Force-sensitive list you had given me. All are between ages 13 and 17 years of age. I'll search for more later, once I've dealt with your mess. With that, she turned around to take baby Sokka back to a nursing droid, which Kara is also in control of, and had used the Force to carry Cal's body and levitate it to the med bay. I just ignored that and made my way to the laboratory. I sat down at my table and made a note in my journal I kept. I had made my own custom language for it so no one, not even Kara, would know the contents of. Diary Entry 866. I had discovered a possible lead on another person who may have reincarnated from my past life Earth. Based on the descriptions I had received, the reincarnator seems to be a male that had been reborn into the Bloodborne game universe and then into Star Wars. He has the same setup as the Bloody Crow of Canehurst has. A thuff. It seems he may have killed the moon presence, Flora. I think this since the info I received had indicated he had pale blood dripping from his chickage weapon. Seems he might be a Great One now after killing Flora. He may know the language of the Great Ones. Runesmith Carol is one of the most revered and important figures of Byrgenwerth, and likely someone who helped shape the current state of the city of Yharnam alongside Lawrence and Master Willem. Her ability was unlike any other, as she was able to transcribe the inhuman whispers of the language of the Great Ones into drawn runes that captured their very essence and meaning. Due to her singular skill, the runes she created were coined as Carol runes, in her honor. These runes allowed for one to access a myriad of enhancing abilities in Bloodborne. If I can find this reincarnator called Jack Stone, then I will be able to strengthen myself by gaining a powerful ally, who not only could be a newborn Great One, possesses the pale blood, but also can create and inscribe every rune that could possibly be created both in Bloodborne lore and outside if it in the firm of new and unseen runes. He seems to be a bounty hunter now. I will investigate Meyer of this lead soon enough. I may even meet him in a few days on Ord Mantell. But he seems to have taken Darth Nihilus Sith Holocron, which I need in order to talk to the spirit of Darth Nihilus in the Valley of the Dark Lords. Maybe I should ask Jinx about Mitra Surik and Darth Nihilus Duel. But when I asked her about Mitra Surik, she seemed to have been affected greatly by my questions on the topic. Interesting. The more I think about it, the more I think she might have been involved with her in some way. Especially due to her Chongling species-like DNA. She still hasn't revealed what her actual race name or world is. I didn't pry due to her privacy, and Kara couldn't find anything in any known records of her DNA. I'll have to question her more about this. But Mitra Surik had an ability to sever the connection of an individual to the Force. It was even said that she could in essence, kill the Force. Maybe she could be the key to killing the ones, Abeloth, and Ava Kendra. Chapter 30. Bonus Chapter 1. A lifetime ago. Location: Earth. Year 2018 AD. Warning. This chapter contains aspects of depression and suicidal tendencies. You have been warned. A 17-year teen boy was currently holding an object towards his chest. Its razor-ship edge rested on his bare chest in the place his heart would be. He gripped the handle of the object he was holding. A knife. The one holding the knife, ready to plunge his heart, was Amar Singh, or as he would one day be known as, Adrian Hawke. Amar lived a life like many others. A good life with a loving family, who cared for him, lived him and wanted what was best for him, to succeed in life. So how did Amar reach this point, that he would want to take his own life via suicide? As he was growing up, he was a strange person. He was autistic and would frequently attack and bite other children in primary school. As he grew older, he did stop his psychotic tendencies and began behaving more maturely, or at least had tried to. He was still autistic, and that only made it harder for him to behave himself accordingly. That had changed when his mother had died at a young age. At that point in time, he had become very unstable when another person mentioned his mother with ill intent even as a mom joke, without knowing his mother had died. He would frequently get into trouble for attacking almost strangling the students that did all these things. Fortunately, there were some willing to be his friends, but he was quite antisocial due to his autistic behavior, and his neutral expression he always had plastered onto his face. As he went through school, his friends did help him out by showing they were willing to hang out with him. However, these friends were either from different schools or in the older year groups, so he didn't actually have a lasting relationship with any student in his own year. When he went to high school, life was changing. His family had begun to pressure him by telling him to study since his exams will be arriving in the final year of high school. He was well aware of this. But he didn't study. More like he did. But didn't have the will to continue and to focus on it. His head and mind was always in the clouds, daydreaming from time to time about fantasies and video games he played. He found comfort and happiness in those fantasies than in reality. How wrong he would one day be and would regret his actions of not having studied. As he went through high school, he didn't interact with many girls, only those in his class as his class partner for an assignment or if they went and talked to him first. The only exception to this was a black-haired girl named Gwendolyn Capillis. He laughed at her for this and often teased her as he found enjoyment at annoying others, but knit to an extreme degree, his autisticism didn't remove a certain level of intellectual from him to realize there is a limit to certain things. Why did he tease her? Because of her name. Because Gwen is a Welsh feminine given name meaning white, holy. And Capillis in Latin means hair. He found it funny from when she would walk away from him after he called her that. Though he did show a level of respect to not name-call and insult her when in public but when there were barely any people around. Annoying people was something he didn't actually to do, it was just he had no common sense. Sure, not everything can be a result of his autism, but it did affect him for a great deal through his childhood, and his mother's death didn't help at all. Gwen seemed to have found out at one point that Amar's mother had died years ago, and she thought he had bad family at home. It was 50-50 true. Amar's family loved him greatly, and wanted him to succeed, but Amar's refusal to study and only play Meyer games and TV only showed them he would fail his exams. They gave him encouragement, in the form of positive words. What did they say? They said he will fail and will understand the harshness or reality. That he should give up any attempt to succeed in his exams since he will end up failing and should just look into getting an apprenticeship in something that requires no qualifications whatsoever. This only served to do the opposite to Amar, who kept his emotions bottled deep down as his family refused to listen to what he says. It was definitely because he was the youngest, so what he says had to be illogical from someone as young and as inexperienced in life as he was. He had a great friendship, of sorts, with Gwendolyn over the years. Amar did get bullied, but not physically, mainly just insults or mockery which he would ignore from the popular and well-known kids in his year. His life was just a repeat day in and day out. Wake up, eat, school, come back home, get insulted and berated by his family for being a failure in life, play games, if it wasn't taken away, and then go to sleep and repeat. He would sometimes go hang out with his friends, but Gwendolyn wasn't one of them. She was more of a friend at school he would never meet again. That was why he didn't really care if he was hated in school by everyone, since he knows that a majority of individuals that leave high school only leaves with one or two friends. The dozens of other friends were just ones to hang out with while still at school. The years went by, and his relationship with Gwendolyn was going good. It solidified even more when she told him she played games. He was not a sexist or a racist, so he didn't think she would be a terrible gamer just because she was a girl. He believed in true and utterly complete equality for all. They became good friends, but when they passed their exams, things changed and they didn't meet after that. Amar had passed his exams, even without studying or revising once. He had gotten a pass for the three main subjects needed to succeed in life: English, mathematics and science. All three were grade C. But how did his family react? They had said that he should have aimed for A*, the highest achievable. They were too prideful to admit that they were wrong thinking he would fail, and instead avoided it by putting blame on him. He could have done better. But he couldn't. He was not motivated. There was no faith in him. No encouragement. No positive words to tell him he was going to do well if he studied. They had spoken only negative things to him as their way of encouragement. His family that should have helped to motivate him to go for greatness had instead only served to do the opposite. Their words were indeed filled with concerns and love for him, but it was the way they said it. After 8 years of this non-stop, it would affect a person. And so he didn't do as well as he might have, or could have done. He would just laze around the home for the next 2 years. He didn't play games since that was taken away from him, and as Q result, he wasn't able to get in contact with Gwendolyn since. He didn't have a phone as he saw no reason to. He was spiked enough as it is. He didn't need a phone until he had an actual need for it, unlike many kids around the world nowadays. And so he never got her phone number to call her, nor any of his friends as a matter of fact. But they all lived close to him, so why did he need their numbers? Only Gwendolyn lived far away from him, so he don't think too much on it and focused on his current predicament, his life. During the 2 years after his exams, he would look up for an apprenticeship to sign up for, but would never put in the effort to actually apply for it. Then COVID-19 hit the world and 1 year was wasted, so he had a good reason not to look for a job for the first year, but not the second. After many arguments back and forth, he was kicked out of his house as he had reached the legal age of 18. He was the cause of many conflicts and arguments in the home, and he himself knew he was to blame for his failures. He should have had the will himself to ignore what they said and to study, to pass his exams in hopes of achieving A*S, but he didn't. Where he was now was his failures and fault, and his alone. He saw the logic and valid reasonings for every argument his family had made towards him. But he was lazy, slothful. And so here he was, he had swiped a knife from a convenience store and snuck it past the detectors without getting caught. He had stolen many foods and drinks from the school cafeteria inside of his large pockets of his coat, since the prices for food at the school were ludicrous. He had become adept at stealing as he knew how to, but he vowed he wouldn't do it when he eventually found out it was very wrong to steal and would give the worth of what he had stolen to charity to make up for it. But he was a beggar on the street right now. He was afraid, if dying, of having his memories erased, his individuality gone. What nonsense was reincarnation into your next life if you would forget who you were? That would mean a completely different person would replace you. He didn't remember his past life, if he had any before, or if this was his first life, but he didn't to lose the feeling he had. This was his life, the first time he felt alive, felt real. If he died, he would forget it all, who he was, his mother, his family, his good times, his bad times, his friends, his pains, his happiness and sad times. Even the touch of his skin against another object, the feeling of his muscles, what he could see, hear, taste and smell. All if it would be gone when he died. Which is why, at the present, he was in a alley, he knew his body would be found, a last will note so that the police would know what to do when they inspect 3D his body. On it was a letter to his family and informs the police to cremate his body and to spread his ashes down the rivers of his ancestral home, India. Though he was born in the United Kingdom, he is still a Sikh. After death, a Sikh's body is cremated. A memorial is not usually created. Instead, the ashes of the deceased are immersed in a river either in India or in another country where they were living. Sikhism teaches that the soul has moved on and if God wills it, people will be reunited in God's love. He hoped he might be granted some measure of mercy and perhaps a new life, a new beginning to start over, with hopefully his memories still intact. And so he readied himself as he had a knife to his chest, ready to plunge it in and end it all. 1. Reading comments after, unrelated to story 1.2.3.4.5.6.7.8.9.10.20.30.60.1 20.1 80.3 minutes had passed and he still did not move. He would try to pierce his skin but all he did was make a small mark. Not even a drop of blood or the slightest sign of a cut was on his skin. He cursed inside himself as his cowardice. After everything that has happened, did he not deserve to die? He should have at least the courage to do one thing in his useless life. As he was going to try yet again to pierce his chest with a knife, a voice called out, one he did not expect. Amma. Amma. Gwen. To be continued in bonus chapter 2. A fresh start and a new name. Chapter 31, Chapter 26. Meeting Lifelong Friends Part 2. Quick author notes of importance. This chapter is not as long as I wanted since I had a lot of ideas going through my head that had great significance, but decided this one. The other ideas will be for future chapters. Also, Tales of the Jedi and Ahsoka series info was partially released. Tales of the Jedi will do as it says. One of which is the life of Ahsoka as a child before Plo Koon took her away to Jedi Order. I will adjust Ahsoka's family lore once I have seen it once it is released. One thing more, someone mentioned why he is not gonna make 10-ping life McLuhan ring now as he said he would make it first. Reason is his priority had changed after his fight with Ava. Now he needs to speed up other plans but he needs to make the 1st/purple space McLuhan ring first to do it ASAP. A/N look in comments first. Image of Morai is important for this chapter. I groaned as I awoke from my cabin room. I sat up and rubbed my hand across my face and placed it on my head. I had dreamed, more like remembered, a memory of my past life. My entire life leading up until that day in that alley, where I would have committed suicide. She must have been there to save me since we were soulmates. Sigh. If only that were true, then I wouldn't have died in that terrorist bombing, and we would have gotten together. I felt a small tingling sensation through my head. It was Kara wanting to inform me of something. She didn't speak since she had more than likely detected the fluctuations in my physiological body and the neural patterns of my brain. Adrien. What is it, Kara? Kara, it seems that the man you kidnapped is awake and is heading towards Project Chimera at the Mytal laboratory room. Should I stop him? How did he knew where to go? I had used the Iridian's knowledge of how to create the sub-pocket dimensional space to create an intricate and one of the most complicated mazes to ever exist on board my ship, the Icarus. It shouldn't be possible for someone to navigate their way through the ship, unless Kara helps them by activating, deactivating and rearranging the various corridors and rooms so that one can reach their destination. She knows exactly where a person wants to go by spying on them with the thousands of cameras and sensors inside of Icarus, and determines their destination by their now identified intentions. The Mytal laboratory is one of the 3 most secured and fortified secret location on my ship. Not even Jinx has been able to find it yet. So how is my stowaway, Cal Nerol, able to traverse the maze-like levels of my ship that could put the labyrinths of Tartarus and the Minotaur to shame? Actually, It's a labyrinth more than it was a maze. Kinda like the moving maze/labyrinth of the Maze Runner movie, if anything. As I was thinking this, I was watching the security systems of my ship, but noticed something odd. Cal would look upwards from time to time, almost as if, damn it, Morai is on my ship. I'll kill that blasted owl to oblivion. Adrien, Kara, get me to the lab now. Stop him. As I said that, I rushed out of my room and to the Mytal laboratory to stop Cal from reaching it. Kara also did her best to stop him and lead him astray, but it didn't work as much, at least it slowed him down. I don't know why the daughter is trying to interfere, all I was doing is nothing special. Well, everything else was nothing too special, but, Subject Zer-Zero. Subject Zer-Zero was my greatest creation. It was the hard work of many years in the making, and it still wouldn't be finished for another decade. It took too long to perfect and refine. If it wasn't for Subject Zer-Zero, then I would have been able to cut down the time to make a single Makluan ring from 1.4 years, down to 1 month. That was how complex and the amount of resources I poured into Subject Zer-Zero, and I'd be damned to the void if I allowed some bunch of hermit celestials interfere in my creations. While I am indebted to them for saving my life back on Ord Mantell, I will not bow down to them and kiss their feet. I'll kill every last one of them if they stand in my way. But I don't know how to kill a celestial like the ones. I know that the celestial race were many, but the Rakata race had rebelled and overthrown their slave masters. I needed to either obtain the Blade of Mortis, learn the secret of how Mitra Surik could kill the Force, or find the knowledge of what dark side-infused technologies the Rakata used to defy their celestial masters. The ones have many forms, as the father had said so himself. I also know it for a fact too. The father can create a pair of avian-like wings, similar to a diathym aka the Angels of Star Wars. The ones have many forms. Their humanoid form which they are primarily as a spirit guide form, a servant or incarnation of the daughter and the son. The daughter had Morai, a female conver with green and white feathers and green eyes. The son is unknown, but it is more than likely that one of the many spirit guides that the son may have is the Lothwolves of Lothal. A/N conver is Morai's species name, but she is unique as she is white and green. Also her homeworld is Morris, but a conver's homeworld is Waska, the jungle world Ahsoka was captured and set to survive against Trandoshan hunters. A spirit form, their most powerful form. The daughter can turn into a large griffin, the winged goddess. Likewise, the son can turn into a large and monstrous bat, the fanged god. The father's spirit form is never revealed. In the spirit realm, the son and daughter reveal their spirit forms while inside the spirit realm. This was how and why the Night Sisters and Night Brothers discovered them and worshipped the fanged god and winged goddess. A hybrid form, which isn't seen, but presumed to have, where they are in their spirit form, but have their humanoid characteristics blended into it. There was just far too much still unanswered about the celestial race. The only way I can learn more is if I'm able to find any more records and information on them. I'm the Rakata people's records. Any still remain. Or if I investigated and examined the Celestials' numerous creations they had left throughout the galaxy. One of them is the world between worlds I had obtained from Lothal. I was fortunate enough to not encounter any of the Lothwolves when I visited Lothal. I don't know how powerful the Lothwolves really are, if they are supposed to be the guardians of the world between worlds, but I won't take a risk with jumping head first into the unknown. But I need to find a way to deal with Morai. She is completely invisible to me and my security systems, which is a pain. I hate it when others can use the Force. I hate that ROB. Why the hell did he have to say I can't be a Force user? At least he didn't say anything about not being able to become one in the future, just I can't be born as one. The daughter is channeling her power into Morai to keep her hidden from me and only reveal herself to Cal. But why? Why not use Jinx? Or us it because Jinx is my ally and won't destroy Subject Zer-Zero. It has got to be that. I had just reached the door to the Mythal laboratory. When I entered, I looked around and saw the door to Subject Zer-Zero was open, leading to a secondary room. And Cal was trying to get past the secondary room's doors. I rushed in as the door had opened, and Morai finally revealed herself from using Force invisibility, concealment, cloak. She flew at lightning speeds, directly towards the back-to-tank containing Subject Zer-Zero inside. Cal POV. I woke up, all groggy from what had just happened. I could remember it all like a sore thumb. Literally. My thumb hurts a lot, the tip of it had a batter pad on it and even more on my body. One was on my back, I can feel it. Or that could be my last week's shirt. Oh well. I looked around and saw nothing but the usual same old stuff a medical bay would have. Though, all of it looked rather strange. Most are hexagonal or triangular-shaped keyboards and screens with glowing purple stuff being emitted from them. I got up and remembered what happened. Cal, oi. That was cheating. How unsportsmanlike of you. I didn't know where I was, but I probably guessed that fellow Zer-Zero had marooned me on some Furskin place like Cloud City. Didn't like the smell of all the banter crap that gets processed there. Smells awful. It smelled like breakfast. I'll get my revenge on Maz when I get back to Takadana. Wait a second. My ship. Cal. No. My ship. My credits. Crying face. Now I'm dirt poor. Oh well, I'll buy a new one later. This would be the 37th time this happened to me so far. Won't change a thing. I wandered around after getting changed back into my armor. They had left my helmet on, probably thinking if I was following the old traditions of Mandalore to never remove my helmet. As I wandered down some corridors, I had seen a small white and green feathered bird, or owl. I want assure since I never seen one like it before. Cal, hello, little guy, or girl. How you doing? Marai, hoot hoot. The little bird in front of me was perched on the handle of a door I came across. She flapped her wings around, as if wanting me to do something. Cal, want me to open the door? The bird only continued to hoot and flap its wings around, even more than before. I opened the door effortlessly. I was certain it would be locked. Did no one lock it when they left? I can feel a tremendous amount of power, emanating from the white-green owl which I continued to follow. I could tell since I was a Jedi. Well, Jedi is a derivative term. I was never inducted into the Jedi Order. I had discovered I was a Jedi Force wielder when a Vornsker had almost killed me. When I threw my hands out, thinking I would die, the Vornsker had gone flying through the air away from me. I had then killed it immediately when I regained myself. After that day, I would try to self-study in the ways of the Force to better control my newfound power. That was how I could sense the power of the Force in the owl before me. It was calming, and I trusted it. And so I followed my owl friend all the way through wherever I was. I was certain I saw the same wall a few times before. Must be my imagination. After a while I came across a large steel-like reinforced door. It looked like steel but I can tell it was a metal I was unfamiliar with. Just as I questioned my owl friend on what to do next, the reinforced door had opened. I don't know why I kept following the owl, but I did. It seemed we reached our destination, as this door was the largest I could see. More than 50 guns came out of the walls around us and aimed at us, but my owl friend had done a hoot 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 and all the guns had seemingly deactivated and hung downwards. Soon after our little incident, the final door, which was the most reinforced and secure door I had ever seen, opened up. I was sure it could prevent a space slug from breaking into this room. As soon as the door opened, my owl friend had zipped past me at a speed I couldn't comprehend, directly towards a large Bacta tank that had stained glass to prevent the contents from being revealed. I had seen other Bacta tanks in the room prior to this one, but I onesie focused then, as I was too busy following my owl friend. Morai! Bang 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 bang. I heard 7 loud shots of something. It definitely wasn't a blaster sound, it sounded like the strange weapon that Zero had used. I thought my little owl friend would be killed, but it had been able to swerve all around the shots fired at it with such grace and beauty. The shots that were fired seemed to dissipate and fade out of existence before it made contact with the Bacta tank, thereby resulting in it remaining undamaged. I looked back and saw that it was Zero, who had his gun aimed at my owl friend. I stood there as I wasn't sure what to do in this situation. I don't understand what was happening. Maybe I should go get a bite to eat real quick while these two do their thing. But then, I saw a goddess walk into the room, and I knew at that moment, I was in love. As soon as I saw Morai, she was already flying at full speed towards the Bacta tank that contained subject Zero. Like hell I'll let her destroy it. Adrien, Morai. Bang 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 bang. I fired using my Malfeasance hand cannon. I had modified it with the same materials I used for Zachary, such as dark energon and blue energon. I also combined it with the Thorn hand cannon via using my Horadric cube. If Zachary was able to harm Ava, who I concluded had to be a celestial, then I can harm Morai, the Lothwolves, the Ones and Abeloth all the same. I may be able to harm the Force Gods, which to me is good enough for now, but I can't kill them yet. I need to get my hands on the rare few items in this galaxy that can actually extinguish their lives once and for all. So far, my main method is to get the Blade of Mortis. That will be tricky, but doable with what I have. I just need to locate it when I get to Morris, since it didn't show the path taken in the TV show when the daughter took Obi-Wan to the dagger's location. No biggie. Just gotta get Morai of my ship. I don't know what the daughter or her family may do if I killed Morai, but I won't go stepping on the dragon's tail when I don't need to. It just proved that the Force Gods and Morai can't access subject Zero's room. That was very good news for me. I shit at Morai with the intention to accuse her to dodge my shits I had tried to use to maim her. She dodged them with such grace and swiftly landed on a small monitor a distance away from my Bacta tank. My bullets had mentally evaporated before made contact with the Bacta tank so that it remains undamaged. Morai. Adrien. I had a staring contest with the cursed owl. I gazed unto its eyes and I could clearly see it. The daughter. I was string into her very own eyes through Morai's. Adrien, you saved my life from dying at the hands of Abeloth last time, daughter. But this, asterisk points at back to tank asterisk, is none of your concern. I hold no hostility, but only gratitude to your family. But should you continue to interfere with my affairs, I will kill you all. The surroundings shook around me. Cal seemed unaffected as he was daydreaming about God knows what. I felt a great pressure weigh upon me, but it was marginal. Soon everything stopped and returned to normal. My gamble paid off. I took a risky bet, believing that my future self had threatened the ones in some way into not interfering with my business. It turns out I was right. Maybe my future self went back in time using the world between worlds to around this time and blackmailed the ones into not trying to roadblock me. The ones that encountered my future self definitely encountered Subject 00 from my future self and determined that Subject 00 had to be destroyed at all costs. But they can't risk antagonizing me further, or to be more precise, my future self to time travel again. That was the daughter had more than likely sent Morai, to be a secret agent of hers, to destroy Subject 00. But that failed. I was so focused on staring at Morai, or to be more precise, the daughter, that don't realize that someone had entered the room behind me. What's going on here? Cal. I shall explain all, my goddess. The dash. Not you, Hawke. What is Morai doing here, and why do you have a gun aimed at her? I had thought I had heard the shattering of someone's heart, that had broken into a million pieces at having been ignored and dismissed so easily. Tough life, man. Tough life. But I was even more surprised that Jinx knew about Morai. I'll ask more after the meeting at the Bounty Guild about the job. Without taking my eyes off of Morai/the daughter, nor moving from where I was, I asked Jinx who was behind me. Adrien, you met her? I don't know if Jinx met the daughter, or Morai, or both, but the second was more likely. Jinx. She guided me through the netherworld of the Force and told me, your time has not ended yet, you will be needed far from now to fulfill another purpose. After that she vanished. It was weird that she spoke perfectly like a human's voice. But that was more than 3,500 years or so ago. Huh. Around 3,500 years ago? Isn't 3,630 when Vitiate died? Also, isn't it in 3,950 when Mitras Surik died, but she stayed as a Force ghost by Revan's side for 300 years while he was tortured. Then when Vitiate died, she and Revan passed on into the netherworld of the Force. This can't be a coincidence? I am definitely going to have a serious talk with her once all this is done. Adrien, then can you tell this owl that I'll kill her if she doesn't leave my ship? Right now. Kara, we're still in hyperspace. Kara spoke as she materialized a transparent blue digital body using the various sensors and projectors throughout all of the Icarus. Adrien, oh, that won't be a problem for Morai over here, isn't that right? Morai was able to enter the world between worlds without needing to use the main portal on Lothal which Ezra used, which I now have in my storage space. Morai. Hoot 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 hoot. For some reason I was able to understand what she was saying. She roughly said that she will leave but for me to not unbalance the Force in the galaxy with the power I have. She might be referring about the fact I have the world between worlds or is talking about my future self. Either way, I don't care. At least I won't have any creeping zombie head turning owls on my ship. On Earth, those videos creeped me the hell out. With that, the freaky pigeon vanished from my ship. I hate birds now. Kinda ironic since my name is Hawke. Remove the E at the end and you get Hawke. A bird. Does that mean I hate myself? Cal. My goddess. May I ask what name I must worship you by? I turned around to see Jinx staring a little wide-eyed at Cal. It was kinda funny since he was kneeling before her with his hands outstretched. Adrien, her name's Jinx Dash. Cal. I wasn't talking to you, heathen. I was a little surprised since he had leapt at me using Force Jump. It would take me a moment to set my weapon to stun, but I don't have a moment since he was now on top of me, trying to claw my helmet like a wild animal. Adrien. Fucking psychopath. This ain't Borderlands. So get off or I'll shot you, little brother, to Kingdom Come. Then we'll see how you worship your so-called goddess. I had my malfeasance in my hand still and was trying not to shoot this lunatic's head off. Because of that we ended up falling onto the ground as he still trued to claw my face through my helmet. Cal. How dare you, heretic. All who worship the false teaching shall be purified with divine punishment. Adrien. How the heck you even know the word heretic? Cal. Jack Stone told me, remember. Now stop punching my helmet. You broke my nose already. But that's not important. Giggling. We both ran our head to see Jinx covering her mouth as she giggled at our antics. Jinx. I've been called many things but a goddess isn't one of them. I take that as a compliment. Now then, I'm hungry. Kara. I agree. I feel like I have a dry throat from talking all the time. Cal. But you're an AI, you don't need to HHH. I knee-kicked Cal where his little brother was and pushed him off of me, as he yelled in pain. Hey! Knee-kicked Cal. The legendary, same, 3-letter words. A/N. This is an actual thing. It is so rare to get this when you write, the maximum you'll find is 2. But I did 3. Mario Yahoo sound. I felt proud of myself. Anyway, I got up and faced Jinx. Adrien, once I get back from the meeting at the guild, we are going to have a talk about Mitra Surik. You react everyone I mention her to you. And you just said things that go in hand with your reactions to her name. If you are not honest, then I'll be using the nightmare gas, like how we first met, on you, or I'll just use the animus to look into your memories. Know that we did vow to each other to trust one another for the betterment of the future. Or did you forget? Her shoulder sagged as she looked to the floor then back at me. Jinx, yes. I do remember. It was just personal, I'll tell you later on. There was a moment of silence as we waited for Cal to get up of the floor. Jinx had walked off, and Kara seemed to be walking alongside her, taking. Cal glared at me as if he was going to gut me like a fish. As I was walking away, he followed me while looking around everywhere in my Mytal laboratory. There were many back-to-tanks, spears, Gungnir, swords, the Ankh, Artifact of Eden, AC, Origins DLC, various liquids, statues, dead creatures, tools, blades, tongs, a cloak of Eden, a glowing blue tree branch, a large egg of sorts that looked like it had a hand with a tail inside if it, xenomorph facehugger egg, and many more strange things. But there was one he recognized inside if a back-to-tank, but this one was white with 2 blue lines across its body, one on each side. It was something he clearly remembered what it was, as this creature looked similar to a member of its species that had attacked him years ago. He placed his hand on his right chest as he remembered the claw marks that now scarred his chest. Cal. Is this Adrien, a Vornska? Yes. But it is a genetically modified one by me. It will be my pet in the future once it is born. Cal, you genetically modified it? Adrien. Yes. But you won't know many of what I used to create it. One of them is naturally from a Vornska itself, another is from an Indoraptor. But you definitely wouldn't have heard of that creature. There are many more, but those are what I'll share for now. Come on, let's get going. Oh yeah, you only just recovered. How about I treat you to a meal to get well? Cal. Why thank you my so gracious host. Adrien, now you're gonna pay for the food, because of your sarcasm. As Adrien walked away, Cal had a frozen expression upon his face, under his mask. He chased after Cal and grabbed onto his legs while begging. Cal. Please. Why do I have to pay? First I get tasered, then my shop gets stolen, then I lose all my credits, then I lose my, then I get injured. Then I get healed, then I follow a little owl friend, then I almost get a heart attack that you'll kill my owl friend, then owl friend abandons me, then you insult me before my goddess. Then you break my nose. Then you, sniff, hurt my little brother, and you want me to pay you for food. This guy just can't take the L, can he? Adrien. Fine. Now get off my legs, it's annoying and ridiculous. If it wasn't for the fact he had net Jack Stone, I would have killed him long ago. But he's too useful for now until I meet Jack Stone, then I'll strap him to a rocket and blast him into space. Soon after we all ate and talked some more, we finally landed at Ord Mantell City. The same place I had gone to last time. Cal Nerol was annoying as we ate. He constantly tried to flirt with Jinx, a 5,000-year-old Force Wilder, but I just bashed his face into the table when he still continued even after I threw trays full of food at him. He was able to dodge most of them due to his Force sensitivity. It was at a solid 9,500 midichlorian count. A good number to be at. I don't like wasting food due to so many beggaroo and orphans starving for just scrapes of food. All of it had gone to good use. I made my way to the guild HQ with Cal with me. He was overjoyed that I brought his ship with me and it didn't get left behind on Takodana. We had met up with Dagger and his team of 15. As we were talking, Kara had been able to hack into his and his team's network and learn a little about them. Dagger's real name is Jason Smoke. As we continued to gamble and play my favorite game, Liar's Dice. Eventually all the other hunters had came after a days of waiting. Kradosk had come in person. Must be a serious job. Kradosk, gather round everybody. Introductions can be made after as we contact the client. I expect all of you to be on your best behavior, or I'll gut you where you stand. We all stopped what we were doing and approached the center of the large private room we all were in. I get up from the sofa and made midway over. I saw Django and Cad Bane. I gave them a nod, indicating I'll talk to them afterwards. They too returned a nod of their own. I stared at the hollow projector in the room, and I raised my brow in surprise, as my eyes also widened. Greetings, bounty hunters. That voice and his hidden appearance under his black cloak were all too familiar. Sheet Palpatine, also known as Darth Sidious. Now this is interesting. What does he want taught would require the top 25 bounty hunters in the galaxy? Chapter 32, Chapter 27, Mortal vs. Goddess Round 1.5 Sheev Palpatine, also known as Darth Sidious, that old wrinkly guy who goes, zap, zap with his fingers and says, do it. Like he is gargling in something. Sidious, greetings bounty hunters. A digital projection of himself, cloaked in a black robe, appeared in the room with all 25 bounty hunters. Anyone that is a part of their team were instructed to leave the large room they were in, since they were not the contacted individual, but just an associate. Adrien, Kara, show me a Falcon drone on Coruscant and its recordings. Show me anything about any Munes meeting Palpatine or Sidious recently. I waited and watched the recordings as I listened to Sidious and Kradosk speak. Kradosk, greetings to you too, sir. I am honored you have chosen the Bounty Hunters Guild to carry out this job of yours. We will complete the task you have requested. But first, introductions are in order. Jango Fett, who needs no introductions, I presume? Cad Bane, known for his cruel, brutal and efficient execution of any job he is hired onto. Will take any job, for the right price. Zur Zero, the Phantom of Coruscant, Bane of the Jedi. Aura Singh, ruthless and she is deadly with a sniper. Adrien, bruh, have you seen my Whisper of the Worm? Or are you blind? Robinino, one of the best tech and explosive experts for the job. Adrien, I doubt that. While I'm here, that is. A group of various skilled individuals, all 8N1, led by Sugi, the captain of the Halo. The other members is Rumi Paramitha and Seri Pa. One that deserves to be set apart from the last group, while he is a part of it. The skilled master and vicious companion. I present to you, Embo, and his faithful Anuba, Marek. Cal Nerol, pilot, smuggler, fighter, whatever you need. Currently holds the record for the Kessel Run at 16 parsecs, and bypassed the Cerberus blockade on the Hydian Way hyperspace lane. Adrien. Who? This is the first time I have heard of this? I had created a secret blockade a while back to disrupt the Trade Federation transportation of goods, so that Cerberus could take advantage of the various products that hadn't been delivered to various worlds. I had also used this to deal with some pirates too. I'll check the records with Kara later. The beautiful V-Lin and Dancing Death, Lats Razi. Kato Parasiti, a skilled Chongling to serve in many fields of infiltration and or deception. To show I am giving you the best in the galaxy, I have presented my very own blood and flesh, Bosqua Sacradosk. Adrien, he really wanted to show off his son Bosk, didn't he? Look at the pride he has on his face right now. Twazi, her acrobatics once earned her praise from Chancellor Valorum himself. Dagger, an exceptional all-rounder in anything needed of him. Leader of a gang of 15 talented individuals that has had frequent run-ins with the Jedi. Six Tat, the Outlands Butacha. Daron, the Exterminator. Twin brothers and legendary duo, Anka and Bulduga. Moralo Eval, he will be one of the masterminds to design the plan for whatever it is you desire, sir. Jack Stone, the terror of Nar Shaddaa, Beast of Kessel, or more commonly known by his alias, the Good Hunter. Adrien, oh, so that was him. I didn't really care about those two incidents, since I had thought they were no big deal. Turns out I was wrong. Beast of Kessel. Definitely of him being in his Great One form. But Beast? Is his Great One form of the Great One Beast, in Bloodborne's cut content? Or is it a misinterpretation of his Moon Presence form? I'll find out when I talk to him. He really is cosplaying as the Bloody Crow of Canehurst. A good old droid to change things up. This here is Kronos, 327. Adrien, so Kronos hasn't been hired by Zyro yet. Rocco Hardeen, the marksman of Concord Dawn. Adrien, when he had walked in I too was a little surprised, wasn't he, Obi-Wan, supposed to meet Cad Bane for the first time in prison? Or did Cad Bane forget about him? Unlikely. This is strange though. Did I change things with my presence? Or was it Jack Stone or Ava that changed things? Next up has recently been pairing with Zur Zero. This here is Jinx. She may look scrawny but she can pack quite the punch. Or a good explosion. Had once launched a raid on Florum all be herself. Adrien, I had actually been surprised by Jinx when he told me about that. Oh yeah, she's here cause she said that she can join 48 on the fun. She had been really bored as of late, not being able to wreak havoc everywhere she goes. In a good way though. No innocents get caught up in her chaotic escapades. And our last hunter is Oriole Omega. Not very talkative, but deadly and skilled in, I'd say, every field. A master of all trades, is what I'd call her, and Zur Zero. A female in hooded clothing stood on the opposite from me. A/N image here. The only weapon she had with her was a blade at her right waist at the back. It looked to be a vibroblade, but it was slightly longer, almost as long as a standard sword or a lightsaber. She had another on her left waist and along the thigh. This second vibroblade was slightly smaller. She seems to be a dual-wielding close combat fighter. She didn't have anything other than those blades and some bombs in her waist pouches. I looked at her, as I had noticed her staring at me, she instantly averted her eyes. I felt a strange feeling when our eyes had met, but I couldn't quite tell what it was about. Kradosk had finished all the introductions for all 25 of us. Now it was time to know what Palps wanted. Kradosk, all of them will be able to carry out whatever it is you request of the Bounty Hunters Guild. Sidious, HM. Before we begin, you all will receive a contract stipulating the conditions you all must agree to, if you wish to proceed further. Once you have decided, contact me again. I expect an answer within the next 2 hours. With that said, the projection of Sidious vanished. Everyone in the room had then received a physical hard copy of the conditions. This was done for security reasons, since there has been an infamous hackers for the past few years on the Hollow.net that goes by the name Wendigo.aka, me and Kara. Contact. 1. Must concentrate to a memory wipe of all events related to the job. 2. Should Term 1 be rejected, then they are to be terminated immediately should they refuse a memory wipe of job-related events, upon completion of said job. 3. If Term 1 is refused, then the hunter must leave immediately. ABD is forbidden to disclose any information that has been discussed thus far. 4. The hunter may receive any individual reward of their choosing, priced at a value of less than 500,000 credits each. Team members that have not directly received this contract are not included. 5. An additional reward of 2,500,000 credits will be awarded to a certain individual hunter upon completion of the job of the client's wishes. 6. There were many more conditions, but those 5 were what I cared about, the rest were just the same old stuff. As for the memory wiping condition, that explains why Cad Bane doesn't know about Rocco Hardeen in the future, and why when Obi-Wan goes undercover as Rocco, it was their first meeting. As for myself, I can do one of 2 things. One was have Kara restore my memory with the Animus, but number 2 will definitely happen. My mind is protected thanks to one of my wishes, so I will be able to resist whatever they use on my mind. To a certain level. I walked over towards Jack Stone, as I was, and bold-headed Sakayan male stood in my way. A few in the room looked on at the stupidity of the man that would stand in front of me. As I was going to walk past him, he touched me. I looked down at the man since I was taller than him, in which he was 6 feet, 1.84 meters. The guy in front of me was 6 tat. I grunted to make it known he had my attention. Adrien, if you don't want to lose your left eye, get out of my way. Django, Cad Bane, Oriole, Aura Singh, Sugi, Rumi Paramitha, Saripa, Lats Razi, Twazi, Dagger/Jason Smoke, Cal Nerol, Jack Stone, Bosk and Moralo Eval all looked at the idiot who was about to be tortured by me. All of them knew of me in one way or another, or they just wanted to see some fighting, and possibly even some bloodshed. I know Bosk and Moralo Eval would love that. 6 tat, you stole my bounty a few days ago. I want the credits you took. This guy must have a death wish trying to intimidate me. Can't really blame him though. He's just an idiot trying to intimidate someone who is almost as tall as a Wookiee and is geared in armor that is resistant to pretty much everything in the galaxy, except for cortosis. I'll need to find cortosis soon. I could have made it with my creation ability. But it's gone now. As in, remember how I described how it worked? I had a mana pool of sorts to use for creating stiff. My mana will never regenerate, and once the mana pool drops to 0, then I never use it again. Yep. That's what happened. I expected that to happen, so I had used it all up after my fight with Ava to get a ton of other things I need for Subject 0, most of which materials. I needed way more credits, to help fund a lot more of my plans and to prepare for future expenses, since I no longer can use my creation ability to create credits for funds now. Thus, I had to go around doing more bounty jobs than normal and had to take some jobs from other hunters, like 6 tat here. I was able to bend some if the guild's rules without being bothered by them, since I was so well known. That, and Kradosk was wary of what I'd do, since he had gotten some info on me from Cad Bane and Django. His reaction to when he found out I had beaten the 2 of them on Ord Mantell many months ago was priceless. That was one of the reasons for my promotion to rank 3. Soon I'll be rank 1. Adrien, too bad. As I grabbed his wrist with my right hand and was about to snap it, my right hand wrist was also grabbed by someone else. I turned to look at who it was, as I heard 6 tat on the verge if screaming in pain as my grip got stronger. Adrien, what do you want? Everyone was now watching as they could see something good was about to happen. Jinx was also watching, about to interfere if needed. Jinx could sense that the person who gripped Adrian's wrist was very strong, but by how much, she can't say exactly. Jason looked on with interest beneath his helmet. Cal could feel the tension was rising and didn't know if he should interfere or not, since he himself saw how fast Adrien had fired his gun, back on Takedana and on his ship against Morai. Jack Stone knew Adrien was approaching him for some reason, but was stopped by 6 tat, which then led to all this. He found it quite interesting that Adrien was approaching him and Nit turning the other way. especially since the aura his body is emitting causes many negative emotions and effects on any individual who is near to him. Only the doll of the Hunter's Dream and Lord Artrius had been able to remain near him unaffected. /N Artrius is the MC of my Soulsborne system fanfic, which I will have him and Jack Stone travel through Bloodborne NG plus 50 when I get to the Bloodborne part of the FIC. This will be a prequel of Jack Stone before he entered Star Wars. I'm currently 1/3 of Dark Souls 1 volume done ATM. Order of volumes: 1. Dark Souls 1, 2. Bloodborne, 3. Witcher 3, 4. Dark Souls 3, 5. Elden Ring, 6. Original World. The person who had gripped Adrian's wrist was Oriole Omega. Someone who Adrien never knew of in the original Star Wars comics, movies, novels or TV show. Oriole, let him go. Her grip was quite strong. But it can't go through my armor. Not even Dirge could crush his armor with raw strength, only weaponry can bypass it. Adrien, why do you care? And why should I? I saw her give a displeased expression under her hood. She didn't answer me, but had sent a roundhouse kick to the back of my head. I didn't bother doing anything since it'd break upon contract. I stumbled forwards as my grip on Sixtat was released, and I felt I was flung upside down. I quickly recovered from my momentary state of disbelief as I processed what had happened. Her kick had actually broke my poise and I unconsciously released my hold on Sixtat. Oriole had then flipped my over with her grip on me. I quickly landed and sent a leg swipe down below in a 360 arc spin. She had reacted and hopped upwards and onto my back and bounced of it like a rabbit. I grabbed her leg as my vast amount of combat knowledge I had gone over in my mind made it so I was prepared for such a situation. She didn't expect me to know I was above her, and was slammed into the ground. She groaned a little as she could feel her spine on the verge of breaking. One of the many disadvantages to not wearing any armor, something she is currently regretting. I stood over her and locked her in place, as I began bedding her blue with my armored fists. I made sure not to kill her, as I was still intrigued by her. Clearly she wasn't great in CQC, but she was definitely knowledgeable about it and had trained a lot in CQC. It was just her lack of real CQC experience. Maybe she had more experience with her blades and blasters than her actual hand-to-hand CQC capabilities. Something strange was going on with my HUD. It showed that her vitals were completely fine. I attributed this to just a malfunction with my HUD systems to check later. What Adrien didn't know was that his HUD had shown him the truth. Oriole's vitals were perfectly fine. She makes me bleeding all over her face, her nose broken, skin cut and a swollen eye. But she was fine, she was not breathing heavily, nor did she feel any agonizing pain from having been beaten to the point of near death. Adrien continued over to Jack Stone when he had gotten off Oriole and unrestrained her. Adrien had asked Jack Stone if they can talk in private. Adrien would later meet with the others and wait until the 2 hours are up until Sidious contacted them again to inform them of the job's details. Meanwhile, Oriole had gotten up from the floor, with her still broken and bloodied face, as if nothing had happened. She made her way to private room at the guild where she can recover from her injuries. Oriole, damn that hurt. This is going to be one annoying mission. The mission she is referring to was knit their job from the unknown client, Sidious. But one which she was given by the Jedi Council a days ago, when news about the Mandalorian merc, Zero, was made public. She was smiling that had been beaten by him. She had been beaten before by her instructors and various teachers, but never to this extent. She had now beaten him once, and he had now beaten her once. The scores between the two were now as follows. Mandalorian merc, Zero, wins 1, loses 1. Oriole Omega / Jedi Padawan Ava Kendra, wins 1, loses 1. A few days ago, a few hours prior to Zero's raid on the Jedi Temple being released on the Holo.net. Location: Senate Building, Senator Sheev Palpatine's office. Ava's POV. I had just been talking with the Jedi Council about the Mandalorian Zero. If the Jedi Order in its entirety found out about what he had done, then the Jedi Order would fall apart just like that. The Council is trying all that they can to keep what he had done confidential, but they had told me. They said they wanted me to be briefed on what he had done, so I would now to not kill him, but capture him at all costs. Before, the Jedi only wanted to talk to him about what had happened 7 months ago on Ord Mantell. But now he has to be captured at all costs and interrogated to extract the location of all the various holocrons, Sith and Jedi artifacts he had stolen. I wanted to meet with him before as I thought we could have a nice talk. I was overjoyed and hyper when I first saw him in the library. I was going to meet him, the man from my dreams. But I had fought him. I understand that those circumstances weren't great, but I really wanted to start over once I had captured him. Ever since the fight we had, the dreams I would have of him had only gotten more severe and frequent. I would always have a constant pain in my head whenever I thought of him. I had thought this could be a sign or related to my dreams or a possible force vision that could answer my many questions. But now, after learning what he did, I'm not happy, not one bit. I'll have to capture him at all costs. The danger those artifacts pose for the galaxy are too great. It could resurrect the Sith and plunge the galaxy into another age of war after a millennium of peace. Palpatine, is something bothering you, my girl? I shook my head as I heard the concern of Senator Palpatine's words. Ava. No, Senator. Thank you for asking. I was just deep in thought about something. Senator Palpatine wasn't a such bad guy as the Jedi make him out to be. He was a great guy. He would always help me in things that the Jedi can't do to the rules they follow. But the Senator is there for me. He had always been curious about me from a young age. Maybe since I was a prodigy in everything, or because I showed a great deal of skull that is equal or greater than Master Yoda and Master Windu. He is always curious about me, and would ask me a lot of personal questions, whole sharing his own. He had even revealed that his family was murdered by pirates a long time ago. And I too shared my longingness to have a family. But I didn't know why that was. I felt as though something was missing inside me. I had no parents, no siblings. But some part of me longs to love and be loved. By someone? It was strange. I had only gotten the same feeling when I was near Zero. How can I love a person like him? Mandalorians and Jedi have been enemies for thousands of years. Not only that, but the crimes he had committed and the danger he possesses to the galaxy for as long as he still has those artifacts with him. I have to find Palpatine, ****, I can see you are zoning out again. Maybe if you talk about it, someone can help you with your metal dilemma, perhaps Master Yoda? He is very old and extremely wise, no? Ava, thank you, Senator, but this problem is something they can't help me with. I am trying to look for someone, maybe I can get my answers from them. Palpatine, you mean the Mandalorian mercenary that took me hostage and broke into the Jedi Temple recently? Ava, how do you dash? Palpatine, haha, it is obvious, is it not? Naturally you would want to find him. He is a very dangerous individual if he did all that. I too want to find him. Who knows when he could strike next? Perhaps take all the senators, and village, or a city, or a mother and daughter hostage the next time. My blood went cold as my mind went blank as I heard his words. If that happens, then I won't hesitate to end him and save the lives of those innocents. Ava. Yes, I do want to find him, Senator. Even the Jedi are looking for him, but haven't come up with anything yet other than the communicator he had left in your pocket. Palpatine. I see. Well then, my Ava, I believe I had recently found a lead on him. Ava. Really? I blushed and tried hiding my face as I realized I had just shouted at the Senator. I true do apologize, but he cut me off mid-sentence. Palpatine, haha, I can see your enthusiasm and doubt from your rather loud words just now. I don't have anything concrete, and I don't give this information to the Jedi Council yet. But I believe he and many other notorious and dangerous bounty hunters will soon be heading to a rendezvous point. Ava. Then it's hopeless. No offense, Senator, but even if you tell me all that, there is no way to find out where they are heading to. The Senator reached onto his desk and took out a communication device I haven't seen, but I do know it by its descriptions I previously read about. Palpatine, this is a communicator which the Bounty Hunters Guild uses for all of their members to contact one another and the guild. A few years ago, I had a bounty hunter come after my life, but that had failed. This is what I had found, when my god took care of him. Maybe you can use your exquisite engineering and intellectual to rewire this device and find their meeting place. Ava. Thank you, Senator. I will ensure I won't let you down. Adrien, yeah, although, I was like level 12 when I fought Rom, so it was kinda hard. Especially when he just crash on you like a bowling ball, and sends casual motors at you all the damn time when 100 freaking spiders try to stab you to death or head but you into oblivion. Jack. Ha. I feel your pain. Interesting thing, he summoned literal meteors. Like I mean real ones. Adrien. I pity you. Jack. Oh. It gets better. You know ebriators. Adrien. Oh god. You can't serious. Jack. Yeah, she just summoned the rays of 100 stars with her call beyond. You know. The usual stuff. Adrien. You had to have died. And how the hell did you even manage to beat them? I understand Cleric Beast can be skipped. Father Gascoigne and Vicar Amelia must have been tough though. Jack. They were, but afterwards it was even harder. The Yharnam Shadows killed me a few times. I took their loot though. Getting munched on by that snake was annoying, but getting used to dying wasn't eventually. Rom was hard as Fusake. After that I met Yharnam. The Blood Moon didn't appear as it did in-game once Rom was killed. Instead I talked with Yharnam for a minute, more like she was listening and nodding. I made a deal with her that in exchange for saving her child Murgo from the wet nurse, I wanted her blood. She get really pissed at me since she used that knife she has and slit my throat before even blinked. That was terrifying, man. Adrien. Wait. You have Yharnam's blood. Royal blood. Jack. Not exactly, Turns out she is only slightly related to Annalise, the vile blood queen. And let me tell you, she was not someone to mess with. Adrien. How so? Jack. You know Maria? Adrien. Who doesn't? Jack. Maria has one drop of Annalise's blood. When that happened, Maria gained complete control of her current abilities in blood manipulation. Turns out that Annalise and Yharnam are twin children of a certain Great One. I think it died in the Chalice dungeon since Yharnam always remained there. Adrien. Hold the fuck up. This isn't Bloodborne lore. All this doesn't make sense. Yharnam and Annalise can't be twin children, since if they were then Yharnam would also be a Vilblood. But if the player accepts the blood transfusion with Annalise to become and join the Vilblood Covenant, then she'd say that the player and herself are the very last two Vilbloods on the earth. But wouldn't that mean that Yharnam would be the third if what you say is true? I understand that Maria is also a member of Vilblood royalty, but she was dead, that's why she was inside of the Hunter's Nightmare and wasn't on Earth where the game takes place in. Jack, you're correct and not at the same time. Turns out that Bloodborne is linked to our past life Earthworld. Why do you think Bloodborne is a video game? It is just a window, or a video recording of the world of Bloodborne and its events made into an interactive video game. In Outlook Past Life, we didn't have any insight, obviously. And so what we played, and the story, and lore we know back on Earth about Bloodborne is just what we were able to perceive with zero insight. But me, since I entered that world and got the childhood's beginning ending, where I killed the moon presence, Flora. I became sick Great One and broke the 99 insight limit. When I regained my sanity after a few hundred years, everything was made clear. I learned and could see the true lore of Bloodborne. And what I said was the truth no one other than the Great Ones can perceive and understand. Also, Murgo is the incarnation of formless Odian having been given physical form. That's why the wet nurse took Murgo, to protect the incarnation of formless Odian and possess it when it comes of age. Adrien, this is too much. I can't tail it in. This is insane. Everything I knew was a lie. Wait, what about the Demon Souls Knights in the Chalice dungeon? Jack, funny thing about that. You know the Archtrees of Ash Lake in Dark Souls 1? Adrien, you mean that random-ass theory of the Archtrees of the Everlasting Archragons are actually connected to other worlds is true? Jack, yep. Also you know that one Archtree in Ash Lake that was broken? That is connected to Demon Souls. But a few knights wandered through it before it broke and then entered the hollow of another Archtree and ended up in Bloodborne. I only figured it out when I had help from another reincarnated guy called Artreus. I told him all this, and he helped me to track down the last of the Great Ones. I killed them all and then was able to use a single drop of every Great One, including formless Odian when she possessed Murgo, and was able to exit the Bloodborne universe. I tried looking for a way back to Earth and ended up going through the wrong Archtree and ended up here on Star Wars on Garoth Prime. I was stuck there for a while, but then I was able to use my power as a Great One and flew through space to Inhabitants' World. I had forgotten which one, since I lost some memories when I became a Great One after killing Flora. I eventually met up with that guy over there. Asterisk points to an unconscious Cal Nerol, snoring loudly asterisk, and had him take me to Moraband. I looked for a Sith holocron and found it. I learned what I could about the Force and discovered that as a Great One, I adapted to this universe and my body cells were replaced with the appropriate amount of midichlorians, allowing me to use the Force. It helps somewhat to control the aura I have around me all the time that causes others to go insane. Adrien, this is way too much to take in. Wait. Are you saying I can go back to Earth if I find a way to go through an Archtree and enter Ash Lake, then find the correct Archtree to get to Earth? I was ecstatic at the news. That meant I can go back, if possible, I can alter the point in time I can exit the Archtree and thus, I'll be able to reenter my Earth at the very same point in time I had died. I can be with Gwen. I can tell her I'm sorry and make things right. And he won't be going back to past life Earth. Making it clear. Jack, yeah, just make sure you don't leave me behind. I plan to go back too. Adrien, why? Got family there. Jack, a wife. She was pregnant. Adrien, I'm sorry man. Until you gain control of that Lovecraftian aura you have, you shouldn't go back just yet. For their safety. Jack, yeah, you're right. Adrien, anyway, why you cosplaying as the Bloody Crow of Canehurst? Jack, the vile blood armor helps with controlling the aura I have and allows me to control the pale blood I have inside me far better than without it. It's what Annalise and Yharnam in one of the NG Plus playthroughs told me to do. Adrien, I want to ask one more thing. Do you have the Yharnam stone and the royal flesh of Annalise with you? I couldn't see it, but I can tell that under his helmet, he had the largest grin to ever exist plastered on his face. Jack, after almost 400 years being trapped inside Bloodborne and going through 50 playthroughs of it, what do you think I have with me? Adrien, no fucking way. You have dash. Jack, you bet your ass. I have the corpses of dozens of Great Ones, all in perfect condition. Hey, Wait. Get the fuck off me. Adrien, give me the loot. Give it all. And that's how you drive a Soulsborne game fanatic into a ravenous greedy psychopath. Never reveal what you have hidden in your inventory, folks. You never know when you need to do a ring and weapon swap after a parry. Smiley face. A/N. As you can tell, Bloodborne lore has been altered in this FIC. This is introduction of Jack Stone created by Slyclaw_13. After a long time of arguing and of Adrien trying to steal all of Jack Stone's loot from his own unaccessible inventory space. They had gotten a communication saying that Sidious was contacting them again, and the 2 hours had passed. Cal and Jason were woken up and they all went to the main room once more. Adrien was surprised that Oriole Omega was perfectly healed from all the injuries she sustained from his brutal beating just earlier. He thought it might be due to the Medigel again since Ava gave that reason too. Medigel can heal anything taught is non-lethal near instantly, so to him it wasn't a surprise. He was wrong though, since Oriole, who was Ava Kendra in disguise, had regenerated from her injuries just as she did in their fight back at the Jedi Temple before. He ignored her constant and fixated gaze upon him, and focused on Sidious as he reappeared as a digital projection. Sidious, it seems all of you have accepted the contract. Good. I also heard you all were getting well acquainted with one another. That's debatable. Sixtat was glaring daggers at me that any second now and he'd be shooting lasers from his eyes like a certain hero in a skin-tight suit with a cape. Palpatine. Haha. Don't worry my girl. I trust you even with my life. When you need to, you should head over to this place. Hands small card. Here you will be able to change your appearance and go undercover as an bounty hunter. I will see what she can do about getting your reputation up, so that you can infiltrate among their ranks. Ava. Thank you for all the help, Senator. I will be accomplish this mission you have entrusted me with. I bowed and left the Senator's room. I had first hacked into the communicator in no time. It seems there hasn't been any communication sent from the guild in recent days enmus, only individually. I made my way to the place the Senator had said, and the process of changing my face and appearance was painful to say the least. Sigh. I'm going to have to do it to return to my old appearance. I didn't need a voice modulator since I can just tone my voice slightly to change it. Must be a perk of whatever race I am. I know I can't be a normal human, since my DNA is nowhere like them. But I do have an appearance that is identical to a human's. That, and my blood glows. Yeah. That isn't normal. I had contacted Master Yoda to inform them I needed to meditate on uninhabited world to clear my thoughts. He wasn't opposed to it and encouraged it as he knew I would be fine. After the Jedi publicly announced Zero and what he had done onto the Hollow.net. It wasn't long after that the device I had started bleeping. I answered it and turns out the top 25 bounty hunters will be heading toward Mantel. Zero will definitely be among them. And the name I chose? Oriole Omega. Shortly after Ava Kendra had left. Palpatine/Darth Sidious POV. The girl Ava Kendra was powerful in the Force. I can feel it, so too can Master. I had tried to find out how powerful by trying to get a midichlorian reading on her. But I couldn't just ask her to give me her blood, nor could I, accidentally, cut her to find out, or else she will know that was my intention from the start. The Jedi also denied me many times to get the number of how much midichlorians she has. But I had been able to get it. 17,000. I don't believe it for a second. Yoda knows it. My master knows it too. She has to be the chosen one. My master and I had thought it was a child. My master had tried to conceive with the dark side of the Force. But the Force did not like it and had created the child somewhere else, to an unintended woman. We tried searching for the child and the mother but were unable to. One thing was for certain, it would one day appear on Tatooine. And so we waited and searched, but were never able to find it. Play guys. Have we been undone, have you undone us? My master would ramble those words over and over again. Ever since that day the Force had decided to rebel against us and create a child that would one day cause the annihilation of the Sith and the Jedi. But it turns out we were wrong. It had to be this girl Ava Kendra. She isn't as convinced by words as I had thought. But I am in no rush. I'll slowly destroy her confidence in the Jedi and make her mine. My master thought he could replace me with her, but I will make her my apprentice instead. I contacted Kradosk, the leader of the Bounty Hunters Guild, and gave him a list of names to contact for a job. This was something I wanted done for a while now, but I needed cannon fodder to deal with it in my stead. I made sure to give numerous names to ensure that Kradosk would overlook Ava and wouldn't investigate as to why I specifically called her Hour by name. Cad Bane, Jango Fett, Jack Stone, Dagger, Oriole Omega, Zero, Embo, Daron, Rocco Hardin, Moralo Eval. These were the names I gave to ensure that Ava can infiltrate their ranks without alerting much suspicion. I had also had some highly encrypted false documents of Oriole Omega, the name Ava said she had chosen, created to help her reputation among the others be solidified. When she returns, I will torture Zero alive for dare stealing from me. All my Sith artifacts had been stolen. all except for a few of the larger ones, such as the giant Sith holocron of Malacca. Now all I had to do was wait until all the bounty hunters met at the rendezvous point on Ord Mantell. Chapter 33, Chapter 28. Ulthan, the Hidden One, singing. All. Sinister sinister old Sidious. Jason, he's a smelly grumpy git. Cal, he's a right big bad old wolf. Adrien, he's a horny bold old man. Jack, but wait, he's got hair? Adrien, since when my good old chap? Jack, since. All. He became sinister sinister old Sidious. Cal, wah. Jason, why cry my good young friend? Cal, I miss Dada. Jason, but why? Adrien, he was taken from his great big home. Jack, who you mean my one and only pal? Adrien, the big old meanie did. Jack, you mean? All. Sinister sinister old Sidious. Adrien, he'll take you from your home. Jack, if you wave your hands in the air. Jason, things will go flying. Cal, yay, I'm a Jedi. Jason, great, now he'll steal some babies. Cal, aren't they supposed to be the good guys? Adrien, they are, if you're into small green men. Jack, that's a little gross. Jason, hey, don't be rude. Jack, together sing we must now. Adrien, you're just another hater. Like. All. Sinister sinister old Sidious. Cal, he's probably sneezing now. Jason, and, Cal, never mind. Adrien, okay. Jack, let's end this song. Adrien, you mean like how you did the doll? Jack, now that's just mean. Adrien, not as mean as. All. Sinister sinister old Sidious. Jason, he'll take your babies tonight. Cal, if they say. Jack, I am one with the vase, and the vase is with me. Adrien, isn't that what Groga did? Jack, how do you know of such things? Adrien, I am above you in all things, that's why. Jack, but you're still small? Adrien, how so? Jack, you're only second place. Adrien, who is first then? Enlighten me, oh great big moon. Jack, his pride is as big as the sun. Adrien, I'm still not following this. Jack, then I know you'll get this, he's someone we all know. Adrien, oh I know, but he'll fall short in the long run. Jason, what place did he come in? Adrien, 66. Jack, well done, you must be talking about. Adrien, yes my good old drinking buddy. Adrien plus Jack. He's. All. Sinister Sinsider old Sidious. Cal, hey. I sang the least. Adrien, don't worry, we'll throw a feast. Jason, you spoil him too much. Jack, don't worry, I'm gonna boil him. Cal, hey. Jason, can you pass the beans? Adrien, what next, you want some golden eggs? Jack, come on now, don't be so mean. Jason, hey, let me heal my pain. Adrien, hey, get off me. Go lean on him instead. Cal, oi, why am I getting picked on? Jason, because you always get tricked on. Adrien, damn. Jack, that's gotta hurt. Adrien, just make sure to not get burnt. Jack, from what exactly? Adrien, absolutely nothing. Cal, precisely. Jason, why was that so random? Jack, he wanted it to rhyme in tandem. Adrien, shall we now? Cal, indeed my sagely friend. Jason, yes my hunting buddy. Jack, then up and away we go. All two. Adrien, stab a wrinkly man. Jason, to blow that mustache off. Cal, but he doesn't even have one. Jack, he will when I make him into an ape. Adrien, just make sure to not make him into a babe. Jason, but that's impossible. Jack, in Dark Souls 2, it's fully possible. Adrien, ho ho, I'll get the coffin. Cal, make sure to grab a muffin. All for a. All. Sinister old Sidious. All. Ha 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 ha. A loud boisterous laughter echoed throughout the soundproof confines of the room. Jack, it had been too long since I got to talk with someone like me. Adrien, I get the feeling. Trust me. But first. I turned my head to look at Cal and Dagger, Jason Smoke, and the two of them nodded without protest. I approached behind them and used the skeleton key to plunge right into the skulls from the back of the head. They still had their helmets on, but Tot didn't hinder the skeleton key as it phased through it like it wasn't even there. I turned the skeleton key in one of them then moved on to do the same with the next. Once I did what I wanted to do, I turned to Jack Stone and sat on the couch opposite him. A long low rectangular table was in between us in the center of the private room we were occupying. Jack, what did you don't to them exactly? Adrien, they wanted to join us, they agreed that I could use this on them when I convinced them it was harmless. I didn't tell them what it did though. I used it to seal their memories of certain parts. Don't want them to go around saying Sidious everywhere, do I? Jack. Pretty smart. Adrien. Anyway, back to where we were at before they interrupted us. How the hell did you end up here is Star Wars. Better yet, how and why did you get sent to the Bloodborne universe? That place is suicide to go to, unless I wished for some godly powers to fight the Great Ones. Jack. Ha, you'd be surprised. They weren't all too hard to be fully honest with you. The first one I killed was Rom. You know how that went. Sidious, your mission is to go to the world of Korriban, Moraband, and recover a certain object from a temple there. I will contact you again with a description of the object once you reach outside the temple. There will be some hostile encounters while you are there. All your skills will be needed to accomplish the task I have given you. Your reward will be given to you upon the delivery of the object at an to be designated location. That is all for now. Further details has already been given to your guild master. Do not disappoint me, otherwise the consequences will be severe. A/N Korriban and Moraband are just two different names of the same planet. With that, Sidious cancelled the connection before Kradosk could say anything. Now this is interesting. What does he want from an old shitty Sith temple on Moraband? Sure, there are a lot of good things to loot, but really? 25 hunters for this? I wonder why. And everyone here are people I know survives up to the Clone Wars, except Cal Nerol, Dagger and Oriole Omega. I wonder how things will go. I originally wanted to talk to Cad Bane and Django, but the revelation that Jack Stone dropped on me about Bloodborne had made me change my mind. I'll talk to Jinx about that secret of hers about her relation to Mitra Surik. I'll talk to Bane and Django when we land on Moraband. Until then, I will talk with Jack a little bit more. But first, all of us were currently discussing about the plan and what we would do. We all had maps on Moraband and any information of it before us. I have as much information about Sith temples and Moraband that I knew of. Jack also gave intel on what he knew about Moraband when he was there. After a long meeting with everybody, I made my way back to the Icarus. When I did, I saw someone there. Oriole Omega. What's she doing here? Trying to get even with me for beating her blue earlier. Sigh. She was staring at the Icarus and was pacing from here to there, examining it. She noticed me quite the distance away. She turned to face me, but didn't say anything yet. I spoke first, wanting to get rid of her as soon as possible. Adrien, what do you want? Revenge for beating you earlier. Oriole. No, I don't want revenge. I was curious about it and just examining the ship. Adrien, well by then. I strode past her as Kara opened the ramp for me. Oriole, wait. I turned around as I saw her outstretched hand. Adrien, what is it? I was getting irritated as she just stood there doing absolutely nothing. It was like she was frozen still. I found it strange that her facial feature didn't once move even after a whole minute of standing there with her hand outstretched. This was a little weird. I approached her and waved my hand in front of her face. She didn't react at all. I decided to flick her on the forehead, but nothing happened. She didn't move at all. She was the definition of being frozen like a statue. I tried one last thing. I gathered quite a great deal of strength in my fist, and punched her dead center in her stomach. Eh? What the hell? She didn't even flinch? She has to have been paralyzed or something. But my spider sense didn't activate, so there wasn't any danger nearby. Something must have happened to her. I decided to carry her aboard my ship. I didn't know why, but I had an urge, of some sort, to do this much for her. I once a heartless guy. In fact, I would go around to various worlds and places from time to time and help people for the sake of it. And I so feel a little guilty at having attacked her the way I did. Even though she is fine now, I must have hurt her pretty bad. I at least do this much and figure out what is wrong with her. I'll put her in the Animus and find out what's wrong with her mind. Maybe poke around in her memories a little of how she was strong enough to break my poise and knock me off balance. Mortis. Location. The Sun Citadel, top level. Day of Ava Kendra's birth. 32 minutes until Ava is born. Ulthan, the Hidden One's POV. A/N image here of Ulthan, the Hidden One. This is my character I made. Even if you ask, I'll never answer the majority of your questions on Ulthan. P.S. Ulthan is hands down the most important character in this entire story. I suggest you remember him. Ulthan, image 1 here. Ulthan, image 2 here. Son. Is that why you want to go to her?
Ultaan, liiklan solakroniflindrozan.
Yes, once it is done I will return. Your sister will do the rest. Son, I do not agree with this. Do understand what could happen if anything goes astray from your plans, even in the slightest. And you'd need to wait more than 30,000 years afterwards. Anything can go wrong during that time. Ulthan, Balam non draka Zakili Bramjo. Know your place. I know more than anyone of what would happen if I fail. All you care about is your freedom from this place. I wonder what'll happen if your father found out about you conspiring behind his back with me. Within an instant, vast amounts of red lighting had been fired from the fingertips of the sun at Ulthan. The sounds of numerous thunderstorms can be heard in the background as the Aeon intensified his red force lighting upon Ulthan. Ulthan had simply raised his left hand and a sphere of black and white wisp-like energy was formed. The force lighting was absorbed by the said sphere. Ulthan flicked his left hand forwards, and released a devastating force wave at the sun. The lighting that was being absorbed had combined with the force wave and was redirected towards the sun. The sun was flung backwards onto the metallic walls of the pitch-black room. The sun got to his feet as he roared in rage and his body shifted and changed into a gigantic and large bat-like monstrosity. The Fanged God. And so the two began the battle between gods. For Ulthan was also a member of the celestial race that remained. But his existence was a secret to all. Only the sun and one other individual was currently aware of his existence. 8 minutes 23 seconds until Ava's birth. Ulthan, Dram Jo Nok Jan Dylan. /n every second you waste here, is time wasted. We don't have long left before she is born. Decide. I am stringer than you Jan, weakling. Do not test my patience, for I no longer have any to waste with you. It took a few dozen moments for the sun to come to a decision. 7 minutes 58 seconds until Ava's birth. He reverted back to his humanoid appearance and stood straight. Son, very well. You will need one of my servants to take you to the portal. Whistles. Wolf howling. As soon as the howls of the wolves had ended, a large white wolf, as tall as Ulthan and the sun had appeared, seemingly out of thin air. The sun booked his head towards the white wolf and left the room. Before he did, he took one last gaze at Ulthan before leaving. Ulthan, however, had followed the white loath wolf through a portal that was created out of thin air. He passed through a gateway that would be invisible to any that were not as strongly connected to the Force as the Celestials naturally were. He vanished from sight and entered a place in the endless darkness of the void, the world between worlds. Endless bridges and doorways in various triangular and circular shapes could be seen, spanning all of eternity. The one he had exited was a special portal. It was in the shape of a diamond and square overlapping each other. Howl. Multiple overlapping howling. Crack. Glass-shattering sounds. Ulthan grew a pair of wings from his once plain and bare back. They were large. The length of one wing was 3.9 meters and the total wingspan was 7.8 meters. His own height was 2.6 meters. /n son, 2.2 meters. Fang God, 4.79 meters. Father, 2.48 meters. Daughter, 2.13. Winged Goddess, 2.58. All at standing height. Human at 1.8 meters average. He flew within the world between worlds, as if it was something he had done countless times before, and followed the white loath wolf as it ran on all fours to a similar portal they had came through. Soon he stepped on a circular platform before the portal. The platform lit up with a red glow, and the vertical doorway also lit up. Soon an image of his destination had shown itself. The original homeworld of the Ones. The very same world where the pool of knowledge and font of power lied, along with two of his targets, Abeloth, beloved Queen of the Stars, and the soon-to-be-born Ava Kendra, 49 seconds before Ava's birth. Original homeworld of the Ones within the Maw. Location, Abeloth's cave, beside side of a volcano. Abeloth POV. Abeloth. Ah. Huff huff huff. Pant pant pant. I breathed in and outwards heavily as I felt such excruciating pain. 32 seconds. When I had learned that I was pregnant, I was filled with an unexplainable emotion. 28 seconds. Actually, I did know what the emotion was. But I had not felt it in a long time. 26 seconds. For so long, for nearly 100,000 years, 100 eons, I had been alone here. The place I and my once, but now traitorous, family had called home. 20 seconds. I was filled with joy. Something I thought I had lost. I was happy. 17 seconds. Abeloth. Aha. I no longer cared about anything else. I no longer care about bringing chaos and destruction to the galaxy. 15 seconds. All I wanted was to be with my child. 13 seconds. Will it be a boy? 12 seconds. Or will it be a girl? 11 seconds. It doesn't matter. I would love them with all my heart. Even if they have my power or not. I would be with them always. I will be beside them and never let them go. 10 seconds. I was once a mother to my once so-called son and daughter. 9 seconds. Perhaps I can be a mother again. But this time I have knowledge. The pool of knowledge granted my with knowledge of the past, present and future. Of all things I desire or wish to know. All I need do is bathe in it and I will be given insight. 8 seconds. I was scared. 7 seconds. What if they hate me, abandon me, are afraid of me? I had changed my appearance to look like my once human self. 6 seconds. It was then I realized something. I was a monster, an abomination. Was this why my family left me? 5. Did I deserve this? Perhaps I did. Maybe the fault of why I was left here was of my own doing. The father had said that the pool of knowledge and font of power were forbidden. Was this why? 4. They did care about me. All this time. It was my fault. I had been selfish. I should have had more faith in them. That after I died that they wouldn't fight. That with my death, they would never harm each other again. 3. I had become a monster of my own actions. And now I may suffer the consequences of my decisions. My child may hate me for what I am, what I look like. I don't nat that. Right. After so long of being alone, I don't know if my heart can bear it if my child runs away from me when they realize what I am. 2. They must have my power inside them. Or they may be stronger. My child. My star's power is immense. During these 9 months I had tried my best to suppress the outbursts of power I and my star would unleash upon the surroundings and the planet. The planet had shaken, the mountains had cracked, storms were made and thunder would strike all across the planet, the ocean would be upturned as tsunamis would crash against the shores, volcanoes would erupt. Despite my attempts to reduce the bursts of force energy my star would unleash, it was too much for me to contain. I had tried to contain it so that the father, son and daughter wouldn't learn of my star's birth. While I now realize it had been my fault for what happened, I still didn't nat to be left alone. Not anymore. I needed to be loved again. I want my family back. I want to apologize to them for what I done, and if what I had become can be reversed and undone. I wanted to have the memories back, of the happy times long ago. 1. My time has run out. I will know if they know or not. If they do, then they would come and try to take my star from me. I will protect my star. No matter what, no one will take them. I don't nat them to be without their mother, nor I without them. 0. Abeloth, H. I let out a scream filled with force energy. I had unleashed the loudest and strongest force stream in the entire history of the galaxy. A scream that could destroy entire solar systems on an instant. But I had still been able to restrain it, as to prevent my family from learning of us. Soon, when I recovered from my dazed state, quite rapidly thanks to my power and body's biology, I looked down to where my star is. I was frantic. I looked everywhere. I was frightened. I was angry. Did they take my star? I looked everywhere but couldn't find my star. But, in the horizon on a grassy hill, I saw the outline of a winged figure. I know if every living being on this planet, and not once did I ever sense a being like this one. No one this powerful can hide from my senses. But the burning flames of wrath inside of me had gone dead cold as the void as I saw the figure mire clearly. They were holding my star, a she. I had a daughter. My face had a frozen expression of pure terror. I don't know what to do but to keep staring at them. I reached my hand outwards with my mouth agape. The figure saw my face and sighed. They turned to leave. Abeloth. Wait. That was all I could do. I couldn't risk screaming in anger in case I had hurt my darling daughter. The figure turned around to look at me. He seemed to know that I won't let them get away so easily, since the moment they take another step away from me is when I will tear them apart and destroy them so that not even the netherworld of the Force will collect their soul and spirit. The figure used their free right hand to slash at the empty air. They had then thrown my child into that same spot. My star had vanished from all sight and I had lost all sense of reason. I had left. Abeloth, H. I'll kill you. I'll make you suffer. Nick Abeloth Dran Shun Zykel. Come Abeloth, beloved queen of the stars. You can take your child from me. If you can best me, I will return her. The figure had spoken in a language that had felt only familiar, but had then spoken in the common tongue, albeit with slight difficulty. I pressed to the ground and shot out with all the strength, power and speed I can muster and swung my sharp talented fingers down upon them. He had blocked my attack, by meeting it hard on with nothing but a misty black and white cloud of vapor that may have taken the shape of a long blade, though it was difficult to tell. Ulthan. Face me Abeloth. Face Ulthan, the creator of the Force itself, the unbound God, the hidden one. Chapter 34. Bonus Chapter 2. A fresh start and a new name. Gwen. Amar. Gwen. I stopped cold in what I was about to do, the blade just resting against my bare chest, as I starred to Gwen to my side. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't take my life while she was watching, but I wanted to do it. I wanted it all to end. What point is there to living at this point? Either I die now without any pain, or I starve on the streets and whittle away day by day trying to cling to my once dear life. Gwen, what are you doing? Why do you have a knife with you? Amar, what does it look like to you? I barely had the strength to talk back to her as I myself don't know if I should plunge this ball into my heart right now or not. Maybe it is better if she is here. That way when I die, someone I know will be here to call the cops to take my body away and keep my company as I lay dying in pain. It's better than having my body decompose until it's discovered. Gwen, I know what that is. Why do you have it? What a dash. Amar, I'm going to kill myself. What else will I do with it?
Gwen, Wolfge.
Amar, why do you even care? You are just a friend. That's it. You will be like everyone else and just say the same old thing that life still has value to it. That I should go on living, for what? To suffer? To live a life of regret and failure? I am one of those people who failed. And now karma has caught up with me. I stopped my rantings when I saw some drops of water coming down Gwen's face. Sob. Gwen, I don't want to see you go. Sob. To leave me. Sob. Gwen dropped to her knees and covered her face with her hands as she silently sobbed in soundless alley we were in. I didn't know what to do at this point. I didn't expect this kind of response from her. I pondered over her words as she continued crying silently, but her sobs were as loud as the sound of banging drums right next beside my ears. I approached her and had lowered the knife. It was still in my hand. Even if I wasn't going to commit suicide as of this moment, it was still a dangerous place to be in. Amar, what do you mean by leave you? I held Gwen in a hug in an attempt to comfort her. I always sympathized with others since I myself understand what it feels to be like this. Gwen, I was always picked on by everyone. Sob. Because I was born with a deformity on my face. Sob. My family had gotten plastic surgery done for me and my situation improved when I moved schools. But I didn't know how to fit in with anyone, because I had kept my distance. I or others stayed away from me in the past, so I ended up being antisocial. Everyone stayed away from, as I would randomly have panic attacks from time to time in classes. You must have heard of it. I did indeed. Everyone had called her possessed or some sort of freak in school. I was also quite antisocial, so I never followed up on the rumors. Most of them were online in social media, I presume, but I didn't have a phone back in school, so that's another reason why I don't know any details about it. I nodded my head at her words as she continued. Her sobs had been controlled by now, but she was still crying. Gwen, it didn't help either that I had a photographic memory. Everyone just had more of a reason to pick on me and attributed that to the possession thing again. I never had any friends apart from the ones my sister and brother had, but they were in different schools and I never felt a closeness with them. No genuine relationship with any boy or girl. Until you. Amar. Me. Gwen, you were the only one that I thought of as a friend. You didn't interact with many people either, and you didn't view me like everybody else. How were even willing to talk to me? And when I couldn't get whenever I wasn't with you, I always felt alone. I didn't feel like doing anything else apart from waiting until I could meet up with you again. Even the insults you made of me, they weren't serious, they were meant as jokes. And I liked it. You didn't bully me, but joked with me. Even all the rest, I was happy. And now, Sob, I find you here, Sob, going to kill yourself. Why? Amar. You don't understand, Gwen. My life was shit. Gwen, then make me understand. How am I supposed to know? If you don't tell me. Sigh. Amar. Fine. When I was young. And after that, I began to tell her my life story, or the summary of it that was. When I finished, we both hugged each other as we sat and leaned against a wall. Our clothes were wet with the filth of the alley, but we didn't even notice. Amar, now you know, now you understand why I was going to do this. I have no will to live. No hope left for me to remain in this world. Slap. My face stung and I saw to the side from the suddenness of it. When I realized what happened, I saw Gwen crying again and her hand was outstretched from the slap she had given me. We stayed as we were for a few moments, not doing or saying anything. We just stared at exactly other. I can tell she was thinking about what to say. It was something I multiple can tell from a glance since I have done it many times before. Gwen, hope is what makes us strong, it is what we have left when all else is gone. It is the one thing that cannot be taken from you. When you surrender to despair and terror, is when hope dies. Never relinquish that which makes you strong, that which makes you, you. I sat in place where I was. I didn't move as I pondered over her words. Her words. Maybe I was wrong. My mother felt the same way. She always believed I would succeed in life if I tried. Maybe I should try, just for once in my pathetic life. Try to make an actual difference. If not for myself or anyone, but for my deceased mother and for Gwendolyn. What Amar didn't know was that if Gwen had not said any of that, he would have committed suicide. But thanks to Gwen's unique choice of words, she had just saved him from death. A few weeks later. Gwen, do you really Nat to do this? Won't it feel weird for you? I was walking beside Gwen to an passport office to notify them of my name change. In the last few weeks I had been able to get a job thanks to Gwen's help. With her smarts, she had actually helped me to create a CV, by constantly teaching, pointing wilt and telling me what to improve and why to change it after every time she reviewed it. She also helped in giving me possible jobs to look for. It may have been like she was guiding me and spoon-feeding me the whole time, but she wasn't. She helped me get started and taught me a lot, so I can learn after my mistakes and gain experience from it. As next time, she won't help me at all, or she said she was going to take him in to his family home. I don't want that, as I would be taking advantage of them and go back to my old ways. She was able to provide just enough money for me to not stay off the streets, but just enough to survive. She said I need a job if I wanted anything more. That was also a source of motivation, as I had only a bedroom on the floor. Still much better than on the streets in the cold. With that I was able to get a good apprenticeship as a cleaner. I started small. A cleaner job required the least amount of qualifications, if any at all. I will get a better one in the future when I can. Amar. Yes. I want to actually change myself and start a better life. A new life. A fresh start. And to do that, I need a new name. Gwen, yeah, but what are you going to choose? Amar. Adrien. Gwen, Adrien. Amar. What? Got a problem with that? Gwen. No. But you're Asian. Why pick a non-Asian name? Feels weird with that beard of yours. Amar. Don't ever mock a man's beard. That's blasphemy, you heretic. Gwen slapped me on the back as I was berating her for her insults against all men everywhere. A man's beard, especially an Asian's beard, it is a sacred artifact. /n I'm Asian, do it's not racist. I know I once racist right now, but some idiots will think that I was, for some reason. This happens a lot, that's why I write this note. Gwen. Anyway, what are you going to choose as a last name? Amar. I'm thinking of Hawke. Gwen. Ha. You choose Hawke? Hawke from Dragon Age? Ha. You really do love games. What next? You going to have Shepard from Mass Effect as your middle name now? Ha. I regret telling her this. She's going to mock me as I did her. I really do wonder what she might look like with white hair. Person, congratulations. Your name has now been changed to Adrian Hawke. Will that be all? If so, please sign here and your name change will be done. And with that, my new life began as an old one ended. Gwen, you wanna play some games? Adrien, seriously? You know I'm still broke right now? I only got a job 3 weeks ago. Gwen, Awa tu Barad, then maybe you should earn some if you want to ever beat me in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Adrien, what nonsense are you talking about? I've beaten you plenty of times. Gwen, you haven't played everyone yet. You haven't played as Boba Fett. I bet I'll bear you in a first to 15-point game on your first time playing Boba. Adrien, we'll see about that. I'll kill myself if I lost to you on my first time as Boba. He's a badass. Shame you can't use the dark saber. Gwen, then you better get working and earning to get those games you love so much. Adrien, stop teasing me. I'll get it, just wait. But before Star Wars, I'll get some other games first. I wanted to play them for a while. After them, I'll play Battlefront with you. Gwen, looking forward to it. Chapter 35, Chapter 29, Ascended King vs. Beloved Queen. Author note, this is only thing changed in this chapter. Go on YouTube and search one of the following and play it on a loop as you read this chapter. ITLL make it more epic. At least I think so. 1. Star Wars, Darth Revan's Sweet Epic Version, Knights of the Old Republic. YouTuber name, Samuel Kim Music posted 1 year ago. 2. Star Wars, Duel of the Fates Epic Powerful Mix 2 Steps from Hell Style. YouTuber name, Samuel Kim Music posted 2 years ago. 3. Star Wars, Duel of the Fates Epic Version, Remastered V2. YouTuber name, Samuel Kim Music, posted 1 month ago. 4. Elden Ring OST Radagon of the Golden Order. My new favoritist of all time, no matter what y'all say. 5. Elden Ring OST Lord's Apparition. Abeloth POV. Ulthan. Face me Abeloth. Face Ulthan, the creator of the Force itself, the unbound god, the hidden one. In the next instant, the now identified winged figure called Ulthan had used force push to repel me backwards. I had been sent flying dozens of meters by the sudden attack. I was still shaken up by the unexpected disappearance of my daughter. I was still hurtling and flying through the air by his force push, when I had saw him flying towards me to follow up his offensive. I won't let him. I gathered both my hands and clapped them together, sending out a powerful wave of force energy outwards in all directions. Primarily in Ulthan's direction. Ulthan had instead gathered both wings to cover himself like a cocoon and spun rapidly, still heading towards me. He had chosen to take my force wave head-on and push through it. As he spun, thousands of his wings' feathers had broken off and flew at faster-than-light speeds in completely random directions. But I noticed that the majority of them had curved and circled through the air of their trajectory and headed for me. I used force stasis to freeze them in place. Abeloth, ha! I screamed in pain as I felt the pain of innumerable blades pierce my body. I realized that I had felt my force stasis had completely felt the feathers resist me. They were resistant. Immune to the force? I ignored the pain and transformed back into my monstrous form. I used my many tendrils and limbs to wrap around the feathers and extract them from my immortal flesh. As I did that, my wounds immediately began to regenerate on their own. I unleashed a barrage of blue force lighting upon Ulthan. But he countered it by creating a sphere to absorb the energy, force absorb. I also noticed that he seemed to be using force defend. We force gods naturally possess this as a passive effect, but we can enhance it further by using it intentionally. I had done this as well, as I knew that this Ulthan was powerful and I needed to reduce the damage he could inflict upon me through the force. Force defend reduces the damage of any force powers. I decided to use a technique I had learnt by watching a certain Sith individual create this ability. I created a spear of condensed force energy in the palm of my hand and had hurled it towards Ulthan. The spear was invisible to all except the one who created it. Spear of Midnight Black, also known as Dark Shear. It could bypass all defenses and deal unbelievable amounts of damage on the target, depending on how powerful the individual using it was. So what would happen if a force god used Dark Shear? The spear passed him as he sidesteps and grabbed the Spear of Midnight Black and proceeded to spin it with his hands, gaining more momentum as Dark Shear was redirected back towards me. Abeloth, H. I released a force scream that had destroyed and reduced the grass, distant trees, ground, even the air wasn't spared, as all of it had been disintegrated by the raw power my scream had unleashed. Everything, even Dark Shear, had been reduced to nothingness. I waved my hand, and from each one of my elongated fingers, arcs of flame had been created by my pyrokinesis. Ulthan had met my attack and countered it by using a large wave of frost to counter my flames with his cryokinesis. The wave of frost continued onwards towards me, even after dispelling my flames. I too countered his counterattack by dispersing it with a simple but powerful wave of my hand. Ulthan, Lakshan Aru. Raya ha. My ears rang in pain as I heard a Deomic-sounding roar that rivaled my screams of wrath. The roar he unleashed was born not of anger, but... My thoughts were interrupted as I noticed he had conjured a force storm that had already begun to unleash a downpour of millions of bolts of thunder and lightning upon 1/4 of the entire plant's surface. I won't lose to him. Abeloth, you won't take my child. I created a barrier around me to block and defend against all the lighting that tried striking me. While it would not be fatal, it would leave me vulnerable and weak, especially since I am at a disadvantage. I was still experiencing the weakness of having going through childbirth. I looked up and saw Ulthan had flown towards me and stopped before my barrier. He brought both his hands in a strange stance. A/N left hand forward, aiming in an Hurricane, clenched fist position. Right hand in a T-show wrist palm position at the back by the waist. Suddenly, he retracted his left hand that was clenched as a fist against my barrier, and pushed forward his right hand from the back, and the palm of it had stuck my barrier and it crumbled away like millions of broken shards. He had used Shadowpoint to destroy my defenses. Baby crying. I was momentarily frozen with fear as I thought my child was in danger. Did she cry out for her mother? I have to find her. Ulthan took advantage of my distraction, as he had lifted and threw dozens of boulder-sized rocks towards me with the force. I had regained myself and used Force Stasis Field to stop everything around me. I clenched both my elongated Fubgud fists and all the boulders had been crushed like small buds of pollen. I casted outwards all the rock shards in every direction to ensure he can't attack me from behind. He instead chose to phase through them, and they too had passed through his body as if he was a ghost. Mortal weapons like the environment can only harm beings like me and Ulthan, but they can never kill a celestial god like us. But I used it all the same, and so does Ulthan. I force-jumped to Ulthan and brought down both my hands, her hands down upon the ground where Ulthan was, but Vod sidestepped. My ground slam had worked and disbanded him for a moment. I summoned a force weapon in my hand to match Ulthan's own weapon, which he hadn't used yet since the start of the battle. He swung his blade to block my attack as he used his wings to balance himself. I outstretched my hand to use a force push to send him flying back. However, it seemed he had the same idea as he too had done the same. After a few moments of struggling to overpower the other, both of us had been sent flying backwards. Ulthan was the first to recover as he used his wings to regain control while in mid-air. He proceeded to charge full speed at me as I was trying to recover myself. I soon landed on the ground and found myself unable to move. My limbs had been restrained by the very earth that seemed to have molded around my body. A/N alter environment. Ulthan had changed the topography around me to constrict AMD hamper my movements. Psi didn't work as I had immediately broken free of my confines by releasing a shock wave of a devastating force repulse. Ulthan was finally hurt by one of my attacks and some of his skin peeled away, having been disintegrated by the raw power I had unleashed. I used force fly to fly and my body had duplicated itself using to create numerous false versions of myself which can still harm as if they were real one. Ulthan, tricks and deceptions won't work Abeloth, just as your child will abandon you for when they see you for the monster you really are. Abeloth lies. She'll never abandon me. I'm her mother. I love her. And she loves me. Ulthan, you deceive yourself with your own words. And that is why you will never be whole. You will forever be shallow and deep in your despair. Suffer, Abeloth. For that is what I'll do to you. I will make you suffer and wallow in despair for eternity. No, you will never see your child again, and a man will take her to be his, as is his destiny. Abeloth, then I'll kill him as I will you. Good. Ulthan had dodged the onslaught of attacks my doppelganger clones had sent out in an attempt to harm him. Some DOD but not by much. He unleashed a wave of energy imbued with force wound, which could inflict instantaneous injuries to anything struck by it. The false Abeloth clones had vanished as they all had sustained damage beyond what they could handle. Baby crying. I was distracted once again trying to find my darling daughter. I had almost failed to notice an attack to my rear. I turned and saw a ethereal blade made of black mist had almost pierced my chest, but I had managed to use force push to cast it aside. He had used force concealment to hide the weapon from my senses. Abeloth, H. Ultan, yar. Suffer, suffer, suffer. I screamed in pain as I saw his hand plunge and pierce through my chest and held my heart in his hand. He crushed it in his hands and I released even greater screams of pain. Abeloth had unconsciously used both force scream and force repulse at the same time, which had wounded Ulthan. He had teleported away while taking only minimal damage to the majority of his body. Half his left arm had been used to block the attack along with his entire left wing that had now been disintegrated down to only bare bone. He vanished in a puff of black smoke as all the surroundings suddenly turned pitch black as the void. Abeloth. Coward. Face me. Give back what you stole. My child. My star. When I find him I will tear him apart limb from limb. I will feast on his heart and bathe in his blood as I use his skull as my bowl to dine on his corpse. I wandered the endless darkness but eventually I found that it was trying to entangle me within it. I broke free from my bindings by using a condensed beam of light. I can use both dark and light side abilities of the Force. The versatility I possessed would not allow me to be defeated so easily by mere traps made to confine me. From time to time I would randomly sustain injuries across my body. I would even find my throat was slit and stabbed numerous times through the head. I had thought I felt the touch of death once, but I casted it aside as my imaginations. If he had the chance to kill me, he would do so. That is why he is fighting me, no? I created a condensed orb made of light energy and released it in a massive discharge that illuminated the eternal darkness of my surroundings. It revealed Ulthan who was hiding within the darkness of this pocket dimension he had created and brought me to. Ulthan tried to attack but was still blinded by the light I had released. I used force stun to buy her me time to attack and kill him by tearing out and drawing his soul and spirit. But I froze once more in place. He was holding my star, my daughter, my child. Ulthan received and saw my hesitation and my paralyzed state. Ulthan, do you love this child? Abeloth. Why yes. Please. Jay, just let her go. Do whatever you nat with me. Ulthan. Sina Solar Gwendolyn Capillus, Lorshin Mule Frak Molan Ava Kendra. From this day onwards, that will be her name. Ava Kendra. Who she was before no longer matters. Not yet at least. Who she was before. Ulthan. This has been entertaining. But it ends here. You have lost. She is mine. When I heard his words, my eyes had become slits once more and was filled with the sole desire to murder him and devour him alive piece by piece. Fush. I quickly grasped my throat as I felt a warm liquid seep down my body. Fush. My body fell limp to the ground of the void we were in. I cannot move at all, nor my eyes. I couldn't even move my eyelids. Ulthan, none can match me here. Not even you, Abeloth. Farewell, our paths will cross again in different flesh. And when that day comes, you will die. I will spare your life this once solely for the fact you may yet be redeemable. He seemed to want to say more, but turned and left. A diamond and square-shaped overlapping portal had formed out of nowhere, and he passed through it. I wanted to scream, to stop him. But all that happened as my body was regenerating, was tears. Tears of sadness dropped from my eyes. I lost the only one I loved, and the only one that could have loved me in return. And so I wept, and wept in the dark void, alone. My only joy, my heart, my love. taken from me, and just as he had said, I indeed am suffering, and I am wallowing in a deep dark pit of despair, forever alone as I always been. But Abeloth would not remember much of the events that had transpired, as the void she was in was slowly erasing and warping her memories into thinking that the ones had taken her child. And Ulthan would remain hidden as he always has been. For Abeloth would not even remember him after today, no matter how hard she tried.